rubbed his forehead. He played a recording he had just made on his phone. You young people think too narrowly of us older generations. Are we that kind of people? Su Yan. Tang Ping. Ang Ping took the phone from Shen Sheng and deleted the recording. Then she said to Shen Feng, Mom is doing this for your own good. Not to harm you. Shen Feng spread his hands. I won't harm Wan either. If Wan has been pregnant for a long time now, I definitely won't agree to her going to film a movie. But she is indeed fine now, and with me taking care of her on the set, I will definitely not let her do too many dangerous actions. Ang Ping interrupted Shen Feng. Oh, this is not a question of whether you take care of her or not. After all, you are a man and it's a child you don't know how to take care of a pregnant woman. Let's not talk about anything else. Do you know what pregnant women can and cannot eat during pregnancy? Do you know what is good to eat in the first month, and what is good to eat in the second month? Ang Ping was just about to give him a long lecture. Then Shen Feng said, in the first month, you can eat more cereals, vegetables and beans to supplement folic acid to prevent fetal neurological defects. Tang Ping. Well, what about the second month? Supplementing more vitamins, especially vitamin C and B6, and suppress morning sickness during pregnancy, but one still doesn't like to eat vegetables. So I often make egg custard and fish for her recently. Shen Feng answered with ease. 3 months? Ang Ping asked again. To supplement magnesium and vitamin A, you can eat more nuts, soybeans, pumpkins, mangoes, etc. Shen Feng continued to talk. Su Yan on the side silently took out paper and pen. Then he started writing down on paper what Shen Feng said. When Tang Ping saw that Su Yan had not remembered something well, she reminded Su Yan. Just like to good students who love to study, listening to the teacher's lecture. Afterwards, Su Yan and Tang Ping asked many more questions. As a result, Shen Feng answered all the questions without exception. And it's smooth and silky, without any lag. Even Bai Du may not be as fast as Shen Feng. Su Yan and Tang Ping were both stunned by what they heard. After asking the questions, I have almost finished taking notes. Shen Feng then said to Su Yan and Tang Ping, now you can trust me to take good care of Wan, right? Tang Ping looked at Shen Feng with a very strange look. I can trust you to take good care of Wan, but I'm a little doubtful whether this is your first time to be a father. Feng Zi, tell me honestly, do you have an illegitimate child outside? Shen Feng. However, Tang Ping and Su Yan finally felt relieved. Although they still didn't quite support Zhang Wan going to film while pregnant. But with the considerate Feng Zi accompanying Zhang Wan, they would not object to Zhang Wan going to film. After interrogating Shen Feng, Su Yan and Tang Ping whispered to each other and began to discuss what names to give their grandchildren. Seeing that there was nothing for him to do here, Shen Feng went upstairs. When I entered the bedroom, Zhang Wan was already asleep. Shen Sheng closed the door quietly and covered Zhang Wan with a blanket. Then he lay down beside Zhang Wan, looking at her profile as she slept. The sleeping Wan Ji had a smile on his face, as if he was having a sweet dream. Looking at her like this, Shen Feng felt much better. Her younger brother is a lively girl when he is awake, and a quiet princess when he is asleep. How nice. Then, Shen Feng saw the smile on Zhang Wan's mouth getting bigger and bigger. At the same time, he mumbled in a daze, Feng Zi made outfit. Call me master. A trickle of saliva flowed down the corner of Zhang Wan's mouth. It flowed all the way onto the pillow. Shen Feng. It's normal for a princess to be attracted to men. Perhaps. Chapter 318. He is like a god of war. Zhang Wan had a sweet dream. In her dream, she saw Shen Feng wearing a maid outfit, and said to her gently, Master, welcome home. She was dressed in a suit and looked like a business elite. She threw down the car keys in a casual manner, then hooked her finger, signaling the maid Shen Feng to change her clothes for her. The maid Shen Feng very considerately helped her change out of her suit and put on her home clothes. And he said gently, Master, do you want to take a bath first or eat first? Zhang Wan stretched out her hand in a very evil way, grabbed the collar around Shen Feng's neck, and pulled him in front of her. Then she licked Shen Feng's face gently and said in a very magnetic female voice, Of course, I'll eat you first. Then, there are some clips of sauces and fermented food. Finally Zhang Wan woke up. Zhang Wan blinked her eyes in confusion and realized that she was dreaming. She rubbed her eyes, turned around and saw Shen Feng lying beside her. Looking at her, Zhang Wan thought of the dream she had just had and felt playful. He said to Shen Feng, Feng Zi, how about you call me master? Shen Feng smiled. Don't you want to eat egg custard and pork rib soup for dinner? Zhang Wan, just call me, okay? Shen Feng sighed helplessly. What do you want me to call you? Owner? Why? Zhang Wan. Blanche. The soft girl Feng Zi in my dream is still the best. How cute. Feng Zi in real life is full of tricks, all tricks. She lay on the bed with her mouth puffed out. Seeing this, Chen Cheng moved closer to Zhang Wanwan. Then he whispered in Zhang Wanwan's ear. Master. The sound was hot and stimulated Zhang Wanwan's eardrums. It made her shiver all over and her face suddenly turned red. And Chen Feng's next sentence made Zhang Wanwan even more excited. Master, do you want to take a bath first or eat first? Zhang Wanwan said without hesitation. Eat first. I've omitted my lunch and now I'm starving. Chen Feng. He has been playing tricks. But the problem is, his elder brother doesn't play by the rules. Chen Feng went downstairs to prepare some easily digestible food for Zhang Wanwan and fed her. At around 4 or 5 in the afternoon, Zhang Ziqi and Shen Xiaojiyuo finally woke up. These two guys were drinking red wine as if it were beer. Chen Feng found it quite rare that they could wake up at this time. After they woke up, Su Yan and Tang Ping each went to bring them a glass of water. Zhang Ziqi was drinking water when he heard Su Yan say, "Your daughter is pregnant." Zhang Ziqi spat out a mouthful of water. And he coughed for a long time and finally asked, "Really, is it true? Why would I lie to you?" When Zhang Ziqi heard this, he immediately burst into laughter. "I'm going to be a grandfather." Shen Xiaojiyuo burped, then said to Zhang Ziqi, "Congratulations. Congratulations." As a result, Tang Ping reached out and tapped Shen Xiaojiyuo on the head. "Who are you congratulating? Isn't his daughter the wife of your son?" Shen Xiaojiyuo was stunned. Then he came to his senses. "Oh my god, I'm going to be a grandfather?" Zhang Ziqi and Shen Xiaojiyuo hugged each other. "I'm going to be a grandfather. I'm going to be a grandfather. Be a grandpa. Be a grandpa. Grandpa. Grandfather." Chen Feng and Zhang Wanwan heard the messy noises in the room, pushed the door open and saw this scene. A corner of Zhang Wanwan's mouth twitched, and she poked Shen Feng. "Fengzi, what you bought wouldn't be a fake bar." Shen Feng went to get some sobering tea, and finally got the two old men's thinking back on track, but they still laughed like fools for a long time. It seems that he is really happy. In the evening, Shen Feng originally wanted to invite them to have dinner. However, Zhang Ziqi told Shen Feng to take care of one more and not to worry about them. Then Su Yan, who had not drunk any alcohol, drove the remaining 3 people back to Zhang Ziqi's house. It seems that he wants to keep Shen Xiaojiyuo and Tang Ping there for a few days, and then come to visit Zhang Wanwan often. They all left. And Zhang Wanwan looked at the time. It was 5 o'clock and it wasn't completely dark outside. She had eaten in the afternoon and was not hungry at all. Suddenly I felt free. She pulled Shen Feng to sit on the sofa, and curled up on the sofa to browse her phone. In recent days, Weibo has been baptized by the performances of Youth Group and the stunning performance of Shiqian Qyu. The program team also released the production highlights of Shiqian Qyu. In the behind-the-scenes footage, Liu Mingyu said that Zhang Wanwan was not only responsible for writing the lyrics, but also helped him compose the music, which surprised many viewers. Such an amazing composition was actually contributed by Wang Ji. In the behind-the-scenes footage, the scene where Shen Feng was responsible for playing all the instruments by himself reminded fans of the label of All-Round Idol. What does omnipotence mean? This is called omnipotence. Moreover, the public opinion on the internet about the incident between Sitiu and Xiaozu was quite positive. Xiaozu gave up going on stage for Sitiu, and Sitiu jumped off the stage in front of the audience for Xiaozu. Most viewers and fans gave their blessings to such a beautiful love. I don't know if Sitiu has passed the test of Xiaozu's father. When Zhang Wanwan saw these Weibo posts, she remembered this incident. When the performance ended that day, Xiao Zilong had no time to talk to Sitiu because he had to maintain order. The next day, Sitiu and Xiaozu took the bus back to the base. I guess Xiao Zilong didn't find it again. Now a few days have passed. Since Xiao Zilong loves Xiaozu so much, he should have taken the initiative to find Sitiu. Just ask and you'll find out. Shen Feng called Sitiu, but no one answered the phone. Zhang Wanwan blinked her eyes. Could that fool have been killed by Xiaozu's father? She sent a WeChat message to Xiaozu. Zhang Wanwan. Xiaozu, where is Sitiu? Why is there no one answering his phone call? Xiaozu, he drank too much. Zhang Wanwan. Then Hanan is still drinking? Xiaozu, my dad came to see him today, brought a box of white wine, and said he wanted to have a heart-to-heart talk with Sitiu. Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan, what was the result of the conversation? Zhang Wanwan already felt sorry for Sitiu in her heart. That idiot. Who knows how Xiao Zilong will force him to drink? Xiao Zilong is a big, strong man, and he looks like he can drink a lot. I wonder what Sitiu will look like after being drunk. Xiaozu did not reply immediately. Instead, a few minutes later, he sent a video. In the video, Sitiu was sleeping on the dining table. The person next to me looked red-faced and seemed to be drunk. Seeing this, Zhang Wanwan pulled Shen Feng and said distressly, "How come this idiot is so drunk?" Xiaozu didn't even bother to stop him. Just saying. The video camera turned. Shot towards the opposite side of Cityu. Opposite Cityu, he saw Xiao Zilong and 7 or 8 strong men from the security company, all lying drunk together. There were countless wine bottles scattered around. In the video, Xiaozu sighed, "I don't know what's wrong with this idiot. He can drink so much. First, he made my father lie down drunk. And then he made all the brothers he brought with him lie down drunk. Even their driver was drunk and passed out. I'm waiting for the company to send someone to pick them up." Shen Feng. Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan turned off her phone and took a deep breath. "Compared to your dad and my dad, this fool is like a god of war." Chapter 319. I just want to cool down. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan rested at home for another 2 days. Wang Shun Xun finally called Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. They said that now all the staff are ready, and they will be ready to start filming after a few actors' schedules are in place in a few days. In fact, it is not too much time for an average director or producer to spend 1 or 2 years preparing a movie. The reason why Wang Shun Xun was able to move so fast was not only because of Song Xian's powerful script and the financial support from Jiang Qianming's father, but most importantly because of Wang Shun Xun's own influence. As the president of Suzhou Hanghouse Drama Academy, Wang Shun Xun is the mentor of countless big stars and directors in today's film and television industry. With Wang Shun Xun's appeal and Song Xian's script, it is not difficult to put together a reliable crew. Wang Shun Xun told Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan that if they had time, they could prepare to join the crew now and get familiar with the filming. Although Zhang Wanwan only rested at home for 2 days, she was really too idle. Feng Zi didn't let her do any work at home, and she didn't dare to have too much fun when she went out. Fortunately, Shen Feng was with her, otherwise Zhang Wanwan would have been bored to death. So when she heard that she could join the filming crew, Zhang Wanwan immediately pulled Shen Feng over and asked him to buy a plane ticket to Suzhou Hanghouse. The next day at noon, Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng came to Suzhou Hanghouse again. Before coming, Shen Feng contacted the crew in advance and asked them to send someone to pick him up at the airport. Not long after leaving the airport, the two found the car that would pick them up according to the WeChat message from the crew. The driver was wearing sunglasses, a mask and a hat, and was wrapped up tightly. She looks even more mysterious than Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan stopped Shen Feng, who was about to get in the car. Then he pulled Shen Feng aside and whispered, "Feng Zi, are you contacting the crew? Don't you think this person is suspicious?" Shen Cheng looked back at the driver who was wrapped tightly in the car. He whispered, "You just think it's suspicious, don't you think it's familiar?" "Look familiar." Zhang Wanwan also looked at the driver. How should I put it? Now that Shen Feng mentioned this, it seemed that he did look somewhat familiar. This bloated figure, this big fat face. The aura of a midlife crisis emanates from his entire body. Zhang Wanwan suddenly clapped her hands. Is it him? But why did he come here to pick us up at the airport? And why did he dress so mysteriously? Did he want to be a robber? Just get in the car and ask. After the two people guessed the identity of the mysterious driver, they were no longer worried. Shen Feng sat in the passenger seat and Zhang Wanwan sat in the back seat. The driver deliberately lowered his voice and asked, "What did you do just now?" "What we do has nothing to do with you," Zhang Wanwan said sarcastically. "When did a driver become so nosy? I'm just asking out of curiosity. If you don't want to talk about it, then don't say it." The driver started the car and drove Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan towards the film and television base. On the way, Zhang Wanwan glanced at the driver who was wrapped thickly. With evil thoughts in his heart, he said to Shen Feng, "Feng Zi, I feel a little cold." Shen Feng immediately understood what Zhang Wanwan meant. Then he said to the driver, "Driver, she is a little cold. Please turn on the heater in the car." The driver didn't say anything and silently turned on the heater to the lowest setting. Zhang Wanwan took off her hat, mask and scarf. Then he added, "It's still a little cold." Chen Chang looked at the driver again. The driver turned on the heater again. Zhang Wanwan took off her down jacket. Then he said, "It's still cold." Shen Feng looked at himself. The driver reached out and wiped the sweat from his forehead. "Why are you taking off your down jacket if you are cold? Dress well if it's cold. The heater is turned on so high. Don't you consider my feelings?" This time the driver didn't turn on the heater. Instead, he said, "The heater can only be turned on to this setting. If you feel cold, Miss Zhang, why don't you put on your down jacket?" As a result, the driver had just finished speaking. Then I saw Shen Feng, who was sitting in the passenger seat, click twice on the car's console. Turn the heater up a notch. Then he looked at the driver. Driver, I borrowed this car. I'm not very familiar with it. I didn't know it could go this high." Shen Cheng ignored the driver and took off his hat, mask, scarf and other items. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan sat comfortably in the car, enjoying the warm breeze. As for the driver, at this moment, sweat had already flowed down his hat, sunglasses, and into his mask. His neck, wrapped in a scarf, was also wet, full of sweat blown by the hot wind. The driver was so hot that he felt numb. He loosened his scarf and asked Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, "Are you two warm enough? How about turning off the air conditioner?" No, I'm still cold," Zhang Wanwan said as she fanned herself to cool down with a fan that she knew she got from somewhere. Driver Shen Feng, on the other hand, is very considerate. At this time, he said to the driver, "Why, driver, do you feel hot? It's a little hot indeed." The driver said this, then looked at Shen Feng with eager eyes. "Feng Zi, you are my savior. Please turn off the air conditioner." Then Shen Feng said, "If you feel hot, get out of the car first, I can drive. And I can take Wanwan to the film and television base by myself." The driver looked at Shen Feng resentfully. That's because he was wearing sunglasses. Otherwise the driver felt that his eyes could hook Shen Feng's soul away. "I'm the driver, it's my duty to drive you to the film and television base. If I let you drive there by yourselves, I'll have to deduct your salary. Don't be afraid, I'll make up for whatever was deducted." Zhang Wanwan said generously, "I'm such a kind person. I don't need any money, but can you turn the air conditioner down a bit? Not unless you give me money." Driver, still the familiar recipe. Still the original taste. "It's worthy of you, Zhang Wanwan. Actually, you wouldn't be so hot if you took off your clothes. Why make such a simple thing so complicated?" Shen Feng on the side said slowly. "There's a reason why I wear so many clothes, you can't take this off." The driver was firm. Then he gritted his teeth and endured the heat. Driving for another 10 minutes. Zhang Wanwan felt a little bit sorry for what she saw. He patted the driver on the shoulder and said, "Why don't you take off your clothes and stop torturing yourself?" "No, this is my last line," the driver said stubbornly. Zhang Wanwan sighed, "Then it's up to you. Sweating a little can help you lose weight anyway. And it's good for your health, Director Chen." The mysterious driver. Director Chen continues driving. 1 minute later. He reacted and looked back at Zhang Wanwan. He looked at Shen Feng again. "Finally, I parked the car on the side of the road." He took off his sunglasses, stared at the two of them and said, "You recognized me?" "Yes." "When did you recognize it?" "When I first got in the car." "And why don't you say it?" Zhang Wanwan spread her hands. "You didn't let us tell you either." Director Chen was so nervous. "So you guys turned up the air conditioner so high on purpose just to mess with me?" Zhang Wanwan said seriously, "Director Chen, you can eat shit. But you can't say anything you want. What do you mean we are trying to make trouble for you? It was obviously you who wanted to wear such thick clothes. I told you that you could take off your clothes. But you insisted. Who can you blame? I'm wearing so much just to give you a surprise." Director Chen had tears in his eyes, and looked aggrieved and resentful. "If I had known that you recognized me, would I have endured this?" After saying that, Director Chen opened the car door and rushed out. Zhang Wanwan hurriedly said, "Director Chen, don't be angry. Don't leave." "I didn't leave." Director Chen yelled through the glass. "I just came out to cool off." Chapter 320 Tracking. 10 minutes later. Director Chen returned to the car. After taking off the heavy disguise, he returned to his appearance as a pop-trailed middle-aged director. After struggling to fasten the seatbelt around his big belly, Director Chen sighed. "You two little devils always torture me and take advantage of my good intentions." Sigh. "Director Chen, why are you here to be our driver today? Are you also in the crew?" Zhang Wanwan asked, ignoring Director Chen's sighs. Director Chen nodded. "I am a local from Suzhou Hang House. When Mr. Wang Shunxuan was recruiting crew members, the work on the show dating had just been completed. So I came to the crew to help out. Originally, I'm not a driver. But when I heard that you were the ones I was going to pick up today, I thought of disguising myself and giving you a surprise." Director Chen looked aggrieved, but looking at your expressions now, it seems that neither of you is very surprised. I was actually seen through right from the start. Is my disguise so bad? Zhang Wanwan is still very good at comforting people. At this time, he patted Director Chen on the shoulder and said, "Don't be sad. It's not that you pretended so badly. You two have very good eyesight, right? Don't try that on me. I know all your tricks," Director Chen said. No, Zhang Wanwan shook her head. "I want to say that even if you walk with 100 people, we can easily recognize you. Because you are familiar with me? Because I have an outstanding temperament." Director Chen was a little touched. "Because you are too fat," Zhang Wanwan said. Director Chen. Blanche. How come Zhang Wanwan has evolved? Director Chen drove the two of them to the Suzhou Hang House Film and Television Base. Because of the Suzhou Hang House Drama Academy, the film and television industry in Suzhou Hang House has developed quite well. The Suzhou Hang House Film and Television Base is one of the largest film and television bases in the country. There is even a huge palace inside it. Many costume dramas are filmed here. Director Chen said that in order to ensure the best shooting effect, Wang Shun Xun's crew directly booked a large area to restore the film and television scenes of the Republic of China period. But Wang Shun Xun did have money to spend. After all, Zhang Yanming's father is responsible for the financial support behind the scenes. Director Chen was talking non-stop. Chen Sheng suddenly glanced at the rear-view mirror. And then asked Director Chen, "Is the car behind also from the crew?" Director Chen was stunned. He also looked in the rear-view mirror and shook his head. "No way, it seems that the crew only needs to pick you up today. That car has been following us for a long time. It has been following us since we first set out from the airport," Chen Feng said. After that, when Director Chen stopped, the car disappeared. "I thought it was just a coincidence. I didn't expect it to show up again if this isn't the crew's car. Then this car is more or less suspicious." Zhang Wanwan also looked back. He frowned and asked, "Could it be the paparazzi's car? If it is, just ask and you will know," Chen Feng said. And then said to Director Chen, "Director Chen, don't drive to the film and television base. You are from Suzhou and Hanghouse, you should be familiar with the roads here. Find a more secluded place and take them there." Okay. Director Chen is an old Suzhou and Hanghouse native. So he knows exactly how to get around Suzhou and Hanghouse. After listening to Shen Feng, Director Chen immediately changed the route, took a detour to a road with few people, and then drove forward. In the car behind, Zhang Biehua looked at the car going further and further off the track. And while controlling the steering wheel, he frowned and asked, "Brother Fu, this road doesn't seem to lead to the film and television base, right?" "Follow, why not follow?" The man sitting in the passenger seat had a gloomy look in his eyes. "Our purpose is not to go to the film and television base with them. You want to make them pay the price. Who cares where they are going? If there are others around, you can definitely recognize that the person sitting in the passenger seat is Fu Yan, who was once a top star but has now disappeared. Shang Biehua was brought here by Fu Yan. Originally, Shang Biehua was taken away by the police. However, most of the things he did were moral and civil issues, and they were mainly punished with fines, and the time he was in prison was not actually long. Fu Yan has been paying attention to all the movements of Zhang Wanwan and Shen Sheng. He was unwilling to see himself finish like this. Even if he was going to die, he would drag Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan with him. So Fu Yan also knew about Shang Biehua. Ever since Fu Yan became a complete obscurity, Fu Yan's former agent Guan Heng abandoned Fu Yan and would to train new people. Fu Yan was thinking about finding someone who shared the same ideals as him and hated Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan as much as he did, so that they could work together and take revenge together. Fu Yan went to find Shang Biehua. Help Shang Biehua pay the fine. He had only one request. That is to let Shang Biehua take revenge with him. Shang Biehua naturally hated Shen Feng very much. Although he was not imprisoned for too long, his reputation was completely ruined and he would never be able to step into the entertainment industry again in his life. All this was caused by Shen Feng. How could he not hate Shen Feng? So the two of them hit it off and started planning. As an insider in the industry, Fu Yan had long heard the news that Wang Shun Xun was going to collaborate with Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan to make a movie. Therefore, the two of them first bribed several staff members of Wang Shun Xun's crew and learned at the time when Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan would join the crew. On the day when the two of them joined the group, they waited at the airport in advance. Then he caught up with the car that came to pick up Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. I plan to find an opportunity to stop their car and take direct action against Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Now Fu Yan feels like he's at the end of his rope. After being a popular star for several years and reaching the peak of traffic, he suddenly became a bud that everyone wanted to beat. Such a gap is enough to drive a person crazy. Fu Yan was a little crazy. For him, life now has no meaning. He just wants revenge. At all costs. Shang Biehua glanced at Fu Yan, whose eyes were bloodshot. I was more or less a little scared. He hated Shen Feng, but he was not as crazy as Fu Yan, especially after spending the past few days with Fu Yan. Shang Biehua felt that Fu Yan was a complete psychopath. Shang Biehua thought that his revenge on Shen Feng was, at most, to make Shen Feng pay a price, lose some money, apologize, or at worst, to make him quit the entertainment industry. But now Shang Biehua feels that what Fu Yan thinks may not be that simple. This Fu Yan might really be aiming to kill Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Forget it, who cares? Shang Biehua muttered to himself. Anyway, I won't do anything when the time comes. It doesn't matter to me who kills whom between Fu Yan and Shen Feng. Chapter 321. Can you open your brain? The car drove further and further away. Director Chen has now driven out of the cities of Suzhou and Hanghouse and arrived near the suburbs. There isn't a lot of traffic here. At this time, only Director Chen's car and the car behind him could be seen driving on this road. One in front and one behind, but the speed is not much different. There's not much gas left in the car. It's not a good idea to keep driving like this. Director Chen said after taking a look at the condition of the car. This car of his is used by the crew to pick up actors. Normally, no one drives it and it is rarely maintained. As long as the gas in the car is enough to drive to the airport and then back to the film and television base, generally no one will refuel. Chen Feng is looking at the map on his mobile phone at this moment. Looking at the map and then at the road conditions ahead. Chen Feng said, there should be a small road turning right behind the woods ahead, leading to a nearby village. Turn in there and park your car. Good. Director Chen nodded, and according to Chen Feng's instructions, drove the car to the small road that turned right. Chang Bie, who was driving behind, watched the car turn behind the woods and disappear from their sight. Fu Yan on the side hurriedly urged, Doctor, faster. Etch up. Chang Bie, who did not dare to delay, he stepped on the accelerator, drove towards the intersection, and then turned right. Then, they saw the car that Shen Feng and Zhang Wan drove in the evening, parked on the side of the road. There was joy in Fu Yan's eyes and a smile appeared on the corners of his mouth. I finally caught you. You guys really saved me a lot of trouble by picking such a remote place. After Shang Bie, who had stopped the car in the back, Fu Yan immediately picked up a machete he had prepared long ago, out of the car, and walked to the side of Shen Feng and Zhang Wan's car. He looked into the car with the knife in hand. But I found that there was no one in the car. Brother Fu, what should I do if the person is not here? Fu Yan glanced at Shang Bie, and said, if he's not here, go find him. Do you still need to ask me such a simple thing? First, puncture their tires to prevent them from coming back and running away. Then you go look for them in the village over there. And I'll go look in the woods. Fu Yan clenched the knife in his hand. Chen Feng is dead today, I said it. Looking at his appearance, Shang Bie who felt a little uneasy again. He didn't dare to say anything more. He took the tools from the car and punctured the tire of Shen Feng Zhang Wan's car. Then he entered the village and looked for the whereabouts of Shen Feng and Zhang Wan. Fu Yan walked into the woods with a knife in hand. He had a feeling that Shen Feng and Zhang Wan were probably not in the village. It is very likely that he is hiding in these woods. This feeling is not without reason. Fu Yan found several footprints on the muddy ground leading to the woods. It looks like it was stepped on by Shen Feng and Zhang Wan. These two people are really too careless, Fu Yan murmured. Just like me back then, too careless. The long machete in his hand dragged the blade on the ground, leaving a mark in the mud in the woods. His eyes were like a cheetah searching for prey, looking around for his target. And the other side. After Shang Bie who walked into the village, he found that it seemed to be an abandoned village with few people living in it. There were big words demolition written on the walls of the village, and no one lived there. Shang Bie who walked around and suddenly found that the door of a house was not locked like the other doors. Not only that, there were also several handprints in the dust on the door. It was as if someone had just opened the door. Shang Bie whose eyes lit up. It seems that Shen Feng and Zhang Wan are probably hiding here. He pulled a dagger from his pocket. He didn't take the machete because the revenge he wanted was not to kill people. He only needs to subdue Shen Feng and Zhang Wan. In Shang Bie whose opinion, no matter how good your kung fu skills are, you are still afraid of a kitchen knife. A dagger is enough. So Shang Bie who pushed open the door quietly. The old door slowly opened with a creaking sound. Shang Bie who looked inside the door with a sly look in his eyes. And I saw Shen Feng, Zhang Wan and Director Chen, each holding a farm tool they found in the village. Zhang Wan was holding a 1.2 meter long sickle. Director Chen was holding a 1.4 meter long rake. Shen Sheng was holding a 1.6 meter long shovel. Shang Bie who looked at the three people. He looked at the dagger in his hand again. He silently retracted his head. He closed the door politely. Then run away. But he had just taken 2 steps when the door behind him opened. Shen Feng rushed out with a brick in his hand and threw it over. The ancients said, bricks fly with great force. The brick hit Shang Bie whose leg directly, and Shang Bie who fell to his knees in pain. Before he could stand up, a shovel was stuck into the ground in front of him with a click. Shang Bie who was frightened. Shen Sheng looked at Shang Bie who sneered. I thought it was someone else. Shang Bie who you are quite brave. Aren't you? Last time you committed a civil offense. You weren't locked up for too long, you want to commit a criminal offense this time. Right? Shang Bie who raised his hands in surrender. And then said with a bitter face, this is a misunderstanding. It's really a misunderstanding. Zhang Wan picked up the dagger that Shang Bie who had dropped on the ground and gently rubbed the blade against Shang Bie who's face. Is this a misunderstanding? Shang Bie who got goosebumps. He quickly said, I'm just a helper. The one who's really going to mess with you this time is Fu Yan. He found me, paid the fine for me, and asked me to help him. Fu Yan is searching for you in the grove now. If he can't find you later, he will probably come over. The footprints in the grove were left intentionally by Shen Feng in order to mislead those who were following him. It now seems that the misleading was quite successful. Are you and Fu Yan the only ones here? Shen Feng asked. Zhang Biehua nodded honestly. Just the two of us. You two dare to block the three of us? Director Chen on the side was speechless. Didn't Fu Yan and Zhang Biehua ever go to kindergarten? Don't you know this common sense that 2 is smaller than 3? Zhang Biehua said, this is Fu Yan's idea, not my plan. And Fu Yan has weapons in his hand, a machete, and he also said there is a secret weapon, but I don't know what it is. I think it is probably a gun. After Zhang Biehua said this, Director Chen couldn't laugh anymore. And this is not something that ordinary people can access. Fu Yan even got a gun. Does he really want to kill people? Shen Cheng wasn't that scared. After a moment's hesitation, he said, you should be the driver. Where are your car keys? I'm the driver, but the keys are with Fu Yan. He should be worried that I'll drive away without him. Okay, this Fu Yan actually has a brain? Zhang Wanwan was very emotional and looked at Shen Feng and said, Fengzi, what should we do? That's easy. Shen Cheng kicked Zhang Biehua and said, get up, go call Fu Yan over to the house we were in just now. Tell him you suspect we might be hiding there, and let him in. Zhang Biehua didn't dare to say anything else. He got up hurriedly and went to inform Fu Yan. After finding Fu Yan in the grove, Zhang Biehua did not lie to Fu Yan as Shen Feng had suggested. Instead, he told Fu Yan the truth about what he had just seen with Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, and how they threatened him. Finally, he said, Brother Fu, they have more people and they want to plot against you. We are no match for them. Not an opponent? Fu Yan sneered and took out a silver pistol from his arms. Now, do you think we are rivals? Zhang Biehua swallowed. His guess turned out to be correct. But in his heart, he felt a little gloating. Fu Yan has a gun, and he knows in advance that Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan want to plot against him, so he will definitely be extra careful. It seems that this time, Shen Feng is really going to fall into Fu Yan's hands. He immediately led Fu Yan and took Fu Yan to the house where Shen Feng and the others had been hiding before. Zhang Biehua wanted to push the door open directly, but Fu Yan stopped him. Fu Yan turned sideways and kept some distance. Then he kicked the door open. As the door opened, an iron bucket suddenly fell from the door, fell to the ground. If Zhang Biehua opened the door as he did, he would definitely be hit. Fu Yan looked somewhat disdainful upon seeing this. Is this just a trivial trick? He gestured to Zhang Biehua to walk in front. Zhang Biehua nodded and walked into the house. But after he took only 2 steps, Fu Yan grabbed him again. Only then did Zhang Biehua discover that there was a rake on the ground. The lighting here was too dim and he didn't even notice it. If he stepped on it, he would probably be hit on the head by the rake. The two continued to walk forward, searching for traces of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan in the house. Fu Yan didn't know if it was because he was eager for revenge that his brain seemed to have suddenly become clear. Various mechanisms set up in the house. Finally, the two of them arrived at the last closed door safely. This is the only possible place where people can hide. Zhang Biehua also learned his lesson and carefully kept his distance to open the door. Sure enough, another iron basin fell down. After pushing the door open, he raised his feet and walked in, avoiding a rock that might have tripped him. He dodged another rake as he landed. Safe landing. Fu Yan also walked in safely. Shake off the dust on your body. And he sneered disdainfully. I thought Shen Feng could plot against me. But this is it? As a result, Fu Yan had just finished speaking. Shen Feng, who had been hiding behind the door, hit Fu Yan on the back of the head with a brick. Bang! Fu Yan fell straight to the ground. Zhang Wanwan came out from the side and threw another brick. And he said with even more disdain, I thought you were so smart. But this is it? After saying, Zhang Wanwan looked at Zhang Biehua with the brick in her hand again. Can you open your mind? Chapter 322, Death for Money. Waiting for Fu Yan to wake up. He saw a blue sky. It is so sunny. The wind blew past him. It's so cool. A layer of yellow earth covered him. It is so. Wait. Fu Yan's eyes widened. The whole person also woke up. He looked around and found himself lying in a pit. Next to the pit, Shen Feng was holding a shovel and burying soil in it. Shen Feng, what do you want to do? Fu Yan shouted immediately. And he was fed a mouthful of dirt. Fu Yan spat it out hurriedly, along with a wriggling earthworm. Guess what I want to do? Shen Feng said without any emotion. I guess you want to bury me alive. That's right. As Shen Feng spoke, he shoveled in another shovel of dirt. Fu Yan struggled to get up, but only then did he realize that his hands and feet were tied tightly. Not to mention getting up, Fu Yan couldn't even move. Zhang Wanwan stood beside the pit, cracking melon seeds that she had taken from Director Chen's car, while throwing the melon seed shells into the pit. He said, Feng Zi, you are right, he really can't move if you tie him up like this. How many porn movies did you watch to learn this technique? Chen Feng. Shen Sheng didn't say anything and shoveled another shovel into the pit. Fu Yan's mentality was about to collapse at this moment. The reason why he was so arrogant, vicious and crazy before was because he had a gun and he had the confidence. Now, let alone the gun, he couldn't even move, like a fish on a chopping board, at the mercy of others. How could he have the confidence? If you have the guts, let me go, let's have a one-on-one duel. Duel like a man, Fu Yan roared. Chen Feng heard this. He reached into his pocket and felt around. And he took out the pistol. He turned on the safety, aimed, and pulled the trigger with ease. Bang! Accompanied by a gunshot. A cloud of dust flew up around Fu Yan. Fu Yan looked at the dust and bullet hole flying around him with trembling eyes and swallowed. A whole person immediately wilted. And Shen Sheng had already pointed his gun at Fu Yan. But to duel. Fu Yan quickly shook his head. Shen Feng put the gun away again. Then continue burying. Wait a minute. Fu Yan hurriedly called Shen Feng again. Seeing this, Shen Feng took out his gun again. Fu Yan, can you please not hold the gun? Let's talk it over nicely. You buried me alive, and you yourself took a life. If your bright future is ruined because of me, won't you regret it? No, we are the only ones who know about this. I buried you and then buried Shangbei Aihua. After spring, weeds will grow here. Who would know that there are two people buried here? As Shen Feng spoke, he picked up the shovel again. Even if no one finds out, won't you feel guilty? Aren't you afraid of having nightmares in the middle of the night? Aren't you afraid that I will turn into a ghost and come after you? Fu Yan said. Shen Sheng glanced at Fu Yan twice. Then he squatted beside Fu Yan and patted his head. Fu Yan, you think too highly of yourself even if you can turn into a ghost. You can't turn into a fierce ghost at most, you can only be a stupid ghost. Besides, you wanted to kill me first, and I killed you instead. How can my conscience hurt? I'm giving you a suggestion. Take some deep breaths now, otherwise, if I bury you later, you won't have the chance to enjoy such fresh air. Seeing that Shen Feng wanted to fill the soil again, Fu Yan was completely numb. This guy is simply unacceptable. Brother, tell me, why didn't you bury me? Fu Yan asked. Shen Feng pulled out his gun. If I kill you, I won't have to bury you. Fu Yan, fuck you, just beat me to death. Shen Feng took off the safety of his pistol and pointed it at Fu Yan. Fu Yan, I was wrong, brother. Fu Yan really wants to cry now. He finally got tough for once. But Shen Sheng made him lose so completely. Blanche, Shen Feng said at this time, if you really don't want to die, I can spare your life. Fu Yan's eyes lit up. Brother, how can you let me go? You should have quite a bit of savings in your name, right? Donate them all anonymously, and I'll let you go. Fu Yan agreed. He has been a top star for several years. Even if he falls from grace one day and has to pay various liquidated damages, he certainly won't be left with no money at all. If he dies, the money will not be his. Might as well use it to buy a life. Shen Feng found a formal donation channel on the internet. And he asked Fu Yan to donate all the savings in several bank cards. Moreover, Fu Yan was not allowed to leave his real name, but was only allowed to sign, "May the Quan Suo couple be happy forever." Because he couldn't donate all the money at once. Fu Yan was forced to squat in the pit and play with his phone for an hour. Finally he said to Shen Feng with a dusty face, "Is this okay now? Can?" Shen Sheng has always been a man of his words. He released Fu Yan immediately. Having regained his freedom, Fu Yan climbed out of the pit and took a deep breath of the outside air. Then Shen Feng hit him back with a brick. Then Shen Feng clapped his hands, wiped the fingerprints off the gun and threw it next to Fu Yan. He said to Zhang Wanwan and Director Chen behind him, "Alright, ignore him and let him lie here. I've already called the police. Let's just leave this to the police, let us go now." Director Chen glanced at Fu Yan who had fainted in the pit. "I always feel a dull pain in the back of my head." And he also knew that this was Fu Yan's own fault and he deserved it. So he couldn't blame Shen Feng. So Director Chen nodded and followed Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan out of the woods. Shen Feng took the car keys that he found on Fu Yan, opened the car that Fu Yan and his friends were driving, and then drove away. On the way to drive away, Director Chen suddenly remembered and asked, "Is there someone missing? Where is Shangbei Aihua?" "Don't worry about him. He probably ran away on his own," Shen Feng said. While talking, he was also sending something on his cell phone. In the woods, after Shen Sheng and the others drove away, Shangbei Aihua, who had been hiding beside a tree with no sense of existence, finally showed his head. He walked to Fu Yan trembling Lai and picked up the gun shaking Lai. Then he imitated what Shen Feng had done before and turned on the safety. He pointed the gun at Fu Yan, but no shots were fired. He was breathing heavily and his fingers were shaking. He put the gun down again, took out his cell phone and stared at the screen. Suddenly, a text message about a money transfer appeared on the phone. A string of numbers that made people unable to look away jumped out. And Shang Bie, whose body trembled even more violently. 20 minutes ago. Shen Cheng avoided Director Chen and Zhang Wanwan and found him. Tell him that I hope he can kill Fu Yan later. Moreover, he will be rewarded handsomely. After this is done. No one in heaven or on earth knows about it. Only the two of them know about it. And the two of them are tied to the same rope, so Shang Bie will be absolutely safe. Obviously, the arrival of this transfer message proved that Shen Feng did not lie to him. Then Shang Bie had turned off the screen of his mobile phone. He raised the gun again and aimed at Fu Yan. People die for money. Birds die for food. Although I am very grateful that you paid my fine. But, bloodshot also appeared in Shang Bie's eyes. The corners of his mouth cracked, and his expression was crazy. Just like Fu Yan before. I'm sorry, brother Fu. Bang! A gunshot startled a flock of birds in the forest. Chapter 323, Stamp Your Promise. Shen Feng sat in the passenger seat, put away his phone and looked at the scenery outside the window. In the past 800 years, Shen Feng has done a lot of things. Some are normal. Some of them are crazy. It's not that he doesn't dare to kill anyone. He just doesn't want Director Chen and Zhang Wanwan to know that he killed someone. Fu Yan must die. Today Fu Yan has touched his bottom line. If I keep Fu Yan, what if one day I am not with Wan Ji and Fu Yan finds Wanwan with a gun? Shen Cheng would not let such a thing happen, so Fu Yan could not stay. He found Shang Bie, Hui, and asked him to do it. As for Shang Bie, Hui, Shen Feng was playing with the phone in his hand. He saw Zhang Wanwan sent him a message. Zhang Wanwan, Fengzi, do you have any other plans? Shen Feng glanced at Zhang Wanwan in the back seat. Zhang Wanwan looked like she was saying, I see through you. Shen Feng smiled and gave Zhang Wanwan an innocent expression in return. Then sent a message back. Shen Feng, really not. I am a kind person. And on the other side, Shang Bie sat trembling in Director Chen's original car. Shen Cheng gave Shang Bie the key to the car. But because the tire was punctured, Shang Bie could only search for the phone number of a repair shop and wait for someone to come and fix the car. He waited for more than an hour. During this hour or so, Shang Bie's heart gradually went from being nervous and afraid to calming down. Especially when he repeatedly opened his phone to check the payment text message. I felt my heart boiling. Why did he try so hard to become famous in youth group? It's all about money. Only now did he realize that making money could be so easy. Thinking about this, Shang Bie's tense nerves relaxed. And he even fell asleep in the car. He had a particularly happy dream. In the dream, he had a lot of money and lived in a very big house. He is the richest man in the world, and Shen Feng has to kneel at his feet and submit to him. However, Shang Bie was soon awakened by a knock on the window. Shang Bie was stretched and thought it was the car mechanic who came. I was feeling a little depressed and wanted to get off the bus. But when he turned around and saw the uniformed policeman with guns outside the car, Shang Bie's expression changed immediately. Shang Bie also heard the voices of other police officers coming from the woods. We found the body at the same as the one who reported the case. It's Fu Yan, the reporter. Report to the police. Shang Bie suddenly understood. He pounded his hands on the steering wheel so hard that the car horn made a shrill sound. Shen Feng, you plotted against me. At last, Shang Bie was taken away. When being interrogated, Shang Bie frantically explained to the police that Shen Feng ordered him to do so and that everything was Shen Feng's conspiracy. It was Shen Cheng who asked him to kill Fu Yan and called the police, wanting to put him to death. Shang Bie also said that he had evidence, and that he had Shen Cheng's transfer information in his mobile phone to serve as evidence. But when the police asked Shang Bie to turn on his mobile phone and show evidence, Shang Bie discovered that the text message had disappeared. It's like it never existed. Shang Bie slumped in the chair, and the mobile phone in his hand fell to the ground with a snap. He understood it now. How thoroughly had Shen Feng schemed against him, but he realized it was too late. Shen Feng did not return to the film and television base. Instead, he asked Director Chen to drive directly to the police station. He knew that as the person reporting the case, he would definitely have to give a statement. The people in the bureau were just looking for Shen Feng. But Shen Feng came by himself. Shen Cheng confessed the truth. He was being followed by Fu Yan and Shang Bie and drove to the woods in a panic. After he got off the car, he was surrounded by Fu Yan and Shang Bie. Fu Yan pointed a gun at him and he was terrified. Fu Yan and Shang Bie even dug a hole and wanted to bury him alive. Fu Yan asked Shen Feng to hand over the money, but he and Shang Bie seemed to have a conflict over the division of the spoils. During the argument, Shang Biehua nimbly snatched Fu Yan's gun. Then, despite Fu Yan's repeated pleas for mercy, he ruthlessly shot Fu Yan to death with a single shot. Chen Feng took advantage of the chaos to escape. He didn't dare to stay at the scene, so he called the police only after ensuring his own safety. Regarding Shang Biehua's claim that he asked Shang Biehua to kill Fu Yan, Shen Sheng said that this was nonsense. They are in the same group and both want to kill me. How can I order Shang Biehua to kill Fu Yan? Shen Sheng looked innocent. It can't be that I subdued them both at the same time. And knocked Fu Yan unconscious, handed the gun to Shang Biehua, and then told Shang Biehua that I would give you money if I killed him. Right? How can I possibly beat a guy with a gun? Shen Feng left the police station in the afternoon. At evening, we arrived at the Suzhou Hanghouse Film and Television Base and officially joined the crew. Wang Shun-Xun called Director Chen at noon to ask why he hadn't arrived yet. At that time, Director Chen just said that he had encountered some problems. Now that they had arrived at the crew, Director Chen explained the details to Wang Shun-Xun, and everyone in the crew was shocked. Before joining the group, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were chased by Fu Yan and Shang Biehua, and even guns were used. The plot in this reality is even more terrifying and exaggerated than in the movie. The welcoming banquet originally prepared for Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan was postponed. Wang Shun-Xun asked them to have a good rest first and talk about dinner after they had calmed down from the shock in their hearts. After hearing what Wang Shun-Xun said, Director Chen's mouth twitched a little. Scared? Who scares whom? When Director Chen thought of how Fu Yan was almost buried alive by Shen Feng, and how Shang Biehua and Fu Yan were played around by Shen Feng, he couldn't help but shudder. Night. In the hotel booked by the crew, Zhang Wanwan asked Shen Feng to stand by the wall. After comparing the height difference between himself and Shen Feng, he moved a small stool and placed it under his feet. Then a hand pressed on the wall behind Shen Feng. There was a wall down. Zhang Wanwan stood on a small stool, looked down at Feng Zi, and said seriously, Feng Zi, tell me the truth, what did you do? Fu Yan is dead, right? Or was it Shang Biehua who killed him? Don't tell me that Shang Biehua was bored and suddenly wanted to kill Fu Yan. You must be behind this. Shen Feng smiled and picked up Zhang Wanwan, carrying her from the bench to the bed. And he hugged Zhang Wanwan and said, if I say I really didn't do anything, would you believe me? Zhang Wanwan stared at Shen Feng with an expression that said, I don't believe you at all. Shen Feng pinched Zhang Wanwan's face to make her look more relaxed. There are some things I don't want to tell you because. Don't say that I don't want to tell you some things for your own good. Zhang Wanwan was a little angry. I'm your wife. Why can't you tell me this? Husband and wife should share happiness and hardship. Instead of you taking good care of me and I don't even know what you have given. This isn't fair. Shen Feng was stunned. He actually guessed that given Wanwan's personality, she would get to the bottom of the matter. But he didn't expect that Zhang Wanwan would be so angry about this matter. Shen Feng sighed lightly and told Zhang Wanwan his plan in detail. After listening to this, Zhang Wanwan just reached out and poked Shen Feng. You're hiding this from me, why? Are you afraid that I'll distance myself from you and leave you because of this? Don't underestimate your elder brother's ability to bear it. Okay? She pulled Shen Feng's collar and said very seriously. You must never hide this kind of thing from me again in the future. Otherwise I will be very sad, do you hear me? Good. Shen Feng nodded. I can't hear you, speak louder. Good. Louder. Good. The seriousness on Zhang Wanwan's face finally disappeared, revealing a sweet smile. And he pulled Shen Feng by the collar and kissed him on the lips. After a moment, she let go of Shen Feng with a blushing face. Jerked, this is to stamp your promise just now. Remember what you said today. Remember it for the rest of your life. Shen Feng smiled. Suddenly turned over and pressed down Zhang Wanwan. Looking at Zhang Wanwan's flushed face, Shen Feng said softly. Brother Wan, the contract is in triplicate, you only stamped one. Isn't that inappropriate? I'll make up the remaining few for you. After saying that, Shen Feng's kiss has already fallen. The night is long, endless. Chapter 324. Are Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan related? Because being hunted is indeed a serious matter. Therefore, the crew is not in a hurry to start filming for the time being, but plans to wait for the official announcement to confirm, but there will be no impact on Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan before making plans. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan had nothing to do these days, so they followed Wang Shun-Xun around the crew. Song Jian's script is based on a steampunk-style worldview of the Republic of China with a relatively advanced technology. So Wang Shun-Xun directly booked a section of the film and television base that imitated the streets of the Republic of China, accorated it, and created a steamy Shanghai that was as close to the original as possible as described in Song Jian's script. There are tracks for trams on the streets, but judging from the complex gears on the tracks and trams, it seems that driving the trams is not simple. On both sides of the street are European and American-style street lamps, Western-style 4- or 5-story villas, and neon signs with traditional Chinese characters, which flash quite dazzlingly even in the daytime. Some signs said Chinese Hotel, and some said Red Butterfly Cinema. Others had words like Robot Arm Repairing Aircraft Rental, that seemed out of place. There are also some robot props bought by the crew on the street. These robots often have exposed gears and even engine oil. It has the sense of damage and vicissitudes of time and the sense of technology of high-precision machinery, which seems to have changed the style of the entire street. Wang Shunxuan told Shen Fang and Zhang Wan that there were some more important landmark buildings in the script that could not be reproduced in physical form on this street. For example, a giant mechanical octopus controlled by a warlord floating in the sky, a large steam engine standing in the middle of the street, a mechanically driven rickshaw, etc. These can only be added to the movie through post-production special effects. In addition, Wang Shunxuan also took the two to visit the two main locations for future filming: the Red Butterfly Theater where the male protagonist played by Shen Feng performs, and the underground dance hall where the female protagonist played by Zhang Wan plays rock and roll. These two places serve as the main scenes for the development of the plot, and Wang Shunxuan has made sufficient arrangements. Wang Shunxuan really cares about Song Xian's posthumous work. In addition, Wang Shunxuan also introduced some of the actors present to Shen Feng and Zhang Wan. Most of these actors have a pretty good attitude towards Shen Feng and Zhang Wan. Most of them are young people, and have seen the popular TV series, Let's Start Dating Today, and the Mingyu Jewelry advertisement. Even if you are not a fan of them, most people recognize their abilities, but most are majority. There are still people who are not very friendly towards Shen Feng and Zhang Wan. For example, the third female role in the play, a little girl named Sun Xiaoya. This little girl is only 17 or 18 years old, younger than Shen Feng and Zhang Wan who have not graduated from college. However, she debuted as a child star and has acted in many dramas since she was young. When other actors either shook hands and greeted Shen Wan enthusiastically, or nodded politely, only Sun Xiaoya snorted coldly when facing Zhang Wan. I don't dare to shake hands with a big star, it will shorten my life. Zhang Wan was stunned. That's strange. I have lived for 2 lifetimes and have basically never had any dealings with Sun Xiaoya. I have no grudge against her. Why did this sister start to be sarcastic to her right away? Zhang Wan has always been a broad-minded, civilized, friendly person who does not bear grudges. So she smiled gently and said, "Little sister, are you sick? Is there something wrong with your brain?" Sun Xiaoya became anxious at the time and was about to retort. Another actor stood up and grabbed Sun Xiaoya. Shen Feng knew him. Ji Kang Cheng, a young actor, who seemed to play the 5th male lead this time. Ji Kang Cheng politely and apologetically apologized to Shen Feng and Zhang Wan. "I'm sorry, Xiaoya is still young, sometimes she likes to lose her temper and speak without thinking. I hope you two teachers can forgive me." Shen Feng nodded. "Don't worry, I'll definitely forgive you. Since she doesn't think before she speaks, then she definitely can't think before she acts. Pack your bags and go home. Find a hospital to get treated." Sun Xiaoya glared. "Who do you think you are? Can the leading actor just let people leave the crew at will? The leading actor has more power than the producer and director. Did you, the leading man, climb up to the top by driving others away?" Before Sun Xiaoya could finish her words, she was stopped by the man number 5 named Ji Kang Cheng next to her. Ji Kang Cheng looked very apologetic, and bowed helplessly to everyone present. I'm sorry, I'll go back and discipline her properly. Teacher Shen Feng, Teacher Zhang Wan, please calm down. I will definitely bring her to apologize later." Having said that, Ji Kang Cheng pulled Sun Xiaoya away. Zhang Wan was in a daze until they left. "You come up here and get mad at me for no reason. What's going on with this Sun Xiaoya, Principal Wang? Who are you looking for?" Wang Shunxuan was also confused. She got selected through an audition. Her acting skills are indeed quite good. She is qualified for the role of the third female lead. She also seemed to be a good-tempered girl before. Why today? Zhang Wan, did you really not offend her before? Zhang Wan sneered. With her bad temper, if she had any grudge against me, do you think she would still be alive and well now? Wang Shunxuan. He found that he seemed unable to refute it. However, Shen Feng looked at the direction where Ji Kang Cheng and Sun Xiaoya left, and became thoughtful. When something is abnormal, there must be something wrong. This Sun Xiaoya came to be sarcastic to him and Zhang Wan for no reason. Even in front of Wang Shunxuan and so many actors in the crew. There can't be no reason behind this. Besides, they are already 17 or 18 years old. How stupid can they be? Shen Feng thought about it, whispered a few words to Zhang Wan, and then walked alone in the direction where Ji Kang Cheng and Sun Xiaoya left. Shen Feng stopped when he reached an alley in the scene. Then I heard a burst of whispers coming from the alley. Brother-in-law, how am I doing? It was Sun Xiaoya's voice. Well, you did a great job, thank you, Xiaoya, for helping me like this. Zhe Chang's voice. Sun Xiaoya seemed to smile very proudly. And then said indignantly, of course I have to help you. You are my brother-in-law. Shen Cheng and Zhang Wanwan used their connections to snatch away the leading male and female roles that originally belonged to you and my sister. I must help you and my sister get revenge. Well, when we rehearse next time, remember to follow the plan. The two of them talked in whispers for a long time. Chen Feng stood outside the alley and listened for a long time. Chen Feng waited until the two of them were about to go out before leaving quietly. Relying on connections to snatch the leading male and female roles, Shen Cheng kept repeating these words. How could he not know that he and Zhang Wanwan were related? Didn't you know that their leading male and female roles were stolen? Chen Feng looked at the backs of Ji Cheng and Sun Xiaoya as they walked out of the alley and narrowed his eyes. It seems that the one with the real problem is not just Sun Xiaoya, who has a hole in her brain, but it was Ji Cheng who was setting a trap for Sun Xiaoya. Chapter 325, Confrontation. After Shen Feng returned to the crew, he found Wang Shun Xuan again and asked about Ji Cheng and Sun Xiaoya's situation. This Sun Xiaoya was chosen during the audition. Her acting skills are pretty good. As for this Ji Cheng, Wang Shun Xuan hesitated. Finally, he said, actually, he was one of my former students. When Song Xian's script was first handed to me, he somehow heard about it and came to me to audition for the male lead. But you probably know the result if he had passed the audition. I would not have handed the script to you after that. I offered him the role of male No. 5, but he didn't choose it. Shen Feng nodded and asked, when he auditioned for the male lead, was there another person auditioning for the female lead? Yes, the one who auditioned for the female lead is called Sun Jing. You should have heard of her. She is a celebrity. She is pretty, but her acting skills are average, so I didn't pass her. After Wang Shun Xuan finished speaking, Shen Feng had a rough idea in his mind. Sun Xiaoya called Ji Cheng brother-in-law and said that Ji Cheng and her sister's leading male and female roles were snatched away. And Sun Jing is obviously Sun Xiaoya's sister, and Ji Cheng and Sun Jing are boyfriend and girlfriend or even husband and wife. Sun Jing is also a second-tier star, but Shen Sheng doesn't remember seeing any scandals about her. So it seems that Ji Cheng must have concealed his relationship with Sun Jing from the outside world. The sisterly relationship between Sun Xiaoya and Sun Jing should also be hidden from the outside world. And there is no news about it outside. While eating, Zhang Wanwan secretly asked Shen Feng, Fengzi, what's going on with Ji Cheng and Sun Xiaoya? Sun Xiaoya's sister should be Sun Jing, and she is in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship with Ji Cheng. Sun Jing and Ji Cheng auditioned for this movie before, but were rejected. Zhang Wanwan frowned. What does it have to do with us if they failed the audition? Why did Sun Xiaoya bother us? Shen Cheng didn't originally want to tell Zhang Wanwan. Shen Cheng knew exactly what Ji Cheng was thinking. Shen Cheng could easily handle such a small character, so there was no need to tell Zhang Wanwan and make her worry. However, thinking of what Zhang Wanwan had said to him last night, Shen Feng hesitated for a moment, and still said, Sun Xiaoya will cause trouble for us, most likely because of Ji Cheng's instigation. I just heard their conversation. It seems that Ji Cheng instilled in Sun Xiaoya the idea that it was us who caused Ji Cheng and Sun Jing to fail the audition. Sun Xiaoya wanted to avenge her sister and brother-in-law Ji Cheng, so she targeted us. Then her targeting is a bit too stupid. She must be acting stupid on purpose. Shen Feng said. Today, they deliberately offended us in front of the crew. This is just part of their plan. They have other plans next. They plan to have Sun Xiaoya intentionally get hurt by you or me in future scenes. Especially in some fighting scenes. Then they would pretend that she was bullied and excluded by you and me, and do it for others to see. Everyone in the crew knew that we didn't get along with Sun Xiaoya, and she got hurt when acting with us even if it wasn't intentional. It would be interpreted as revenge. Shen Cheng had heard so many plans when he eavesdropped before. However, Shen Feng could guess Ji Cheng's plan with just his heels. Ji Cheng must have planned to spread the news in the crew after that he and Zhang Wanwan had snatched the male and female roles of Ji Cheng and Sun Jing, further expanding the resentment towards them by the spectators in the crew who were unaware of the truth. Even if Wang Shun Xuan comes out to explain at that time, there will be people who think that Wang Shun Xuan is biased and will not believe what Wang Shun Xuan says. If Ji Cheng was a little more ruthless and was willing to spend money to hire internet trolls to create momentum, and then work with Sun Jing to hype up the matter ambiguously, especially exaggerating the fact that Sun Xiaoya was injured, the public opinion about the whole thing would definitely get bigger and bigger. If Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan cannot produce evidence to prove their innocence, and the crew continues to use these two controversial people as the male and female protagonists, many netizens will definitely have opinions. even if the crew insists on using the two as the male and female protagonists. Ji Kangcheng and Sun Jing will not suffer any losses. And they may even create some popularity. The only pitiful one is probably Sun Xiaoya. She didn't know the truth from beginning to end, was used as a tool by her brother-in-law, and even got injured because of it. Although Sun Xiaoya was deliberately acting stupid by causing trouble in front of so many people today, Shen Feng estimated that Sun Xiaoya herself was not that smart. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been used like this by Ji Kangcheng. After listening to Shen Feng, Zhang Wanwan ate her meal while whispering, "Fengzi, how do you want to deal with them?" Shen Feng smiled and looked at Zhang Wanwan. "Brother Wan, how do you want to deal with them?" Zhang Wanwan picked up a piece of meat from the lunchbox and bit it into 2 pieces. Then he sneered, "Since they like acting, let's act with them. Isn't it just pretending to be injured, as if anyone wouldn't do that?" 2 days later, after Xiaomu and Shang Yin arrived, Wang Shun Xuan immediately began to organize the actors to rehearse. As the leading male role, Shen Fang, and the leading female role, Zhang Wanwan, naturally have the most scenes, while the third female role, Sun Xiaoya, also has a lot of rival scenes with them. Sun Xiaoya plays the role of a little female thief who robs the rich to help the poor in the play. Few wealthy families in the city have not fallen victim to her murderous hands. In the script, the underground dance hall where the second female led Liu Mingting, played by Zhang Wanwan, performed was often visited by the female thief played by Sun Xiaoya because it gathered many extravagant rich people. The most direct rivalry between the two in the script is when Sun Xiaoya sneaks into the underground dance hall and steals Zhang Wanwan's suitcase. She thought that the contents contained the property of the heroine Liu Mingting, but in fact they were confidential documents and heavy firepower weapons of the warlord to whom Liu Mingting actually belonged. The female thief was chased by the heroine Liu Mingting and was finally forced into a dead end. Here a rivalry of both civil and military performance unfolds. In this section, the heroine Liu Mingting's cruelty, decisiveness, and ruthlessness are shown, as well as the female thief's resistance and the helplessness and despair of the resistance. This kind of thing. Sun Xiaoya and Sun Shanshan don't get along every day. Because Sun Xiaoya confronted Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan in front of many actors. Almost everyone in the crew knows about it now. So, when the crew arranged for Sun Xiaoya to perform the scene with Zhang Wanwan, many crew members who had nothing to do came over to watch. It was a simple scene, not a formal shoot, so Zhang Wanwan and Sun Xiaoya didn't wear any makeup. The two men stood opposite each other, both breathing heavily. According to the plot setting, the two people have just experienced a chase. Sun Xiaoya reached out and wiped the non-existent sweat from her forehead. He glared at Zhang Wanwan with gritted teeth, hunched over like a frightened kitten. Just this one action, one look. This made many crew members around show their appreciation. Child actors are really different. They have been acting since they were young. Their acting skills are so natural. If I had half the acting skills she has, I wouldn't have to be just a supporting role, right? And Xiaoya was also very pretty when she grows up in her 20s. She will definitely be a great beauty. The crew members watching were talking, but it did not affect the acting between Zhang Wanwan and Sun Xiaoya. Zhang Wanwan's eyes were stern, and she walked toward Sun Xiaoya step by step with great pressure. Every step was taken neatly and decisively, yet nerve-wracking lie. Zhang Wanwan said jokingly, "Has the arrogant little cheetah hit a dead and become just a little cat?" As Zhang Wanwan advanced, Sun Xiaoya also retreated step by step. Until you have retreated to a corner and there is no place to retreat. With no way to retreat, she suddenly rushed towards Zhang Wanwan as if she was fighting a desperate battle. In this section, Zhang Wanwan should have kicked her back with a whip kick, and she should have dodged sideways. Sun Xiaoya has already thought it through. When Zhang Wanwan kicks her, she will just take the whip kick without dodging. If Zhang Wanwan's strength was strong enough, she would just fall to the ground. If her strength was not strong enough, she would fake a fall and pretend to be seriously injured. Sun Xiaoya believes in her acting skills and she thinks her plan is perfect. But I don't know if it was because Zhang Wanwan didn't react in time. When Sun Xiaoya rushed towards Zhang Wanwan didn't raise her leg and kick her like in the script. This made Sun Xiaoya's plan of getting a good hit go awry. She was slightly startled, but did not stop rushing towards Zhang Wanwan, until the two collided with each other. Zhang Wanwan's body fell straight down. He just fell to the ground like a corpse. His eyes were closed and his face was pale. Shen Feng, who was standing by, ran over like a madman and eagerly hugged the unconscious Zhang Wanwan. The other crew members also rushed over, and Wang Shunxuan hurriedly called the medical staff who were on standby next to the crew. Looking at the scene that suddenly became chaotic, the 18-year-old Sun Xiaoya suddenly felt her mind go blank. In fact, she couldn't remember how much force she used when she hit Zhang Wanwan. But when Sun Xiaoya thought of Zhang Wanwan's powerless body falling down and her defeated face, she knew. She seems to be in big trouble. Chapter 326. Wanwan is fine. And the child is fine too. Compared to the group of nervous crew members who surrounded Zhang Wanwan, Sun Xiaoya, standing there, looked like an alien. Sun Xiaoya looked at Zhang Wanwan in Shen Feng's arms with trembling eyes. Suddenly, Shen Feng turned his head and looked at her. A pair of eyes seemed to be filled with fire, staring at Sun Xiaoya intently. Don't you know that Wanwan was almost attacked a few days ago? She was just frightened at the time and her body was weak. I warned you before you acted. Don't you take it to heart at all? Besides, it's just a scene. Why are you so violent? I don't know how Wanwan and I have offended you to make you target us everywhere. You can tell us what our problems are. You can tell everyone and we can confront each other face to face. Do you really need to use such means to hurt others? Shen Feng's tone was like that of an angry beast, exploding in an instant. This made Sun Xiaoya, who was already panicking, even more at a loss. She was so scared that she burst into tears and defended herself incoherently. I didn't mean to hurt her. I just wanted to act more realistically, so that when Zhang Wanwan kicked me, the injuries I suffered would be more realistic. This was Sun Xiaoya's original idea. But she couldn't say this no matter what. Sun Xiaoya burst into tears in despair and helplessness. She didn't know how badly Zhang Wanwan was injured. But this was really not her intention. She looked around with tears in her eyes. Now she wished her brother-in-law could stand up and speak for her, or even just say sorry for her. But among so many crew members in the theater, Ji Kangcheng was the only one missing. Zhang Wanwan was carried into a car by a group of people and rushed straight to a nearby hospital. Sun Xiaoya also got on the car crying. After arriving at a nearby hospital, Zhang Wanwan was sent for examination. Sun Xiaoya squatted at the hospital entrance, wiping her tears. After entering the examination room, Zhang Wanwan, who had been lying motionless with her eyes closed, suddenly opened her eyes. Director Chen, Wang Shunxuan and others who were accompanying them also put away their original nervous expressions. Director Chen let out a long sigh and said, "Damn, I was scared to death. Feng Zi's air pressure was too low in the ambulance just now. I was afraid that he would get really angry and bury Sun Xiaoya alive." Director Chen, what are you talking about? Am I that kind of person? The expression on Shen Feng's face also relaxed and he said with a smile. Director Chen glanced at Shen Feng. The word yes got stuck in my throat. But I finally swallowed it back. Wang Shunxuan sighed, looked at Zhang Wanwan and said, "My dear, I have acted out this drama with you. Are you satisfied now?" Zhang Wanwan planned to make such a big fuss, as she didn't notify the senior management of the crew in advance. And there would be no way to resolve the matter. So long after Zhang Wanwan made the plan, she and Shen Feng told Wang Shunxuan about Sun Xiaoya. The reason why Wang Shunxuan arranged the scene for Zhang Wanwan and Sun Xiaoya to play against each other today was because Zhang Wanwan had given her notice in advance. I'm not satisfied. I thought Ji Kangcheng would stand up to help Sun Xiaoya, but I didn't expect this grandson to be such a coward. After I passed out, he just wandered off and didn't care about his sister-in-law at all. Zhang Wanwan pouted. When I think about it this way, I feel that Sun Xiaoya is a little pitiful. Don't you ever think about why people are pitiful? Wang Shunxuan clicked his tongue. But it doesn't matter. After what happened today, Sun Xiaoya should be obedient. Even if Ji Kangcheng wants to cause trouble again, he probably won't be able to find Sun Xiaoya for help. Zhang Wanwan said this, turned over and got out of bed, stretched her legs and feet, and wanted to walk out. But Shen Feng held her back and said softly, "Wan Ji, we are here for a checkup. I'm not really in trouble. Why should I get checked? Even if not for yourself, you should still get checked for the sake of the child. Right?" Shen Feng said. Director Chen nodded and said, "Yes, we have to check it for the sake of the child." Wang Shunxuan also said, "Yes, for the sake of the children." Suddenly both of them froze there. After looking at each other, the two looked at Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan in shock. "You have a child?" Zhang Wanwan stared at Shen Feng. "Feng Zi, you said that for what?" Shen Feng smiled and held Zhang Wanwan's hand. "I'm afraid that if I don't tell you, you will become more and more embridled in the crew in the future. From now on, I will feel at ease only if everyone in the crew treats my wife as a treasure." In fact, Shen Feng had already expressed his opposition when Zhang Wanwan proposed this plan. But Zhang Wanwan repeatedly stated that she was professional at faking a fall. She would definitely not get hurt, and she would definitely protect the baby. He was almost crying, making a fuss, and even committing suicide. Shen Cheng finally agreed to Zhang Wanwan's plan, and even took the time to teach Zhang Wanwan skills such as how to protect herself when falling. At that time, Shen Feng had made up his mind. After this incident, he made sure to let everyone in the crew know that Zhang Wanwan was pregnant. As long as no one can play with Zhang Wanwan, then Zhang Wanwan will not be able to play alone. Zhang Wanwan looked at Shen Feng with resentment. She knew that this was Feng Zi's revenge. She bit her lip, and suddenly pulled Feng Zi pitifully and said, Thus let Principal Wang and Director Chen know about this. And don't tell anyone else in the crew, otherwise who will take acting with me seriously in the future?" Chen Feng smiled. Then he took out his cell phone and sent a voice message to the crew's WeChat group. "Chen Feng, don't worry, everyone Wan is fine, and the baby in her belly is fine too." Looking at Chen Feng, he sent out the voice message with a Zhang Wan was completely depressed. How can she film well in the future? Sun Xiaoya, who was in the hospital, felt even more regretful after hearing the voice message on WeChat. What a disaster she almost got herself into. Not knowing what to do, Sun Xiaoya called Ji Kangcheng crying. Ji Kangcheng had said before that he was her brother-in-law. And if there was anything she couldn't handle on the crew, she could go to her brother-in-law. It is precisely because Ji Kangcheng is good to Sun Xiaoya that Sun Xiaoya is willing to help Ji Kangcheng deal with Shen Feng and Zhang Wan. Now that things have gotten out of hand, Sun Xiaoya really wants to find Ji Kangcheng to ask what she should do, how to apologize to Zhang Wan and how to compensate Zhang Wan. Ji Kangcheng answered the phone, but asked in confusion, as if he had no idea what was going on. "Xiaoya, what's wrong? What happened?" "Sister brother-in-law, Zhang Wan's matter. What should I do?" Sun Xiaoya asked hurriedly. "What happened to Zhang Wan? What happened to Zhang Wan?" Ji Kangcheng still had that puzzled tone. Did something happen to her? Sun Xiaoya was stunned. She asked trembling Lai, "What happened?" "In the afternoon on the set, didn't you see? I hurt Zhang Wan in order to help you. Didn't you see it?" Ji Kangcheng seemed to suddenly realize it. And he said to Sun Xiaoya, "I happened to be away from the crew when you were rehearsing this afternoon. Why, how did you hurt Zhang Wan? Even if she took my and your sister's positions, you shouldn't treat her like this." Sun Xiaoya seemed to be unable to hear what Ji Kangcheng said afterwards. She just felt that her mind was in a mess. She obviously wanted to help Ji Kangcheng. It was clearly because of Ji Kangcheng's plan that she hurt Zhang Wan. Why, now Ji Kangcheng seems to be the most innocent person. Sun Xiaoya wanted to say something else, but the cell phone in her hand was suddenly snatched away by someone. Sun Xiaoya was stunned and turned her head in surprise. But she found out that the person who snatched her phone was Zhang Wan, who was supposed to be unconscious. Now the paleness and weakness on Zhang Wan's face were gone. Instead, it was filled with indifference and anger hidden beneath the indifference. She and Shen Feng and others had just come out, but Sun Xiaoya was on the phone and didn't notice. Zhang Wan also listened to most of the conversation between Sun Xiaoya and Ji Kangcheng. Even if she couldn't hear what Ji Kangcheng said, Zhang Wan could guess roughly what he said from what Sun Xiaoya said. Zhang Wan held the phone and said coldly into the receiver, "Ji Kangcheng, as long as you dare to do it and take responsibility, I will also regard you as a man. Not only do you not dare to do it and take responsibility now, but you also put the blame on Xiaoya? Stop telling me you weren't there this afternoon or something like that. I saw you hiding at the back of the crowd. You coward. Since you said that I'm taking your and your girlfriend's positions, and I'll do as you wish if you can still stay in the know. 5 male position tomorrow, my name, Zhang Wan, will be written backwards." After saying that, Zhang Wan hung up the phone and turned away. Wan's sister Wan. Suddenly, Sun Xiaoya's pitiful voice was heard from behind. Zhang Wan tossed her hair in a chic manner. "Why? Do you want to praise me for being handsome? No, you didn't return my phone." Zhang Wan. Chapter 327 Head. On the way back to the Sushu Hang House film and television base, Zhang Wan roughly explained to Sun Xiaoya what had happened before. "When I heard Zhang Wan say that the fall happened just when she was acting, Sun Xiaoya did not blame Zhang Wan for lying to her. Nor did she blame others for hiding the truth from her. Instead, he let out a long sigh of relief. It's good that everything is fine. It's good that everyone is fine. This little girl is quite kind-hearted." It was because of the scumbag Ji Kangcheng that she was led by the rhythm and believed what Ji Kangcheng said first. So she started to target Shen Feng and Zhang Wan. Your sister Sun Jing, and this Ji Kangcheng, did audition for the leading male and female roles before. Wan Shun Xun was also in the car at the moment, helping to explain. At the time, both of them failed the audition. It was a long time later that I discovered Shen Feng and Zhang Wan. Two good candidates, so there was no such thing as competing for the role. Now that she has realized what kind of person Ji Kangcheng is, Sun Xiaoya also understands that she had misunderstood Shen Feng and Zhang Wan before. She nodded, and quietly apologized to Shen Feng and Zhang Wan. "I'm sorry, I misunderstood you before. It's nothing, but it's better for you to spend less time with your brother-in-law in the future," Shen Feng said. Sun Xiaoyan nodded. Then he seemed to remember something and hurriedly took out his cell phone. "Oh, by the way, I have to call my sister and tell her about this." She called her sister Sun Jing, and while waiting for the call to be connected, she said to Zhang Wan and Shen Feng, "My sister must have been deceived by Ji Kangcheng. She also said that you guys stole her role. I have to explain it to her. Soon, the call was connected. Sun Xiaoyu excitedly told her sister Sun Jing what happened today and Wang Shun Xun's explanation. Finally, she said, "Sister, Ji Kangcheng not only took advantage of us, but also ignored me when something happened and tried to put all the blame on me. How can you be with such a person?" But then, I don't know what Sun Jing said on the phone. Sun Xiaoyu's originally excited and indignant expression suddenly became dull. Her eyes were wide open, staring blankly ahead. After responding a few words foolishly, he hung up the phone helplessly. Seeing Sun Xiaoyu like this, Jiang Wanwan sat next to her and asked softly, "Xiaoya, what's wrong?" But my sister said she actually knew everything. She also told me not to quarrel with Ji Kangcheng, to listen to Ji Kangcheng obediently and to try my best to get her and Ji Kangcheng's roles back." As Sun Xiaoyu spoke, her eyes turned red again. She originally thought that her sister was just a victim deceived by Ji Kangcheng, just like her. Who could have thought that her elder sister had known the truth for a long time and had colluded with Ji Kangcheng to deceive her perpetrator? The more Sun Xiaoyu thought about it, the more painful she felt, and finally she burst into tears in the car. Jiang Wanwan and Shen Feng looked at each other, then gently hugged Sun Xiaoyu in her arms, patting her back to comfort her. Jiang Wanwan had no ill feelings towards Sun Xiaoyu. On the contrary, she quite admired kids like Sun Xiaoyu who had excellent acting skills at a young age. At least when she first debuted at the age of 17 or 18. She did not have the acting skills of Sun Xiaoyu. Seeing this little girl being hurt by the people closest to her, and being hurt twice in a row, Jiang Wanwan felt very sorry for her. Sun Xiaoyu cried for a long time in the end. She didn't know whether she was too sad or tired of crying, but she fell asleep in Jiang Wanwan's arms. Seeing her pressing on Jiang Wanwan like that, Chen Feng frowned. He gestured towards Jiang Wanwan, signaled to let Jiang Wanwan and Sun Xiaoyu separate. His youngest brother is such a precious and fragile little girl, who is also pregnant. How can she be used as a human pillow for others? Jiang Wanwan felt sorry for Sun Xiaoyu and shook her head at Chen Feng. "I don't." Chen Cheng licked his tongue. He gave Jiang Wanwan another look. "Would you like to have a box lunch or the meal I cooked tonight?" Jiang Wanwan was probably comparing in her mind which dinner was more important, the one made by Sun Xiaoyu or the one made by Shen Feng. In the end, he silently wanted to push Sun Xiaoyu away. As a result, Sun Xiaoyu, who had fallen asleep, was still clinging to Jiang Wanwan. The two arms were tightly embraced, with no intention of separating. Jiang Wanwan spread her hands helplessly. "I can't help it." Chen Feng looked around in the car. They were now sitting in a small commercial vehicle of the crew, and the back seat was quite spacious. Behind the seats, there were some daily necessities and a large backpack. Chen Feng took the backpack. Then he gently pried Sun Xiaoyu's hands apart and stuffed the backpack between Sun Xiaoyu and Jiang Wanwan. In the end, Jiang Wanwan managed to escape, while Sun Xiaoyu continued to hold the big backpack and sleep. Jiang Wanwan sighed. "Fortunately, this backpack is big enough. When it is placed on the seat, it is almost as tall as me." Director Chen, who was driving the car, suddenly said, "Why can't it be that you are too short?" I don't know if he was being rude. Jiang Wanwan. The car was immediately filled with murderous intent. Director Chen also quickly retracted his neck and continued driving. He was very glad that he was now sitting in the driver's seat. If he had been sitting in the back seat, he would probably be half dead by now. Sun Xiaoyu finally woke up when she returned to the film and television base. She wiped the saliva from the corner of her mouth, and then realized that she seemed to have slept all the way while holding Jiang Wanwan. She immediately turned around and apologized to Jiang Wanwan, beside her. "Sister Wanwan, I'm sorry, She hasn't finished her words yet. Then I saw that the Jiang Wanwan next to her had no head." Sun Xiaoyu was stunned for a few seconds. Then he let out aloud. Jiang Wanwan and Shen Chun had already gotten off the car. Hearing Sun Xiaoyu's cry, Jiang Wanwan looked into the car from the window and asked, "What's wrong?" Sun Xiaoyu was frightened out of her wits by the headless Jiang Wanwan beside her. When she heard Jiang Wanwan's voice coming from the side, Sun Xiaoyu turned her head trembling like to look. But now it was dark outside, and Jiang Wanwan was wearing a black down jacket again. She blended into the night, with only a pretty face floating outside the car window. Sun Xiaoyu screamed again in fright. "I almost fainted again." Fortunately, Jiang Wanwan opened the car door in time. The lights in the car came on, and Sun Xiaoyu realized that she was holding a large backpack, while Jiang Wanwan was standing outside the car. After being helped out of the car by Jiang Wanwan in a daze, Sun Xiaoyu took out her cell phone, sniffed, and looked at the date on the phone. She must see clearly what day it is today. Then set today as her unlucky day every year. From then on, every year on this day, she would stay at home obediently. Definitely don't go out. Chapter 328. Did you call too early? After Zhang Wanwan returned to the crew, she was immediately surrounded by a large group of crew members. Everyone looked at Zhang Wanwan as if they had seen a giant panda. I want to ask how she is feeling, but I don't dare to get too close. Every time Zhang Wanwan took a step forward, they took a step back. Zhang Wanwan took a step back, and the group of people moved forward again. Zhang Wanwan was speechless and said helplessly, "Don't be so cautious. Okay, I'm really fine." You are pregnant?" An actress looked at Zhang Wanwan's belly and asked in a low voice. It seemed as if he was afraid that if he spoke too loudly, it would disturb the baby in Zhang Wanwan's belly. Zhang Wanwan coughed lightly. Actually, Feng Zi was just joking. She wanted to fool everyone again so that these people would not be afraid to film with her properly in the future. But before she finished her words, Shen Feng smiled and said, "I'm pregnant. It's been more than a month. Thank you for your concern. I'll send out a few red packets in the group in the evening to make everyone happy." Woohoo, great. Congratulations Wanwan, congratulations brother Shen. Hey, are we the first to know the news? We never heard about Wanwan's pregnancy before. Brother Shen, can you tell anyone? Someone asked. Shen Feng smiled and covered Zhang Wanwan's mouth when she wanted to say, no. Then nodded and said, yes. The onlookers cheered again. Zhang Wanwan rolled her eyes at Shen Feng, as if she wanted to bite him. She opened her mouth with a howl, but unfortunately Shen Feng's hand that was covering her mouth was slightly arched, just enough to prevent Zhang Wanwan from biting her. Zhang Wanwan struggled for a long time but still couldn't bite Shen Feng. Seeing Shen Feng smiling, Zhang Wanwan simply hugged Shen Feng's hands with both hands. Then he pushed him away and bit him like a pig's trotter. However, after biting it, Zhang Wanwan realized that there were 40 or 50 people watching around her. Some people even took out their mobile phones and took pictures secretly. Zhang Wanwan blushed and hurriedly threw away the pig's trotter in her hand. Then glared at Shen Feng fiercely and whispered, "You damn Feng Zi! You dare not obey me, you will see what happens to you tonight." Shen Feng hugged Zhang Wanwan and whispered in her ear, "Really? Then I'm looking forward to it. How beautiful it will be." The two of them hugged each other and went back to the resting place. The flirting made many onlookers feel jealous. After Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan went back, Sun Xiaoya also wanted to rest. A lot happened today and she needs to digest it all. Unexpectedly, when Sun Xiaoya walked to the door of her room, she found that there was a person blocking the road leading to her room. Zhao Kang accepted it. Sun Xiaoya's expression changed. She bit her lip and lowered her head, thinking about just walking past Ji Kang Cheng. But Ji Kang Cheng moved his feet and stood beside Sun Xiaoya again. Time and again, Ji Kang Cheng seemed not to want Sun Xiaoya to pass by him. Sun Xiaoya finally couldn't bear it anymore. She looked up at Ji Kang Cheng and said coldly, "Ji Kang Cheng, what do you want?" Ji Kang Cheng still looks gentle and refined. He pushed his glasses and smiled gently. "Xiaoya, why don't you call me brother-in-law?" Sun Xiaoya pursed her lips and didn't reply to Ji Kang Cheng. Ji Kang Cheng took another step forward. He said slowly, "Xiaoya, don't forget that you owe your sister everything you do for me, and your sister now is your repayment for the debt. Even if we are using you, you still have to help us. This is what you should do, understand?" Sun Xiaoya turned her head away and tried to bypass Ji Kang Cheng again. But at this moment, Ji Kang Cheng suddenly reached out and grabbed Sun Xiaoya's arm. Then he exerted force and pressed Sun Xiaoya against the wall. His always gentle face finally revealed a ruthless expression. He sneered at Sun Xiaoya and said, "Sun Xiaoya, your brother-in-law is talking to you. Didn't you hear me? I'm giving you face and talking to you in a nice way. Don't be shameless. Let me go, I won't help you anymore," Sun Xiaoya said angrily. When Ji Kang Cheng heard this, the expression on his face became even more gloomy. "Since you are so ignorant, your brother-in-law will have to educate you properly." As Ji Kang Cheng spoke, he looked around to see if there was anyone around and reached out to pick up Sun Xiaoya. His hands even went to touch places that he shouldn't touch. Sun Xiaoya never expected that Ji Kang Cheng would dare to do this to her. She was so scared that she screamed, but most of the people living on this floor were still eating, so there was no one around. Sun Xiaoya panicked and struggled desperately. But she was just a little girl and was no match for Ji Kang Cheng in strength. Ji Kang Cheng hugged the struggling Sun Xiaoya idly and said with a sly smile, "Don't scream, it's because I know they all went to the cafeteria to eat that I dare to block you here. Ji Kang Cheng, you beast, aren't you afraid that my sister will find out?" Sun Xiaoya screamed. But Ji Kang Cheng remained unhurried. Your sister has already told me that you called her. She said, if you don't obey, I can use some special means to make you obey. After all, children need to be disciplined." As he spoke, Ji Kang Cheng had already carried Sun Xiaoya to the vicinity of his room. But just as he was about to open the door and bring Sun Xiaoya in, he was hit hard on the back of his head. Ji Kang Cheng staggered and put Sun Xiaoya down rumblingly. He turned his head and looked behind him. He saw Zhang Wanwan standing not far away, staring at him fiercely. Behind him, there fell the weapon that had just hit him, a slipper. Ji Kangcheng narrowed his eyes. Zhang Wanwan, you are really annoying. If I remember correctly, you should be resting upstairs. Right? Xiaoya, you screamed so loudly, did you really think I couldn't hear you? Zhang Wanwan stared at Ji Kangcheng. Beast, no, you are worse than a beast. You forced Xiaoya into this state for your own selfish interests. Are you still a human being? Ji Kangcheng rubbed the back of his head, suddenly sneered, and walked towards Zhang Wanwan step by step. Zhang Wanwan, you are actually quite courageous. You dare to act like a hero when Shen Feng is not by your side. I still remember that you are pregnant. Ji Kangcheng's gaze shifted to Zhang Wanwan's abdomen. If I let you have a miscarriage here, you and Shen Shen will not have time to participate in the recording for a while. Right? Zhang Wanwan's eyes changed. How dare you? Do you think you can still stay in the crew if you touch me? It doesn't matter if I can't stay in the crew, don't we still have Sun Jing? Ji Kangcheng smiled coldly. I'll let her get the chance to compete for the leading female role, and she will definitely not treat me unfairly then. Don't blame me, you brought this upon yourself. As Ji Kangcheng spoke, he slowly approached Zhang Wanwan. If it were in the past, Zhang Wanwan would have definitely beaten Ji Kangcheng up. But she is now pregnant. Even if she said that it wouldn't affect her health, once she really started fighting with Ji Kangcheng, she couldn't guarantee that Ji Kangcheng would not stare at her belly and make trouble. If she really had a miscarriage because of this idiot, Zhang Wanwan would definitely regret it for a long time. Just as Zhang Wanwan was thinking about what to do, Sun Xiaoya suddenly rushed over, hugged Ji Kangcheng's legs, and then shouted to Zhang Wanwan anxiously, Sister Wanwan, go quickly. Ji Kangcheng was nearly knocked down by Sun Xiaoya's hug. He was so angry that he kicked Sun Xiaoya and said angrily, if you get in the way again, I will really be rude to you. Do you know how important this movie is? If Sun Jing can get a role in it, she and I will have a lifetime of wealth and glory. At last, Ji Kangcheng shook off Sun Xiaoya and walked towards Zhang Wanwan again. But Zhang Wanwan was standing at the corner of the stairs at this time and suddenly stopped. Ji Kangcheng thought Zhang Wanwan had given up struggling, so he raised his eyebrows and smiled. Why, do you think you can't escape? How about this, I have a suggestion, you quit the crew and recommend Sun Jing to be the leading actress, and I will let go of the baby in your belly, how do you think? Zhang Wanwan squinted her eyes and looked at Ji Kangcheng. After a moment, she smiled coldly and said, not very good. Ji Kangcheng leered, took a step forward and reached out to grab Zhang Wanwan. But at this moment, a figure rushed out from the corner beside Zhang Wanwan. The man suddenly threw a pot of hot food in his hand towards Ji Kangcheng's face. Ji Kangcheng had no time to dodge, and the hot soup splashed all over his head and face, causing him to scream in pain. But Ji Kangcheng didn't know such pain. It's just the beginning. Shen Chang came out from the corner and ruthlessly smashed the empty bowl on Ji Kangcheng's head. The large bone china bowl was smashed to pieces. Blood immediately gushed out from Ji Kangcheng's head. Shen Feng had already circled behind Xiao Chengsheng and kicked him hard in the lower back. After Ji Kangcheng fell, he stepped on Ji Kangcheng's back. With one hand, he grabbed Ji Kangcheng's arm. Amid Ji Kangcheng's screams, Shen Feng's voice was low. Ji Kangcheng, have you thought about the consequences before touching my wife? As Shen Feng spoke, he exerted force on his hands. Ji Kangcheng's entire arm was twisted off. Ji Kangcheng's screams nearly blew the roof off the building. But Shen Feng kicked him in the face again, suppressing his screams. 2 arms and 2 legs, and you've only removed one. Aren't you shouting too early? Speaking of, Shen Feng has already grabbed Ji Kangcheng's other arm. Chapter 329. He fell on his own. Just after dinner in the evening, Director Chen and Wang Shun Xun went to the hospital again. But this time the injured person lying on the stretcher was Ji Kangcheng. Wang Shun Xun sat beside the stretcher, looking at Ji Kangcheng, who was in such a miserable state, with his mouth twitching. What's wrong with him? Wang Shun Xun asked while looking at Shen Feng standing beside him. I fell down the stairs by myself, Shen Cheng said without changing his expression. Do you think I'm stupid? Wang Shun Xun? Wang Shun Xun. Don't give me that. How can you break all your limbs by falling? Shen Feng shrugged. People can die from falling. So why can't limbs be broken? Then what's with the vegetable soup on his head? Don't tell me there was a bowl of vegetables on the ground when he fell. Shen Feng nodded obediently. You are right, that's the case. I believed your lies. Wang Shun Xun got angry and slammed the stretcher hard. Then there was a click. The stretcher suddenly couldn't bear the weight and broke. Ji Kangcheng fell off the stretcher and onto the car. Shen Feng looked at Wang Shun Xun. Zhang Wanwan looked at Wang Shun Xun. Director Chen also looked at Wang Shun Xun. Wang Shun Xun. He coughed lightly, then looked at Shen Feng and said earnestly, "Student Shen Feng, I'm not saying anything bad about you. No matter what conflict you have with him, you shouldn't use such means to retaliate against him. Young people are full of blood and impulsive. But you shouldn't be so violent." Zhang Wanwan suddenly looked at Wang Shun Xun pitifully. A pair of eyes were as red as a little rabbit's eyes, and crystal tears had begun to accumulate in them. She was extremely weak and aggrieved, and whispered to Wang Shun Xun, "Ji Kang Cheng, in order to grab the positions of male and female led, he wanted to beat me up and make me have a miscarriage while Feng Zi was away." Speaking of, Zhang Wanwan had already started shedding tears. Wang Shun Xun's heart was almost broken by seeing this pitiful, aggrieved and pitiful look. Wang Shun Xun stamped his feet and said angrily, "He should be beaten to death. You still show mercy to such a person. Chen Feng, are you still a man? I don't know if it's a coincidence." When Wang Shun Xun stomped his foot, he happened to step on Ji Kang Cheng's arm. Chen Feng gave Wang Shun Xun a thumbs up. "You are a man. And you are ruthless." Wang Shun Xun. After distancing himself from Zhou Kang Cheng, Wang Shun Xun rubbed his forehead helplessly. "But no matter what, you've been beaten like this. If Ji Kang Cheng really wants to cause trouble for you, it will be difficult to handle. After all, there's no evidence that he wanted to force Wanwan to have a miscarriage. But there is solid evidence that you beat him like this." However, Shen Feng still said to Wang Shun Xun very sincerely, "Principal Wang, he really fell like this. It has nothing to do with me. Even if we have to say there is a connection, the only connection is probably that the pot of vegetable soup on his head was cooked by me." Wang Shun Xun rolled his eyes at Shen Feng. "You don't want to tell me the truth, right? Fine, then I won't get involved in this matter. This is of course just a rant. Chen Cheng is the male protagonist chosen by Wang Shun Xun. How could Wang Shun Xun ignore Shen Feng's affairs?" So as soon as Ji Kang Cheng was sent to the hospital, Wang Shun Xun began to contact his acquaintances in the hospital to inquire about the situation. Half an hour later, Ji Kang Cheng was sent to the ward, and the attending physician found Wang Shun Xun. Wang Shun Xun looked at the attending physician and asked with some concern, "MRLI, how is it?" The attending physician shook his head. "It was a serious fall. All 4 limbs were broken." "It's pretty serious. Wait, did you fall?" Wang Shun Xun's eyes widened. "Yes, I fell. How come you didn't know?" The attending physician looked at Wang Shun Xun in confusion. "No, how could it be from a fall? How could a fall break all 4 limbs? People can die from falling, so why can't we break our limbs?" Wang Shun Xun? Why does this sound so familiar? "Old Li, tell me the truth, are you sure he really fell?" Wang Shun Xun asked again in a low voice. The attending physician glared at Wang Shun Xun and said, "Is it because you fell and injured that I can no longer see? Are you questioning my ability?" "That's not what I meant. I wanted to ask, did you take money from someone and say that on purpose?" Wang Shun Xun strongly suspected that Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan had slipped the money. The attending doctor glared at Wang Shun Xun again. "What do you mean by whether I took the money? Are you questioning my professional ethics?" Wang Shun Xun stopped talking. But he was always very curious. It was obvious that Shen Feng pinned Ji Kang Cheng to the ground and beat him up, leaving Ji Kang Cheng like that. Why can't the hospital find out? Could it be that Shen Feng is the legendary martial arts master who is well versed in the causes of various injuries? So when he beat Ji Kang Cheng, he deliberately created the illusion that Ji Kang Cheng was injured by a fall. That's too ridiculous. Could it be that Xian Feng didn't lie? Did Ji Kang Cheng really fall by himself? And what a coincidence that he broke all 4 of his limbs and dived headfirst into the vegetable soup that happened to be on the ground? Wang Shun Xun returned to the ward, and I saw that Ji Kang Cheng had woken up. Shen Cheng was sitting on the edge of the bed, and seemed to have just said something to Ji Kang Cheng. Wang Shun Xun walked to Ji Kang Cheng's side, looking at him seriously and asked, "Ji Kang Cheng, how did you get injured like this?" Ji Kang Cheng sniffed, glanced at Shen Feng. He looked at Wang Shun Xun again. Finally, he whispered hoarsely, "Yes, I fell down myself. I wasn't paying attention when I was going downstairs, and I accidentally rolled down the stairs and hit a big bowl of vegetable soup." Wang Shun Xun. Wang Shun Xun rubbed his face silently and left the ward. "Whatever you want, do as you please. Wait until Wang Shun Xun leaves." Ji Kang Cheng. I looked at Shen Feng again. That look was like a mouse seeing a cat. I still saw the Cyberpunk Super Enhanced Limited Edition RoboCop Black at Sheriff Plus Pro version. He said in a trembling voice, "Isn't this enough to satisfy you?" Shen Feng nodded. "Since you are so cooperative, I will definitely not pursue you any further. I'll find a way to contact Sun Jing and prepare for the transfer to another hospital. Don't stay in Suzhou and hang house and disgust me otherwise. Next time, you will lose more than just your limbs." Ji Kang nodded in agreement, then watched Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan leave the ward. His eyes were filled with fear. Just now, when Ji Kangcheng just woke up, Shenfeng walked up to him with his cell phone. And what was collected in Shenfeng's mobile phone was all the things that Ji Kangcheng had done that were not allowed to be seen in public. With Ji Kangcheng's personality, he used his sister-in-law for a role, wanted to harm his sister-in-law, and even caused others to have miscarriages. How could he have done few bad things? Not only him, but also Sun Jing. Since the two of them got together, they have used various means to seize resources. Even many roles that should have belonged to Sun Xiaoya were snatched away by Sun Jing and Ji Kangcheng. Sun Xiaoya was obviously unaware of all this. If all these things were exposed, Ji Kangcheng and Sun Jing would basically have to say goodbye to the entertainment industry for the rest of their lives. Even some dirty things are enough to send Ji Kangcheng to jail. For the rest of his life, Ji Kangcheng had no choice but to listen to Shenfeng. Ji Kangcheng felt a little scared, but also felt somewhat fortunate. Fortunately, he didn't have time to make Zhang Wanwan have a miscarriage. If he really hurt Zhang Wanwan, the baby in her belly would be gone. Then Ji Kangcheng felt that he might not even need to come to the hospital today. We can send it directly to the funeral home. Chapter 330. Become a disciple. Sun Xiaoya has been following Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan. She watched Shenfeng beat Ji Kangcheng violently. He also watched Shenfeng threaten Ji Kangcheng. Now in Sun Xiaoya's heart, there are only two words in her mind about Shenfeng. Ruthless person. This is definitely the most ruthless person Sun Xiaoya has ever seen since she was a child. Originally, Sun Xiaoya thought that Shenfeng, who doted on his wife so much, was probably just a cowardly henpecked husband. I didn't expect this henpecked husband to be so fierce. Then he thought about how pitiful it was that he had been bullied by his sister and Ji Kangcheng, but had been kept in the dark from beginning to end. Sun Xiaoya suddenly thought, it would be great if I could be as good as Shenfeng. I wonder if Brother Shen will accept disciples if I can become his disciple. I will definitely learn a lot. But Sun Xiaoya is a little timid now. I dare not say it directly. I can only keep struggling with it in my heart. On the way back to Suzhou and Hanghouse Film and Television Base, Sun Xiaoya kept staring at Shenfeng with shining eyes. Zhang Wanwan, who was watching from the side, felt scared. This little girl, could it be that she has fallen in love with Feng Zi? When she thought of this possibility, Zhang Wanwan pulled Sun Xiaoya over with a serious face and asked, Xiaoya, do you have any thoughts about Shenfeng? Sun Xiaoya was stunned. Was she being so obvious? Scratching her head a little embarrassed lie. Sun Xiaoya whispered. Zhang Wanwan took a breath of cold air. Are young people nowadays so open-minded? In front of someone else's wife. Admit that you have feelings for her husband. Zhang Wanwan looked at Sun Xiaoya sternly and said, Xiaoya, do you think it's appropriate for you to have this idea? Sun Xiaoya thought about it. Finally, he said, it should be appropriate, right? It's just becoming a disciple. There shouldn't be anything inappropriate about that. Could it be that Sister Wanwan thinks she is too uneducated and weak and not worthy of becoming Shenfeng's apprentice? Thinking of this, Sun Xiaoya immediately added, Don't worry, Sister Wanwan, I may not be very good now, but I will try my best to be worthy of Brother Shen in the future. Zhang Wanwan's eyes widened even more. The job. Is this really what a 17 or 18-year-old girl should say? Are young people nowadays so straightforward in stealing other people's husbands? He also said, I will try my best to be worthy of you in the future. Do you think I'll give you this chance? Zhang Wanwan's previous good impression of Sun Xiaoya has now been completely exhausted. She glared at Sun Xiaoya and said very seriously, Sun Xiaoya, I have to tell you that you shouldn't have such thoughts. Your thoughts are fundamentally wrong. You have encountered a lot of things today. So it is inevitable that you think more. I forgive you, but if you dare to hit on Feng Zi again in the future, I will never treat you well again. Sun Xiaoya didn't expect Zhang Wanwan's reaction to be so big. Does Sister Wanwan really not want her to become Shenfeng's apprentice? Is she really that bad? Sun Xiaoya's mouth flattened. She whispered, Sister Wanwan, can't you give me a chance? Dream on, don't even think about it. But I really want Brother Shen to be my teacher. I think he's really amazing. That's not. Zhang Wanwan paused. Wait a moment. What did she hear? Teacher? Zhang Wanwan looked at Sun Xiaoya again. Finally, he asked hesitantly, You want to take Shenfeng as your master? Sun Xiaoya blinked, looking at Zhang Wanwan pitifully. Yes, Sister Wanwan, didn't you know it just now? Sister Wanwan. The day I realized how much I have been bullied, and how weak and incompetent I am. I think if Brother Shen could be my teacher, I would be able to change the current situation. Even if I can't be as powerful as him, at least I won't be bullied like this. Sister Wanwan, I don't know why you are dissatisfied with me. Please tell me and I will change. Sun Xiaoya's words made Zhang Wanwan several times. What are you dissatisfied with? Could she say it was all a misunderstanding? No, she admitted that there was a misunderstanding. Our image in Sun Xiaoya's heart would definitely be reduced. And Shen Feng is now so great in Sun Xiaoya's heart. As one gains, the other loses. Wouldn't Sun Xiaoya feel that she is not worthy of Shen Feng? So Zhang Wanwan thought about it, and then said seriously, "You think Shen Feng is very powerful, but it's just your subjective conjecture. What about from an objective perspective?" Sun Xiaoya asked. "From an objective perspective, Shen Feng is actually more powerful." Sun Xiaoya, so, what's the matter? So, not only you, but ordinary people are not qualified to worship Shen Feng as a master. Zhang Wanwan said earnestly, "It's no good to take such a person as your teacher, because the gap between you and him is too big, and it's hard for you to learn anything from him." Sun Xiaoya listened very carefully. Finally he humbly asked for advice. "Sister Wan, what should I do then?" Zhang Wanwan thought about it. Finally he patted his chest and said, "Why don't you take me as your master?" Sun Xiaoya's eyes lit up. "Can you teach me Brother Shen's powerful tricks?" "That's not possible." Zhang Wanwan shook her head. But then said, "But I can teach you how to get a man as outstanding as Shen Feng." "What's going on?" A brighter light appeared in Sun Xiaoya's eyes. "And you have to find a man as good as Shen Feng first. Then I can teach you." "Where should I look for it then?" "There's no way to find one like this there. There's only one Feng Zi this good in the world." Sun Xiaoya. Sun Xiaoya looked at Zhang Wanwan with resentment. Her clever little brain told her. She was fooled. Zhang Wanwan hugged Sun Xiaoya with a smile and said, "I'm just kidding it. It's not realistic to teach you how to take down someone like Feng Zi. But I'm sure there will be no problem for me to be your teacher. If you don't understand anything or encounter any trouble in the future, just come to me. Trust me, it's much more reliable to take me as your master than to take Feng Zi as your master." "Why?" "Because if you worship Feng Zi may not necessarily listen to you. But if you worship me, he will definitely listen to me." Sun Xiaoya suddenly understood. Then he took Zhang Wanwan's hand and said very solemnly, "Master." Shen Feng sat next to the two women and watched them struggle along the way. Finally, he sighed silently. He felt that Sun Xiaoya would most likely be led astray by her older brother in the future. After returning to the hotel near the film and television base to rest, Zhang Wanwan stretched out on the bed. She had experienced so much today that she felt a little tired. She pulled Shen Feng to lie down together, then took out her phone and checked Weibo. The two of them watching together. This is something they do almost every day in their spare time. Watching things together seems to be more interesting than watching it alone. And the hot search on Weibo today is actually. This is obviously news leaked from within the crew. However, ever since Shen Feng told others the news of her pregnancy, Zhang Wanwan had already prepared herself mentally. Looking at this hot search and the netizens who were watching the show, Zhang Wanwan suddenly smiled happily. Then he whispered in Shen Feng's ear. "Feng Zi, do you remember that when we made the official announcement? Weibo was also so lively?" Shen Feng nodded slightly. "That day seemed to be night too? Is it in the hotel too? It seems that Sister Lin even called us at that time and complained about why we didn't tell her in advance." Shen Feng's suddenly became a little hesitant. He looked at Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan also realized something and looked at Shen Feng. She suddenly remembered. "It seems that this time she is pregnant. I didn't tell Sister Lin in advance." At this time, Zhang Wanwan's cell phone rang. The two big words "Sister Lin" appeared on the phone screen. Zhang Wanwan quietly hung up the call and turned off her phone. He quickly took Shen Feng's phone and turned it off. Then he took Feng Zi's hand and whispered, "Why don't we go to bed?" At this moment, Director Chen's voice came from outside the door. "Feng Zi, Wanwan, Sister Lin called me. She told you to turn on your phones and answer her call. Otherwise she will come and kill you herself tomorrow. Just tell her we went to bed." Zhang Wanwan shouted. "But I'm on hand-free mode," Director Chen said helplessly. Zhang Wanwan. She felt like there was a big word floating above her head. Danger. Chapter 331, It's Better to Be Bad. Zhang Wanwan sat on the edge of the bed, looking at Shen Feng holding the phone, accepting Sister Lin's baptism like a storm. "I feel very fortunate." Fortunately she was pregnant. Feng Zi was able to use the excuse that Wanwan is pregnant and has been in a fragile mood recently, to get Sister Lin to let her go. Feng Zi had to bear Sister Lin's anger alone. If Feng Zi was pregnant, Zhang Wanwan felt that she would probably be scolded to death by Sister Lin. Feng Zi is pregnant. Zhang Wanwan leaned against the head of the bed, looking at Shen Feng who was still being scolded by Sister Lin. And her eyes suddenly turned. If it was Feng Zi who was pregnant, shouldn't she be the one taking care of Feng Zi now? First of all, I have to prepare 3 meals a day carefully, just like Feng Zi takes care of her. Zhang Wanwan thought about it. I think this problem still needs to be solved by takeout. Secondly, I have to keep an eye on Feng Zi and not let him do any dirty or tiring work. He has to do all the housework by himself. Zhang Wanwan thought about it again. I think I might need to find a babysitter. She also has to protect Feng Zi. If someone like Ji Changqing wants to harm Feng Zi, she needs a beauty to save the hero. Zhang Wanwan's eyes finally lit up. This time she finally found something she was good at. But then you change your mind and think again. She couldn't beat someone up like Shen Feng did. It is estimated that after she beats someone up, she may not be released even after Shen Feng's child is born. So Zhang Wanwan finally became depressed again. She found that if Feng Zi was pregnant, she would not be able to take good care of her. Wan brother, why are you so dejected? After being scolded by Sister Lin, Shen Feng hung up the phone. When I turned around, I saw Zhang Wanwan sitting in the corner of the bed with her head down and silent, looking very hurt. Zhang Wanwan looked at Shen Feng pitifully and whispered, I suddenly realized that I seemed to be a waste. Shen Feng was stunned. Why are you suddenly so self-aware? Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan looked like she was about to bite someone. Shen Feng smiled, sat next to Zhang Wanwan, hugged her and said, I'm just kidding, don't say that about yourself, my brother Wan is the best. But I can neither cook nor do housework, and I am not as good as you in fighting. If you get pregnant, I won't be able to take care of you. Zhang Wanwan said. Shen Sheng choked up for a moment. What on earth was his younger brother thinking about just now? I started to think that he was pregnant. Shen Feng smiled bitterly and said, Don't worry, Wan Ji, I probably won't get pregnant in this lifetime, so you don't have to worry about it at all. You don't have to be pregnant. If you catch a cold or a fever, I'll have to take care of you. Zhang Wanwan was very serious, thinking about it this way. I have to work hard to become better, until I am able to take good care of you. At least when you're sick, I can serve you a bowl of porridge I made instead of a takeaway. Chen Feng was actually very happy that Zhang Wanwan had this intention. He knew that his younger brother had had a good living condition since he was young. It can't be said to be a life of luxury, but it is definitely one in which everything is provided for. So even though Zhang Wanwan has lived to live, she has never taken care of anyone, and has hardly ever thought about how to take care of anyone. Then to be honest, Shen Feng didn't think he needed Zhang Wanwan's care. However, it is rare that Wan Ji has this intention, and Shen Feng feels that he should give Wan Ji some room to display his talents. So he didn't say directly that he didn't need Zhang Wanwan's care. Instead, he hugged Zhang Wanwan and whispered, Although I don't want you to take care of me, if you really want to learn something, I will teach you without hesitation. Housework, cooking, or something else, just ask, and I'll definitely teach you. Zhang Wanwan immediately said, I want to learn how to cook. How long will it take? If you're only making instant noodles, 3 minutes is enough. What about those at the state banquet level? Zhang Wanwan's eyes lit up. She would not be satisfied with just making instant noodles. She also wanted to have Feng Zi's cooking skills, and wait until one day she could personally cook a romantic candlelight dinner for Feng Zi. And let Feng Zi say to her with a smile, It's delicious. You are such a great cook. Well, maybe 30 years or so. Shen Feng said. Zhang Wanwan, forget it. How about I learn some medical skills from you? How long will it take? Shen Feng said, If it's just a simple treatment for minor illnesses like colds and fevers, a few months will be enough. I want to learn the skills of diagnosing a pulse with a thread and curing illnesses with medicine. Zhang Wanwan thought, if one day Shen Feng fell ill in bed, everyone would rush to find a doctor. She stood up directly, grabbed Shen Feng's wrist like a master, and touched it casually. And he picked up his brush and wrote down a prescription and asked Sister Lin to get the medicine. Afterwards, the medicine worked and she was treated as a miracle doctor by everyone. Feng Zi smiled and said to her, You are amazing, you are a great doctor. That feeling, what a wonderful one. 30 years is a good start. Zhang Wanwan bit her lip resentfully. Suddenly, an idea came to me. What if I learn hacking skills? Does this have anything to do with taking care of me? Chen Feng always felt that his eldest brother seemed to have gone astray. Zhang Wanwan snorted, Of course, if you are bullied in the future, I will hack into his entire family's mobile phones and computers, and then use the secrets inside as a threat to force him to apologize to you. Isn't this also a kind of care? Don't tell me this takes 30 years. Right? I heard that some people are genius hackers in their teens. Shen Feng nodded. It really doesn't take 30 years. Because programmers usually retire before 30 years. If you have talent, you may be able to reach a good level in 1 or 2 years. Zhang Wanwan's eyes lit up. Is she finally going to learn a new skill? Will she be able to help and take care of Feng Zi in the future? Under Zhang Wanwan's excited gaze, Shen Feng searched for an ebook on his mobile phone and sent it to Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan clicked in to take a look. Programmers, from entry to death I. Total number of pages, 300. Just finish this slowly, and you'll probably have a certain level of skill. Once you finish the whole set, you'll be able to hack into some accounts and stuff. Shen Feng said. Zhang Wanwan looked at the densely packed small characters and couldn't help asking. How many books are there in the whole set? 20. Zhang Wanwan. She threw her phone aside and lay down on the bed. Looking at Shen Feng, he said, why don't you teach me how to fall asleep quickly? I think it would be useful for me to learn this. Zhang Wanwan discovered that a life of hard work did not belong to her. It's still better to let it go. Shen Feng turned off the lights and lay down next to Zhang Wanwan. He smiled and said, I'm really not very good at how to fall asleep quickly. But I know a little bit about how to keep you awake. Zhang Wanwan blushed. This damn Feng Zi has started again. But she changed her mind and suddenly said, if you say so. And I actually know how to make it difficult for you to fall asleep. Shen Sheng raised his eyebrows. It's rare for his eldest brother to be so proactive. He smiled and said, why don't you try it? And Zhang Wanwan found a pair of headphones and put them on Shen Feng's head. Love Until Death, by Jay Ednam started playing. Chapter 332, no matter how much you try to scam me, I won't give you any money. Early the next morning, as soon as Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan arrived at the set, they saw a petite figure running towards them. And he stood in front of Zhang Wanwan and said to her very seriously, Morning, master. And he looked at Shen Feng and said solemnly, Morning, master. Shen Feng, what is a master's father? Zhang Wanwan almost choked. She looked at Sun Xiaoya, who had a serious face, and couldn't help but said, Xiaoya, don't you think the term master is a bit awkward? Sun Xiaoyan nodded. Actually, I feel a little awkward, but I don't know how else to call you brother Shen. In fact, the proper title for a female master's husband should be master's father-in-law. Shen Sheng said gently from the side, the wife of a male master should be called master's wife by the students. So the husband of a female master should be called master's father-in-law. Sun Xiaoya suddenly realized. But then he asked, then can master's father be called master dad? Shen Feng. I don't know why Sun Xiaoya is so obsessed with the word master dad. In the morning, Shang Yan, Xiao Mu and Wang Shun Xuan were still organizing the actors' performances. Today's audition is the final preparation before the official shooting begins. Starting tomorrow, we will officially enter the shooting mode and prepare for the camera. Zhang Wanwan is ready to go. She hasn't acted properly for a long time. Since her rebirth, she has been appearing in variety shows and commercials. As soon as the audition started yesterday, there was a scene between me and Sun Xiaoya. In fact, Zhang Wanwan still very much misses the feeling of showing off her acting skills on the set. When Shang Yan asked who wanted to try out a scene first, Zhang Wanwan raised her hand decisively. I'll do it. Shang Yan nodded. Then he flipped through the script and found Zhang Wanwan's part. Then he mentioned Shen Sun Xiaoya, and several other actors. You all have scenes with Wanwan. Who wants to go first? Except for Sun Xiaoya and Shen Feng, the people who were called out all took a step back. Sun Xiaoya. Shen Feng. In fact, it's not that the other actors don't want to act with Zhang Wanwan, but I dare not. After all, everyone now knows that Zhang Wanwan has a baby in her belly. If something unexpected happens during the performance and affects the baby in Zhang Wanwan's belly, who will be responsible for it? Seeing that only Sun Xiaoya and Shen Sheng were left, Zhang Yan thought for a moment and then said, Sun Xiaoya, you go first. Continue with the show you didn't finish with Wanwan last time. Sun Xiaoya wanted to say something, but she was forced to do something. Standing in the same dead end as yesterday again. Sun Xiaoya tried her best to calm her mind and forced herself into the role. When she raised her head again, the look in her eyes was almost the same as during the performance yesterday. Zhang Wanwan is very impressed with Sun Xiaoya's speed of getting into the role and her acting skills. A reason she thought of taking Sun Xiaoya as her apprentice yesterday was largely due to Sun Xiaoya's acting skills. Zhang Wanwan believed that she was definitely a good candidate. Zhang Wanwan did not slack off and quickly got into the role. At this moment, in this dead end, she is no longer Zhang Wanwan, but the lead singer of underground rock and the agile warlord spy Liu Mingting. Sun Xiaoya is no longer Sun Xiaoya, but a little female thief who is bent on robbing the rich and helping the poor and doing justice. The female thief stole something important and was chased here by Liu Mingting. There is no escape from this dead end. There is only one way to escape from the inescapable female thief. That is, to fight with Liu Mingting. Sun Xiaoya performed very well the female thief's panic when she was forced into a desperate situation. Her struggle, and her determination to give it a try. Zhang Wanwan also portrayed Liu Mingting's ruthlessness as a warlord agent very well. Facing a little girl, there was no trace of pity on Liu Mingting's face. Different from the passionate and flamboyant rock singer in the underground dance hall, Liu Mingting now seems like a robot. A killing machine that only knows how to kill anyone who gets in the way of its mission. Watching the performances of both sides, Xiao Mu and Shang Yan nodded with great satisfaction. The acting skills of today's young people are really amazing. Shang Yan sighed. It should be said that Zhang Wanwan and Sun Xiaoya are incredible. If other young actors can also have such acting skills, then why worry about the development of the domestic film and television industry? Xiao Mu said. Zhang Yan raised his eyebrows, then shook his head helplessly and said, "In fact, it has been several years since I last watched movies starring the younger generation in China. What is the acting of those young people like now?" Xiao Mu didn't know how to describe it to Zhang Yan for a moment. And at this moment, the female thief, who should have been rushing towards Liu Mengting at a very fast speed and with an unstoppable momentum, seemed to have mud on her feet. He moved slowly and staggeringly towards Liu Mengting. Zhang Wanwan, who plays Liu Mengting, should kick the female thief back according to the script. But with Sun Xiaoya's current speed, Zhang Wanwan felt that even if she kicked 10 times, Sun Xiaoya might not be able to get to her. So Zhang Wanwan could only stand there helplessly, waiting for Sun Xiaoya to come over first. After Sun Xiaoya finally ran to him, Zhang Wanwan immediately kicked her with a whipped kick. As a result, Zhang Wanwan's heels didn't even leave the ground. Sun Xiaoya suddenly seemed to be seriously injured. She staggered back several steps before stopping. Zhang Wanwan raised her leg halfway, not knowing whether to continue kicking or put it back. The scene became a little awkward for a moment. Xiao Mu, who saw this scene, suddenly clapped his hands, explained to Zhang Yan. The acting skills of those young actors nowadays are probably like this. Zhang Yan. He quickly stopped the performance and said helplessly, "Xiaoya, you too should play the role of a desperate female thief. Not an old lady who is eager to make trouble and pretend to fall." Zhang Yan even felt that the acting of those old men and women who were committing fraud were much more realistic than that of Sun Xiaoya just now. After all, you can't make money if your acting is not genuine. Sun Xiaoya said a grieved lie, but master is pregnant now. I dare not perform too hard. Zhang Wanwan was speechless. Ever since Shen Feng told her about her pregnancy yesterday, Zhang Wanwan guessed that this would happen. She glared viciously at Shen Feng standing beside her. Then he said to Sun Xiaoya, "Xiaoya, I know my physical condition very well. Just follow the script. I will cooperate with you while protecting myself. There will be no accidents, don't worry." Sun Xiaoya pursed her lips. After a long while, he whispered, "Well, then I'll try to be bolder." That's what I said. But in the next few performances, Sun Xiaoya was obviously still feeling psychologically burdened. The facial expressions and details in the beginning are always perfect, but the action scenes in the end are terrible. It doesn't look like an action scene at all, but rather like a patient who just underwent surgery and is doing rehabilitation. In the end, Zhang Wanwan couldn't bear it anymore. She rubbed her forehead and said, "Let's switch roles. I'll play the female thief and you'll play Liu Mengting. Watch how I perform. Remember, this is the first lesson that master will teach you. Watch carefully and learn well." Sun Xiaoyan nodded. The two then switched roles. Sun Xiaoya played the role of Liu Mengting. Zhang Wanwan, on the other hand, played the role of a female thief. Sun Xiaoya was obviously a little nervous when she first played the role of Liu Mengting, and she didn't portray Liu Mengting's coldness very well. However, the image of the female thief created by Zhang Wanwan left Xiao Mu, Zhang Yan, and other crew members watching the scene extremely amazed. It was clearly the first time that Zhang Wanwan played the role of a female thief. But at this moment, she looked as if she had really become a little girl who was forced into a desperate situation, pitiful and helpless, and ready to fight to the death. The subtle change in his eyes was so amazing that Zhang Yan almost clapped his hands in admiration. Soon, after a brief expression, Zhang Wanwan moved her feet and rushed towards Sun Xiaoya. The female thief nowadays is obviously not the old lady who couldn't figure out how to scam people before. She got the speed and strength just right, although the speed was not particularly fast. In the eyes of outsiders, one could still see the female thief's desperate momentum from such a speed. The female thief rushed towards Liu Mengting. Zhang Wanwan rushed towards Sun Xiaoya. When the distance was 5 meters, Sun Xiaoya did not move. When there was still 3 meters away, Sun Xiaoya did not move. When there was still 1 meter away, Sun Xiaoya did not move. Until Zhang Wanwan stood half a meter in front of Sun Xiaoya and stood firmly. This warlord agent, who was supposed to be cold-blooded, murderous and ruthless, carefully raised his leg. He kicked Zhang Wanwan slowly, cautiously, and lightly. He didn't even kick the corner of Zhang Wanwan's clothes. Instead it was Sun Xiaoya herself. Because the movements were too slow and he stood on one foot for too long, he lost his balance and stumbled all over. But she was afraid of falling and bumping into Zhang Wanwan in front of her. So I kept adjusting my staggering steps. In the end, he couldn't stand and fell backwards. It hurt so much that she cried. Zhang Yan, Xiao Mu, Zhang Wanwan, Zhang Wanwan. No matter how much you try to scam me, I won't give you a dime. Chapter 333. Good actors don't pick their roles. Since Sun Xiaoya really couldn't perform to her full potential facing Zhang Wanwan, Chang Yan and Xiaomo had to change Sun Xiaoya's partner and have her practice other scenes first. Sun Xiaoya's new partner just saw Sun Xiaoya's poor performance and thought that this little child star might not be very good at action scenes. But the idea of showing his own strength, the new partner decisively chose a rivalry scene with many action elements, hoping to make things difficult for Sun Xiaoya and show himself. 10 minutes later, the new partner, who was crushed by Sun Xiaoya in all aspects, was almost on his knees begging for mercy, asking Sun Xiaoya to restrain her acting and not to be so oppressive. Zhang Wanwan was about to cry when she saw Sun Xiaoya performing so well. Chen Cheng walked over and patted her. "Are you pleased to see your disciple is so outstanding?" "No, I just feel so regretful when I think that if someone didn't tell others about my pregnancy, I would still be able to act so perfectly with Xiaoya." Zhang Wanwan said this and glared at Chen Feng again. Chen Feng shrugged. He noticed that his elder brother had glared at him more and more often recently. But this is normal. Wanwan has always been extremely serious about acting, and is very dedicated to the profession of actor. Zhang Wanwan spent the last 10 years of her previous life acting. It can be said that acting is the second most important thing in Zhang Wanwan's life. Chen Feng told Zhang Wanwan about her pregnancy regardless of her wishes. Although his original intention was to protect Zhang Wanwan, it also affected Zhang Wanwan's filming, and Zhang Wanwan couldn't help but feel a little emotional. Chen Feng pondered. It's not okay for his younger brother to be so grumpy all the time. I have to think of an idea to help Wanwan calm down. The person who tied the bell must deny it. Chen Feng thought that since Wanwan was upset because she wasn't happy with the performance, it would be better to let her perform to her satisfaction. Chen Feng found Shang Yan and Xiaomu with a few pages of the script. Then he whispered something to the two people. Shang Yan and Xiaomu both looked at Chen Cheng with strange eyes. "Are you sure?" Chen Feng nodded. Shang Yan thought about it, and finally said, "That's fine. This kind of play is actually the most challenging for acting skills. And I can also see what your foundation is like." As he spoke, Shang Yan waved towards Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan didn't respond. "Shang Yan, rehearse a play for you." Zhang Wanwan ran over happily. "I'm ready." Shang Yan glanced at Zhang Wanwan and said, "Why don't you ask what the show is about? A good actor doesn't pick and choose his roles." Zhang Wanwan spoke very loudly. Shang Yan handed the script to Zhang Wanwan. "You and Shen Feng will perform this scene." Zhang Wanwan smiled and took a look at the script. After a moment, the expression on his face became unnatural. "Director Zhang, can we change the scene?" Shang Yan changed the script. Zhang Wanwan took a look. The expression is even more awkward. "Another game?" Shang Yan changed another one. When Zhang Wanwan saw it, she was numb. Why did Shang Yan give her scripts full of kissing scenes? In this movie, the male and female protagonists have only 3 or 4 kissing scenes, and now they are all in Shang Yan's hands. Although there was nothing wrong with her kissing Shen Feng, they were acting together and there were many people watching them. "Director Shang, this is not appropriate, right?" "Why is it inappropriate? Didn't you say that good actors don't pick and choose their roles?" I'm definitely not picky, but Feng Zi is still a newcomer, so it's not appropriate for him to play such an exciting role. Zhang Wanwan decided to put the blame on Shen Feng. Finally, Shang Yan said, "Shen Feng said he is good at this." Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan looked at Shen Feng. Shen Feng spread out his hands sincerely. "I'm good at this." Shen Feng swore to heaven. He really didn't want the kissing scene just to kiss Zhang Wanwan openly. The main thing is that he thought about it seriously for a long time. His acting skills are indeed not as good as Zhang Wanwan's. If it were any other drama, Zhang Wanwan would definitely surpass him. Zhang Wanwan will definitely not be happy with her performance by then. I can't vent the depression in my heart. But when it comes to emotional scenes, especially kissing scenes, Shen Feng feels that he is more experienced. Not only will it allow him to exert his full strength, but he might even be able to perform beyond his normal level. It will definitely make Zhang Wanwan happy. Zhang Wanwan said helplessly to Shang Yan. "Are all the scripts in your hand kissing scenes?" "Not really." Shang Yan said, "There is another one." Zhang Wanwan's eyes lit up. "And let's play this one." Shang Yan handed the script to Zhang Wanwan. When Zhang Wanwan saw this, she felt even more numb. This is definitely not a kissing scene. This is a bed scene. Zhang Wanwan silently took a script for the kissing scene. Liu Mingting, who had just finished singing a show in the underground dance hall, packed up her things and walked out of the cold underground along the dirty, greasy stairs. However, the first thing Liu Mingting saw was not the light at the entrance of the alley. Instead, he was a man who was cornered by a few thugs. The man was wearing a long gown and glasses, and looked elegant and bookish. It also has an antique and classical feel. At first sight, Liu Mingting felt that this was destined to be someone she would not get along with. She hated such old-fashioned people. But when she saw the man's eyes looking through the gangsters and looking at her for help, Liu Mengting still swung her bag and smashed it on the head of the gangster. After all the thugs were driven away, Liu Mengting looked at the man who had fallen to the ground and could no longer stand. He was as weak as a white rabbit that had just escaped from a pack of wolves and was experiencing exhaustion after surviving the disaster. But Liu Mengting still noticed something wrong from the man's expression. Did you eat the dream powder? Mengsan is a kind of medicine that is secretly circulated on the streets of Shanghai nowadays. Banned drugs. After eating it, you will feel light and euphoric as if in a dream. But it is highly addictive. They feed me. The man's voice was weak, and the corners of his mouth trembled as he spoke. He reached out and grabbed the corner of Liu Mengting's clothes, and whispered, "Can you help me? If you want the medicinal effect of dream-relieving powder, you have to drink other people's blood." Liu Mengting originally thought that helping this man to drive away the thugs was already a great kindness. Looking at the man's weak and helpless appearance, Liu Mengting didn't know why, but she felt a little soft-hearted again. She frowned, and after a moment she cut her fingertips and put her finger to the man's lips. The man was a little timid at first, but when he sucked Liu Mengting's blood, he suddenly became greedy. He sucked Liu Mengting's fingers, and his pale lips were gradually stained with scarlet blood. Liu Mengting didn't expect that this seemingly old-fashioned man would be so bold when kissing her fingers. She was a little surprised and wanted to pull her fingers back, but the man held her arms stubbornly, and he licked along her fingertips and kissed her palm, back of her hand, and arm. Finally, the kiss reached the neck. At first, Liu Mengting wanted to push the man away, but the man's gentle and pitiful eyes just looked at her without wavering. It's like a child begging his mother not to abandon him. Such a look can kill the cruelty in people's hearts. Maybe she thought the man was too weak and not aggressive. Maybe this man's kiss was too gentle. Liu Mengting narrowed her eyes but did not push the man away. Instead, she let him kiss her all the way to her lips. "You are so outrageous." As their lips and tongues blended, Liu Mengting spoke in a low voice. "I need your protection." The man said softly, "I'm from another place. I heard from others that people without support won't survive long in Shanghai. Do you think I will protect you if you kiss me like this? Do you have the capital?" Liu Mengting asked with a sneer. "I don't have any." The man's voice seemed to be charming, like a girl as gentle as water. Liu Mengting had never seen such a man. She smiled, and suddenly bit the man's lips hard. It was like carving her own mark on the man's body. Then she wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and said slowly, "You have it. My name is Liu Mengting. I'm the lead singer and owner of an underground dance hall. What's your name?" "Lin Sheng." The man said with a smile. "I am an opera singer, a female role, a king yi. You actors, do you still need to learn how to kiss people? We have to learn some tricks to please others in order to survive in such a chaotic world, don't we?" As he spoke, the man took Liu Mengting's hand again and gently kissed the wand on her fingertips. Chapter 334. Can I go in and take a look? Only after Xiao Mu shouted, "Cut!" did Shen Feng let go of Zhang Wanwan's hand. Zhang Wanwan also covered her face with her hands. "I was just about to find a corner to squat down. How embarrassing." Just now when Shen Feng, who was playing the role of the male lead Lin Sheng, was licking her, there were at least 40 or 50 people watching around. And many people were taking pictures with their mobile phones. Especially that kiss. Originally, this kind of kissing scene should have been shot with a substitute, but Shen Sheng really spoke to him without mercy. They even had a French kiss. She could hardly speak her lines clearly. The most important thing, Shen Feng's performance just now was so charming and enchanting. Now, whenever Zhang Wanwan closes her eyes, she will think of Shen Feng's gentle and charming look just now. And it was Shen Feng, who was wearing a long gown and looked extremely old-fashioned and ascetic, who showed such a look. It's so damn weird. Zhang Wanwan felt like she almost couldn't stop her nosebleed just now. A husband who is omnipotent and takes good care of you on a daily basis suddenly becomes a little puppy who begs you for protection and tries to please you in every way. Such a gap is really not something that ordinary people can bear. That damn Feng Zi, how dare you say you can act well in other roles? How good is this role? Zhang Wanwan was complaining wildly in her heart. Don't talk about Zhang Wanwan. Many of the other girls in the crew almost screamed just now. Shen Feng's performance just now can definitely win over 90 of women. No woman can withstand the lethality of Shen Feng. If there is, she probably doesn't like men. Oh my god. I really can't stand it. What kind of goblin is this? Feng Zi is too cruel. No, he is a married man. I can't be tempted. Wow, why isn't this my man? Why can't I meet this kind of peerless little puppy? Why? Shang Yan, Xiao Mu, Wang Shen Xun and others were also very satisfied at this moment. These grown men are certainly not as crazy about Shen Feng as those girls. What they recognized was the acting skills of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. This scene is the first meeting between the male protagonist Lin Sheng, played by Shen Feng, and the female protagonist Liu Mengting. Chen Cheng perfectly portrayed the feeling of Lin Sheng in the script. A combination of weakness and scheming. Zhang Wanwan also showed the change in Liu Mengting's attitude towards Lin Sheng. From not caring about it at the beginning, to being soft-hearted and compassionate later, and finally to being cold and arrogant when she agreed to accept Lin Sheng. As part of the opening, this scene is crucial. On the one hand, it introduces the two main characters, and on the other hand, it also shows the complexity of Liu Mengting. Zhang Wanwan performed very well. Hearing Shang Yan's certainty, Zhang Wanwan finally put down her hands that were covering her face. Although the process is a bit embarrassing, the effect is good. She started to show off and said proudly, "It's nothing. Nothing, I've already said that good actors don't choose their roles. Anyway, this kind of scene would probably only be performed once today." So Zhang Wanwan, who felt that she had completed today's task, was already very proud. "Well, since you two are both in good shape, I'll put on some makeup and then take the photo shoot. But the state you're in just now, you can definitely get it right in one take. Especially Shen Feng, your performance really surprised me. Keep up the form now and perform well later," Zhang Yan said. Zhang Wanwan. She looked at Shen Feng silently. Shen Feng imitated Lin Sheng's expression and gave Zhang Wanwan a weak and helpless look. Then, "Wanwan has a nosebleed. Toilet paper. Who has toilet paper?" Because Zhang Wanwan had a nosebleed, the official shooting of the scene was postponed to the next day. However, when the official shooting started the next day, Shen Feng put on makeup and transformed into Lin Sheng, and showed that expression to Zhang Wanwan again. Zhang Wanwan started bleeding from her nose again. Seeing that Zhang Wanwan couldn't get into the mood, Chang Yan and Xiaomo had no choice but to postpone the first scene between Shen Sheng and Zhang Wanwan and go to shoot other scenes first. As the male lead, Lin Sheng definitely has the most scenes, so the next ones to appear are Shen Feng and others. Shen Feng's character in the play, Lin Cheng, appears to be just a weak actor who needs to rely on others to survive. But in fact, Lin Sheng's weakness was a disguise from beginning to end. Lin Sheng's true identity is an agent trained by another force that is opposed to the warlord that Liu Mengting is loyal to. His mission is to get close to Liu Mengting, stay by Liu Mengting's side, and find a way to steal the secrets of the warlord. From the very beginning, everything about Lin Sheng was acted out. Whether he pretended to be surrounded by gangsters or seduced Liu Mengting. Later, with the help of Liu Mengting, he entered the Red Butterfly Theater and became famous overnight. Or maybe all the entanglements between him and Liu Mengting in the future were actually a big drama he had designed long ago. His drama began when the character Lin Sheng appeared on the stage. And this scene is the rivalry between Lin Sheng and a female subordinate of Liu Mengting, whose identity is accidentally exposed. In this scene, Lin Sheng, played by Shen Feng, needs to constantly deal with the female subordinate. From feigning ignorance in the beginning, to later making excuses, and finally realizing that he could not deceive this female subordinate, he ruthlessly killed her. The emotional changes are extremely rich, which is also a great test of acting skills. What do you think Shen Feng can do? Shang Yan looked at Shen Feng, who was preparing, and asked Xiaomu beside him. Xiaomu thought for a moment and said, based on his acting skills yesterday, he should be able to pass it in 3 to 5 takes. Shang Yan nodded. I think so too. I even think he might pass it in one go. As the two were talking, the filming had already begun. In the small room in the basement, Lin Sheng, played by Shen Feng, was thinking about finding out the secrets hidden by Liu Mengting while Liu Mengting was performing on stage. But at this moment, Liu Mengting's female subordinate suddenly broke into the room and caught Lin Sheng acting sneakily. "You!" a female subordinate exclaimed as she looked at Lin Sheng's back as he groped furtively in Liu Mengting's room. Lin Sheng's body paused slightly. Then he turned around. Liu Mengting had dressed up deliberately, so she looked even more handsome, and a faint smile appeared on her face. "Sister Hong, why are you back again?" A glance and a smile, all charm comes to life. Look at this smile. The actress who played the female subordinate also covered her nose. "Cut!" Shang Yan quickly stopped him. "What are you doing?" The actress who played the female subordinate looked at Shang Yan with tears in her eyes. "Director, he is so handsome." Shang Yan. "Let them all see enough before taking pictures." Soon, everyone in the crew saw a wonderful sight. Shen Feng sat in the middle of the room with a smile on his face. Inside the room, all the actresses in the crew were staring at Shen Feng. Outside the room, a male actor stood in front of Shang Yan and said, "Director Zhang, isn't this disrespectful to Shen Feng?" He agreed to it himself, Shang Yan said. "Really?" the actor asked. "Real. Then can I go in and take a look?" The expression on the actor's face suddenly became strange. Shang Yan looked at the actor as if he had seen a ghost. "A man is actually beside me?" Chapter 335 Paparazzi. Paparazzi. After the actress and some actors stared at Shen Feng for a long time, Shang Yankai resumed filming. The subsequent shooting went much more smoothly. Because Shen Sheng's performance was quite good, 3 of Shen Feng's scenes were finished in just over an hour. However, when it comes to Zhang Wanwan, the progress is not very optimistic. Not only Sun Xiaoya, other actors also kept their distance from the pregnant Zhang Wanwan. When filming, we are always very cautious. For this purpose, Zhang Wanwan held a serious meeting with other actors. I can understand how you feel, but your acting like this really doesn't do me any good at all, Zhang Wanwan said with a serious face. I'm more than a month pregnant now. In another month or so, my pregnancy might become noticeable. And that's when it will really affect the filming. If you don't cooperate with me now and let me finish filming as soon as possible, then the film will really not be able to be made. Is that what you want? Zhang Wanwan persuaded him with both reason and emotion. And after reluctantly sending out several red envelopes in the group, the actors finally agreed to act freely in front of Zhang Wanwan from now on. Now, the filming of the entire movie is finally on track. The shooting went smoothly over 10 days. At the same time, during these 10 days, some people hiding in the dark also began their mysterious, exciting work. They are paparazzi. In this age where entertainment is paramount and entertainment is everything, there are always fans who want to know their idols' entire schedule and life clearly. And paparazzi came into being for this very purpose. They specialize in exposing the inside stories of the entertainment industry that ordinary people don't know about, secretly photographing the daily lives of various celebrities, and making profits by selling out other people's privacy. It can be said that it is an existence that celebrities hate deeply. In fact, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan originally had no paparazzi. The only paparazzi they had encountered was probably the one that Fu Yan and Guan Heng had found, who was eventually tricked by Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan to the point where he could hardly take care of himself. They were not popular enough before, but they became really popular after filming date. The popularity reached its peak after filming the Mingyu jewelry commercial. After that, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan went to the program crew of Youth Group. The filming of the Youth Group was basically completed at the Mingdalai Entertainment training base. And the paparazzi couldn't get in at all. So no paparazzi took pictures of them at that time. After so much effort, 2 new generation top stars emerged. But the paparazzi were unable to take pictures of them, leaving them scratching their heads in anxiety. Now, hearing that Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan have come to the Suzhou and Hanghouse Film and Television base to shoot a movie, the paparazzi finally have a place to vent their restless hearts. They all got ready and rushed to the Suzhou Hanghouse Film and Television base from all over the country. And they set up camp here, carried their guns and prepared to get first-hand information about Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Boss, we won't be exposed, right? Near the studio reserved by Wang Shunyuan, Xiao Feng asked nervously. He was a college student. In order to earn some pocket money during the winter vacation, he found a studio and became a trainee paparazzi. Today is his first official day at work. Early in the morning, his boss, Lao Wang, brought him to the set where Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan were filming. At this time, Lao Wang had just taken him to the side of the wall that had been erected around each set at the film and television base. Lao Wang said that he planned to climb over the wall to peek into what was going on inside. Young people are young people, they are so timid. Lao Wang snorted disapprovingly. I have been doing this for more than 10 years. I have climbed over at least 800 walls, if not 1,000. How could I be exposed? As he spoke, Lao Wang took Xiaofeng into the bushes beside the wall. After walking over with great effort, Lao Wang patted Xiaofeng on the back and said, "Squat down, I'll step on you to get up." "But what if I can't carry you?" Xiaofeng looked at his own thin body, then looked at Lao Wang's fat body, and couldn't help but say, "People are forced to do things. If you don't try, how can you know if you can move me? But if I can carry it on my back, and climb up by stepping on the living ones? What if you can't carry it? Then step on the dead you to get up." Xiaofeng. "What? Why are you staring at me like that? Do you want me to carry you up there? Am I the boss or are you?" Lao Wang glared at him and said, "Do you still want to earn a salary? If you want to make money, just be obedient." Xiaofeng nodded a grieved lie, then squatted in the bushes and let Lao Wang step on him to climb up the wall. By the time Lao Wang climbed up, Xiaofeng's shoulders were already sore from being stepped on. He squatted in the bushes, rubbing his shoulders with one hand and wiping away the tears from his painful tears with the other. At this moment, Xiaofeng suddenly felt someone on his left, massaging his shoulders with very skillful techniques. And there was a person on the right who kindly handed me a piece of toilet paper. Xiaofeng wiped away her tears and said thank you with gratitude. And he suddenly froze. After reacting for a few seconds, he suddenly turned his head and looked around. All he saw were 2 pale-faced people with dark circles under their eyes squatting on either side of him, like 2 zombies. Xiaofeng was so scared that he almost screamed. The man on his left who was massaging his shoulders quickly covered his mouth with his hand. He whispered, "Don't scream. Aren't you afraid of being discovered? After feeling the man's body temperature, Xiao Feng confirmed that this was a living person. He looked at the two men in horror and asked, "Who are you? What are you doing here? Who are you?" "I am a paparazzi." "Yeah, then we are also paparazzi." A man on the right pulled out another piece of toilet paper and blew his nose. "We are also responsible for building the human ladder. We have been here for 3 days," the person on the right said again. Xiao Feng was stunned for a moment, then hesitantly said, "Hello, senior?" Hey, I don't dare to call you a senior." The person on the right smiled, a smile on his pale face. "The one on your left is more powerful, it has been here for 5 days." Xiao Feng stood in awe, and hurriedly saluted and greeted the man on his left. "Hello, sir. Keep a low profile, keep a low profile, keep a low profile." The person on the left waved his hand modestly. "Actually, I'm nothing, look at the guy on my left, he has been here for 7 days." Xiao Feng looked in the direction the man's hand was pointing. Only then did I realize that there was another person squatting to the left of this person. However, the man seemed to be fully equipped, and even had a small tent. Xiao Feng swallowed his saliva and couldn't help asking, "Are you all here to be ladders? Be a human ladder and be responsible for the support." The man on the left lit a cigarette and took a, "But normally, people who climbed over the wall should be able to get out within a day. I don't know what happened this time, more than a dozen people climbed in. And the longest one has been in there for 6 or 7 days. And no one has come out." "A dozen people?" Xiao Feng subconsciously turned his head, stood up slightly from the bushes, and looked around again. Only then did he discover it. Right under this wall, hidden by a small bush, there were actually more than a dozen moving heads. Just like squatting in a pit toilet, they squatted in a neat row. These are all from the same industry. Xiao Feng was shocked. He thought that he and his boss's family were the only ones acting as paparazzi for Xinfeng and Zhang Wanwan. And these people hid too, while he and the boss didn't see them when they came just now. Xiao Feng finished saying this. Suddenly, another person stood up on one side of the crowd. He pulled up his trousers and said to Xiao Feng, "Don't talk nonsense. I'm not in the same group as you." "May he ask, Your Excellency?" "What is?" Xiao Feng asked hurriedly. "Can just here to poop." After the man finished speaking, he fastened his belt and left. Xiao Feng didn't look at the man, but instead looked up and looked at the wall in front of him. He suddenly had a bad feeling. His eldest brother. Could he never come back? Chapter 336, 100,000 manuscripts. Old Wang climbed up the wall, not knowing what was happening behind him. At this moment, he climbed over the wall with unsteady movements. He jumped down from the wall again. 2.5 twists in the air followed by a front flip. Landed gracefully. It would have been perfect if his face hadn't landed first. After wiping the dust off his face and spitting out a mouthful of dirt, Lao Wang carefully scanned the surroundings like a secret agent. This seems to be a small park-like setting on the set. The park has a Republican-era style, mixed with some steampunk elements. Such a setting made Lao Wang raise his eyebrows. Not bad. The scene is quite creative. He picked up the camera and pointed it at the scenery in the park. Look at this carousel made up of gears and chains. It has a steampunk industrial feel. Look at this advertising poster with bright red and green colors. It has a very Republic of China feel. Look at this big face that appears in the camera. How fat! Look, wait a minute. Lao Wang silently held the camera and turned it back to the angle at which he had just captured the big face. Then he carefully put the camera down. Then he saw a fat man looking at him with a smile. The fat man politely extended his hand to Lao Wang and shook hands with him. "What is your name?" the fat man asked with a smile. Seeing that the fat man seemed quite kind, Lao Wang breathed a sigh of relief. He also shook hands and said, "My name is Wang Qi. What is your name?" "Oh, my last name is Bao." The fat man smiled and said, "You can call me security." It turns out to be the security guard. "Nice to meet you," Lao Wang said. A handshake action slowed down little by little. Then he widened his eyes and looked at the fat man in front of him. The smile on the fat man's face disappeared and he became extremely serious. While holding Lao Wang's hand, he took out the walkie-talkie with his other hand and said, "The Park District has caught a new paparazzi. Yes, it's number 13 now." Lao Wang was taken away by the security guard. Brought into a room. Lao Wang was shocked when he first entered the room. There were more than a dozen computers in the room at this time. Many people were sitting in front of their computers, typing away with dark circles under their eyes. There were even a few people inside who were paparazzi that Lao Wang knew. "What is this for?" Lao Wang looked at the security guard and asked. In the room, another thinner security guard walked in and handed Lao Wang a pile of information. Then he pointed to a computer in the room and said, "Go to machine 13 and write 10,000 word PR articles. And you can leave." Lao Wang? Old Wang was dumbfounded. He is a paparazzi and he is here to take secret photos. Why was he caught and forced to do hard labor out of the blue? There are also 10 PR articles of 10,000 words each. How many days will it take to write these articles? A total of 100,000 words. If the manuscript is so easy to write, would the author still have writer's block? No, buddy. I'm a paparazzi, not the paid trolls you hired. You can't do this to me. Lao Wang glared at the security guards and said, I've been caught secretly taking photos. I admit it. You can fine me or send me a lawyer's letter. But what's the point of asking us to write an article? We paparazzi have our dignity too. We will work just because you ask us to? Don't even think about it, brothers, don't you agree? Lao Wang tried to mobilize the emotions of his colleagues at the scene and initiate a mass protest. But his indignant cry did not seem to arouse any resonance among his peers. Some people even looked at him with strange eyes. And he whispered to the people around him. Another unlucky guy who is not afraid of death. Only those who have not experienced the baptism of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan would say such things. I used to be as brave as him, until I met Shen Feng. Never mind, let me pray for him. Listening to what these people said, Lao Wang couldn't help but twitch the corners of his mouth. What on earth have these people been through to make them look so scared to death? And at this time, the fat security guard who had just caught him was already holding the intercom and saying, Director Chen, this is the security department. This is the security department. A newly captured paparazzi is indisciplined and requests support from Shen Feng and Wanwan. Soon, a man who was fatter than the fat security guard walked over. Lao Wang knew him. This was Director Chen, the director of Let's Start Dating Today. Since filming date, Director Chen's popularity has skyrocketed. There are probably not many people in the entertainment industry who don't know him. Director Chen walked up to Lao Wang with a big belly. Like a laughing Buddha. Lao Wang estimated that even if Zhang Wanwan was pregnant for 10 months, her belly would not be half as fat as Director Chen's. Even now, my breasts may not be as big as Director Chen's. I'm new here. What a coincidence. Wanwan and Fengzi are not filming right now. It's a good opportunity for them to chat with you together. Director Chen said this with a smile and took Lao Wang to another place. Lao Wang was taken to another room. Here, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan seemed to be having lunch. He watched Zhang Wanwan holding a small plate and picking out some vegetable leaves from a large pot of meat and vegetables. Lao Wang felt a little emotional after watching this. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan are really in love. Zhang Wanwan would rather eat the vegetables herself and save the meat for Shen Feng. He hadn't finished expressing his feelings yet. And Zhang Wanwan placed the small plate full of vegetable leaves in front of Shen Feng. Then he brought the remaining pot of meat to himself. Lao Wang. Old Wang stood silently by and watched Shen Sheng and Zhang Wanwan finish their meal. Shen Sheng wiped at Zhang Wanwan's mouth, and then the two of them looked at Lao Wang. Name? Shen Feng asked. King, why should I tell you? Lao Wang frowned and said, let me go immediately. You are illegally detaining me, do you understand? Shen Sheng ignored Lao Wang. Instead, he waved his hand and signaled Director Chen to bring Lao Wang's phone over. When Lao Wang was caught by the fat security guard, his camera and mobile phone were confiscated. Director Chen handed the phone to Shen Feng. And then Shen Sheng connected Lao Wang's phone to the computer. After a while, old Wang heard Shen Feng say, Wang Qi, 41 years old, from Nanhe, lives in Daoxian Village, Zendi Township, Nanhe City, ID number. I have been engaged in the paparazzi industry for 12 years and run the Kimayagioyu studio. In addition to paparazzi, I also run a group of internet trolls. The biggest news I have ever released was the news that the first-line star Blackbait cheated on a rapper a few years ago. That piece of information earned you at least $1 million because although the information was basically true, you promoted it with the help of a celebrity who was a rival of Black Lily. In other words, you received a lot of black money. Black Lily and the rapper have been secretly offering a bounty since the incident. Who exposed their information, in order to avoid their pursuit? You have not appeared on the internet for 2 years. The more Shen Feng spoke, the more sweat appeared on Lao Wang's forehead. What's wrong with this person? Isn't he just an actor? A newly launched star? How does Shen Feng know these things? These things are Lao Wang's secrets, the biggest secrets. He didn't even tell his girlfriend, who he talked to about everything. Even though his girlfriend was inflatable. At this time, Shen Sheng looked up at Lao Wang. A kind smile appeared on his face. Brother, do you want to write a PR article of 10,000 words? Or do you want me to tell Black Lily and the others about all this? Lao Wang sniffed. Hoping for luck, he decided to keep talking tough. He didn't believe that Shen Feng just happened to have Black Lily's contact information. Widowmaker was a star a few years ago, and there has been no news about her in the past 2 years. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan have both become popular recently. So how could they have any connection with Black Lily? If you have the guts, just call. Who's afraid of who? Shen Feng took out his cell phone and made a call. 3 seconds later. Hello, who is this? On the other end of the line came Black Lily's voice. Lao Wang. Brother, I'll go write it now. Chapter 337. The effect of beating the dog is quite good. After sending Lao Wang to the computer room to write the manuscript, Chen Feng and Zhang Wanwan also went to the computer room to review it. When they saw the two people come in, the paparazzi in the room stood up and greeted them respectfully like mice seeing a cat. Another paparazzi came forward very attentively and said, Brother Shen, Brother Wan, my manuscript is almost finished. Would you like to take a look? This person was the first paparazzi caught by Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. It was nearly 10 days ago that he was caught. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan had just gotten their filming on track that day. And that afternoon, the two had a scene together in the park. Lin Sheng, played by Shen Feng, accompanies Liu Mengting, played by Zhang Wanwan, out and passes through the park. Here, Mengting heard someone singing opera by the river in a hoarse voice. And I suddenly remembered to let Lin Sheng sing a part as well. Lin Sheng asked Liu Mengting to sit in the octagonal pavilion in the park. And he stretched out his body and began to sing. During the performance, another organization in Shanghai, which was different from the one Liu Mengting and Lin Sheng belonged to, was ordered to assassinate Liu Mengting. The enemies surrounded them from all sides. Liu Mengting signaled Lin Sheng to continue singing and not to worry about anything else. She pulled out her pistol and loaded it. What follows is an extremely exciting fight scene. As Lin Sheng sang in Beijing dialect, Liu Mengting defeated her enemies one by one. The sound of gunfire echoed in the park, but did not cover up Lin Sheng's singing. One song, Heartbreaking. When Lin Sheng sang the last sentence with her fingers pinched together, Liu Mengting had also killed all the enemies and returned to Lin Sheng. There were also several scars on her body, but Liu Mengting didn't seem to care. When Lin Sheng saw the wounds on Liu Mengting's body, an expression of heartache appeared on his face. He tore off his clothes and bandaged Liu Mengting carefully, while saying, Sister Liu, don't you feel any pain? What about you? Aren't you scared? Liu Mengting narrowed her eyes and looked at the little man whose singing voice did not tremble in the hail of bullets. Lin Sheng smiled. It was still that kind of smile that was literary, elegant and slightly weak. I'm afraid that Sister Liu will get hurt. I'm afraid that they will hurt Sister Liu. Liu Mengting pinched Lin Sheng's chin. How come you are so good at talking? Is this something actors have to learn? Lin Sheng lowered his head gently and kissed Liu Mengting's bloody hand. If I say this is my true words, will Sister Liu believe it? The two of them stared at each other for a long while. And finally, Liu Mengting suddenly raised the pistol in her hand and pointed it at Lin Sheng's head. Lin Sheng's expression remained unchanged. He looked straight at Liu Mengting, and there was even a smile in his eyes. After a moment, Liu Mengting put down the gun and put it into Lin Sheng's hand. If this is really what you really mean, then I hope you can remember this sentence. This gun is for you. Follow me. You will encounter many dangers in the future. Use this gun to protect yourself. Lin Sheng carefully put away the gun and said with a smile, I will use it to protect you. Liu Mengting looked at Lin Sheng deeply. Finally, he said softly, I am looking forward to it. This scene ends here. This scene is basically an important scene in the early part of the movie. The play not only contains fighting scenes, but also a large number of literary scenes. The subsequent conversation and eye contact between Lin Sheng and Liu Mengting reveal a lot of information. From this point on, Liu Mengting actually began to suspect Lin Sheng. Lin Sheng also knew that Liu Mengting was suspicious of her. Both of them knew the truth, but pretended not to know. To perform this feeling is a great test of the actor's acting skills. Not only that, Shen Feng also has to sing as an embellishment in this scene. Originally, Shang Yan and Xiao Mo intended to invite a professional Peking opera actor to complete the dubbing later. After all, they didn't think that a young man of Shen Feng's age could sing Peking opera. But Zhang Wanwan said that she wanted Shen Feng to record the sound and sing on the spot. This is Peking opera, the quintessence of Chinese culture. Xiao Mo pushed his glasses and frowned. I'm not questioning teacher Shen Feng, but I don't think he can sing Peking opera, which requires basic skills and techniques. 1 minute on stage takes 10 years of hard work off stage. This saying is not said in vain. Xiao Mo felt that his suspicion was reasonable. Everyone has limited time. Shen Feng is only in his 20s and he doesn't come from a family of opera performers. It's already amazing that he can play the piano, guitar, sing, cook, act, and speak multiple languages. Show could he have the time to learn opera? For Feng Zi, 1 minute on stage is 60 seconds off stage. Zhang Wanwan said, Director Xiao still doesn't know my husband well enough. My husband is invincible. Xiao Mu turned on the live radio with doubt. However, while waiting for the recording, he still said to Shang Yan worriedly, Mr. Zhang, what do you think? How do I see it? Shang Yan smiled and said, I'm from Beijing. I've been listening to Peking opera all my life. I know at least 10 opera masters. You asked me to evaluate the opera singing skills of a non-professional young man. I can only say that beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. Zhang Wanwan likes Shen Feng, so she unconditionally thinks that everything about Shen Feng is good. He took a sip of tea and said calmly, just let Shen Feng sing for fun. I'll contact a professional opera actor and re-record it later. He just finished speaking. Over there, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan had already started performing the opera segment in the octagonal pavilion. When Shen Feng stretched out his arms and appeared, he began to sing the first line of the lyrics. Chang Yan almost shook out the tea in his hand. Who sang this? Chang Yan asked with his eyes wide open. He has been listening to Peking opera all his life and is definitely a professional fan. Just by listening to this one line of singing, he can tell the level of the singer. This sentence is in no way inferior to any master-level female role in the country today. Xiaomo had never listened to many operas, so he couldn't really tell the good from the bad. But seeing Chang Yan so surprised, he was also quite surprised. He looked at the camera display in front of him. In the camera, Shen Feng was opening his mouth, singing the lyrics like flowing water and falling flowers. Who is this Shen Feng? Chang Yan also saw the images in the camera. He leaned back in his chair and let out a long breath. After making movies for so many years, Chang Yan has met many actors. Chang Yan had seen actors who could sing Peking opera before. Chang Yan had seen Peking opera actors who could act before. Chang Yan has even seen actors who can both act and sing, and are good at both. But this is the first time in Chang Yan's life that he has seen an actor who can both act and sing, and is good at both, and who is so young. It wasn't just Chang Yan, Xiao Mu, and the staff on the scene who were stunned. There was also a person hiding in the dark who was startled by Shen Feng's professional singing voice. He is the first well-known paparazzi who climbed over the wall to enter the crew, Brother Zhu. At this time, Brother Zhu was hiding in the corner, secretly filming everything with a camera. The expression on his face was one of surprise and excitement. Shen Feng is surprisingly good at singing opera. And then there is even Zhang Wanwan's fighting scene afterwards. If these pictures were exposed, how much attention would they gain? Now I don't know how many fans of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan are waiting to see the news about this couple, especially after Zhang Wanwan was revealed to be pregnant. The fans became even more concerned. Brother Zhu was like a greedy dog, adding Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan to tempting pieces of meat. Only after the scene was finished did Brother Zhu put down his camera with satisfaction. His body was shaking with excitement. It's perfect. He didn't know how many times Shen and Zhang Wanwan had performed this, but at least in his opinion, this one was absolutely perfect. The coldness and arrogance of Zhang Wanwan's character, the gentleness and scheming of Shen Feng's character, Zhang Wanwan's fighting scenes, and Shen Feng's singing skills are all performed so well. Brother Zhu is sure now, as long as these materials are exposed, he will definitely gain a terrifying amount of traffic. Thinking of this, Brother Zhu looked at Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan again. You guys are really my cash cow, Brother Zhu was thinking. But he found that Shen Feng, who had just finished the performance, suddenly took the pistol that Liu Mengting gave to Lin Sheng in the play and started fiddling with it. What is he doing? Brother Zhu was stunned. Neither Brother Zhu nor Shang Yan and Xiaomo knew what Shen Feng was doing. Shang Yan picked up the intercom and asked, Shen Feng, what's wrong? Is there something wrong with the gun? Oh, no. Shen Feng smiled and said, I rarely see this kind of prop gun before. After a little research, I found that this can shoot BB bullets, but I don't know how powerful it is. As he spoke, Shen Feng casually raised his pistol and pulled the trigger. Oh shit. Immediately afterwards, everyone heard a scream coming from behind the bushes not far away. Shen Feng had already walked to the edge of the bushes with a gun in his hand and grabbed the paparazzi Zhu Ji who had just screamed. It seems to be quite powerful. Shen Feng looked at Brother Zhu and said, at least the effect of beating the dog is pretty good. Chapter 338. You just know. Brother Zhu, who was arrested, must be unwilling to accept it. He wanted to break free from Shen Feng's grip, but he didn't know why Shen Feng was obviously not very strong. But Brother Zhu just could break free from Shen Feng. He always felt that the angle at which Shen Feng grabbed him was particularly tricky, making him feel unbearable pain if he struggled a little. Brother Zhu was brought in front of the crew with a grin on his face. What do you want to do? Are you guys from a movie or gangsters? I provoke you. Brother Zhu said angrily. Chen Cheng let go of Brother Zhu, and before Brother Zhu could run away, he put the gun to Brother Zhu's head. Then he said, you hid there and secretly filmed us. Isn't that provoking us? Do you have to wait until you post it online to count? You, what are you talking about? I don't know, I'm just a passerby. I'm a tourist here to play. Brother Zhu said stubbornly. Chen Cheng grabbed the professional camera hanging around Brother Zhu's neck. You are quite a professional tourist, why are you using such a high-end machine? What's it to you? My family is rich, and it's none of your business if I use this camera to shoot shit. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhang Wanwan picked up a stool and said, Who are you calling shit? Brother Zhu, what area is this? Can you be a little more civilized? Don't always grab the stool. Do you think you are a gangster? Zhang Wanwan put down the stool. He picked up a tripod next to him that was used for filming. Brother Zhu. He could only helplessly say, I was wrong. Okay, I am shit. But even if I am shit, so what? You are not the ones cleaning the toilet, how can I bother you? If you guys don't allow me to take the photos, then I'll just delete them. You don't have to be violent with me, do you? As Brother Zhu said this, he snatched the camera back and then deleted all the photos. See, I deleted all of it, you can't stop me from leaving, can you? Brother Zhu showed the camera to everyone. But he was sneering secretly in his heart. For a paparazzi like him, taking secret photos is commonplace. Being caught is a common occurrence. If he didn't have any way to deal with it, he wouldn't be the #1 paparazzi in the eyes of netizens. This machine of his had been modified by him a long time ago. An external USB storage device is connected, and all the captured files will be backed up in the storage device. When he was caught by Shen Feng just now, he had hidden the storage device in his pocket. These people probably would never have thought that he had this trick. Just thought of this. Then he saw Shen Feng reaching into his trouser pocket. Zhu Ji's expression suddenly changed. What are you doing? He hurriedly tried to stop Shen Feng's hand, but Shen Feng suddenly withdrew his hand. It's like pinching something. Brother Zhu suddenly panicked. He rushed forward and tried to snatch the thing back from Shen Feng's hand. But Shen Feng waved at Zhang Wanwan and said, Brother Wan, go on. Zhang Wanwan raised her eyebrows and then extended her hand. Shen Feng raised his hand and threw something before Brother Zhu could stop him. He didn't see clearly what Shen Feng threw out. I only saw Zhang Wanwan put his hands together, as if he caught something. Zhu Ji turned to Zhang Wanwan again. But Zhang Wanwan glared at Zhu Ji and said, What do you want to do? Do you give my things back to me? How can you steal other people's things? Do you have any sense of reason? Brother Zhu said. What's in there? All my very important things. Give them back to me now. Zhang Wanwan narrowed her eyes and looked at Brother Zhu. Which one contains something very important to you? Brother Zhu pointed at Zhang Wanwan's clasped hands. You mean the one in my hand? Brother Zhu nodded. How about this, if you show me some kindness, I will return what I have to you. Zhang Wanwan said with a smile. Zhu Ji, what do you mean? Nothing else, just what you think. We are no longer interested. No, I think it's quite interesting. The two of them discussed it for a long time. In the end, Brother Zhu gritted his teeth and took out his cell phone. I scanned 1,000 yuan and gave it to Zhang Wanwan. This is actually small money for him. After all, he knew that as long as the contents of the storage device were exposed, his income would be hundreds of times, or even more than the 2,000. As the saying goes, you can't catch a wolf without sacrificing a kid. This money can only be given. After transferring the money, Brother Zhu looked at Zhang Wanwan. Can you give my things back to me now? Zhang Wanwan kept her hands clasped together as if she was holding something. Shen Sheng helped her to transfer money via mobile phone just now. At this time, she came in front of Zhu Ji and said to him, Stretch out your hand. Brother Zhu spread out his hands like a beggar. Zhang Wanwan opened her hand. Then, nothing happened. Looking at Zhang Wanwan's empty hands and his own empty hands, Brother Zhu is completely confused. Where are my things? Where did you put them? What? It's what Shen Feng threw just now. This is what Shen Feng threw to me. Zhang Wanwan pointed at Zhu Ji's empty palm. It's the ball of air in your hand. Brother Zhu stamped his feet in anger. What the hell do I need air for? How the hell do I know what you want the air for? Zhang Wanwan raised her eyebrows. You just pointed at my hand and said that I had something important in my hand and asked me to return it to you. No, then you didn't actually throw anything just now? Brother Zhu looked at Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan with devastated eyes. What we throw is none of your business. You have no right to control us throwing shit. Zhang Wanwan said this and gave Brother Zhu a push. Pushed Brother Zhu into Shen Feng's arms. Shen Sheng silently pushed Brother Zhu away again. Brother Zhu. He didn't want to say anything else now. He looked at Shen Feng anxiously and said angrily, Where is my stuff? Where is the stuff you just took from me? Where did you hide it? I've already given you $2,000. Can you please give my things back to me? Shen Sheng spread his hands sincerely. Brother, why don't you go get a pair of glasses later? Please look carefully. I didn't take anything from you at all. Okay? I just stretched out my hand towards you. How come that counts as stealing your things? Since you're staring at me like that, can I suspect you want to molest me? Shen Feng said. Zhu Ji wanted to refute, but then he reacted. He quickly reached into his trouser pocket and felt around inside. Finally, in ecstasy, he took out a storage device. Brother Zhu almost couldn't help laughing out loud. No matter what, at least the storage device is still there. It is there. The money is there. Everything is there. Only, Brother Zhu didn't even have time to be happy for 3 seconds. Zhang Wanwan, who was standing by, suddenly reached out and snatched the storage device from Brother Zhu's hand. Bring it here. Brother Zhu looked at his empty palms and was stunned. Then he shouted angrily at Zhang Wanwan, "What are you doing? That's mine. Do you want it? Pay the money to redeem it?" Zhang Wanwan said with a smile. "Didn't I just give you money? That one is for buying air, and this one is for buying a storage device. These two keys are different." Brother Zhu was too lazy to talk nonsense. He just wanted to leave here quickly. He took out his phone, scanned another 2,000 yuan to give to Zhang Wanwan, and then said, "Is this okay?" "No, the 2,000 is for the extra money for the air, so this needs extra money." "Brother Zhu, your mother." "Huh?" Shen Feng pointed the gun at Brother Zhu. "Brother Zhu, is your mother in good health?" Zhang Wanwan chuckled. Very good, very good. Hurry up and name a price. How much can you give me back the storage device?" Brother Zhu is very tired now. He swore that he would never deal with these two people again. He just wants to leave quickly now. Zhang Wanwan was also very happy. Friendship price, 300,000. Brother Zhu got anxious at that time. "Fuck you, are you a robber?" Zhang Wanwan raised her eyebrows and looked at Brother Zhu. "Why, you just found out about this?" Chapter 339, Explosive. The circle-locked couple actually. Brother Zhu soon found out. It turns out that Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan are not just robbers. And he's a robber. The kind that robs people. Not only was Brother Zhu not let go by Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, he was also detained on the set. Brother Zhu became anxious and threatened to call the police. But Shen Feng was neither fast nor slow. He even gave his cell phone to Brother Zhu, indicating that he could call the police at any time. Brother Zhu immediately took the phone and was about to make a call. But then, he saw a bunch of information displayed on the mobile phone that Shen Feng handed over. Seeing this, Brother Zhu's expression changed. He is a paparazzi and has offended too many people. And this information contains some of his biggest weaknesses. If these handles fall into the hands of the stars he has offended, Brother Zhu knew that he was doomed. How do you have these?" Zhu Ji said in a trembling voice. Shen Shang didn't answer Brother Zhu, but asked with a smile, "Are you not going to call the police?" Brother Zhu quickly shook his head. He knew very well that if he dared to call the police, he would be the one to be in trouble in the end. At that time, Sister Lin called Zhang Wanwan to discuss whether she should help promote the new movie. Zhang Wanwan looked at the poor, weak and helpless Brother Zhu. So, Brother Zhu became the first coolie to help write public relations articles for the movie. In the following days, the crew caught more than a dozen paparazzi who had sneaked in. These paparazzi could never figure it out. He is a paparazzi and he is obviously here to take pictures secretly. Why did you suddenly start writing articles for others? But they still dare not write badly. Because these paparazzi all know that Shen Feng has evidence against them. And they can't defeat Shen Feng. So they could only be honest and write public relations articles for Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan seriously. The finished manuscript has to be sent by Shen Feng to Sister Lin for review. It's passed only if Sister Lin says it's passed. Sister Lin said it was not approved and had to be sent back for rewriting. Zhang Wanwan even specially set up a reward and punishment system. Whoever writes the best manuscript will not only be able to have delicious meals for the 3 meals, but will also be able to sleep in a bed at night. Those who don't write good manuscripts can only eat vegetarian food and sleep on the floor. Afterwards, Zhang Wanwan probably felt that this was not cruel enough. A new reward and punishment mechanism has been developed. After everyone writes a manuscript that passes Sister Lin's review, they can take back their own black material, and they can also see the black material of other paparazzi. This really aroused the paparazzi's fighting spirit. Originally, the reward and punishment system only affected eating and sleeping, so no one cared much about it. After all, no matter how well they eat, they can't eat the food cooked by Shen Feng. But exposing the negative information is too cruel. The sooner a paparazzi writes a good article, the sooner he can get his own black material back, and at the same time see the black material of other paparazzi. As the saying goes, real hatred only exists between colleagues. These paparazzi would love to kill their peers so that they can dominate the market. So everyone worked hard and wrote articles as much as possible. On the one hand, he wanted to see the negative information of other paparazzi and get hold of something against his peers. On the other hand, he also wanted to get back his own black material as soon as possible so that his peers would not be able to find any evidence against him. The paparazzi should have been a united front, fighting against the oppression of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. But now they are like introverted office workers. Curls. Crazy curls, curls as much as you can. Looking at the paparazzi working very hard, Zhang Wanwan, like a slave owner, expressed great satisfaction. Brother Zhu, who was caught first, was also the first to be released. After he went out, the first thing he did was to find his men who were still waiting for him outside. "Brother, why did you stay in there for so long? Did something happen?" the subordinate asked with concern. Brother Zhu, who hadn't washed his hair or shaved for almost 10 days, straightened his messy hair, standing in the biting cold wind, looking back at the set, 2 lines of tears shed. Now, he actually felt like he was out of prison. Maybe Brother Zhu released some information after he returned. Anyway, after that, paparazzi were rarely caught on the set. Some public relations documents about the new movie were also quickly posted online. These free public relations documents were all written by big paparazzi, of extremely high quality and quite good effects. It soon attracted the attention of many netizens online. The cast of this movie seems to be very strong. Not only Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan are there, but also Shang Yan. This is Song Xian's last work. This gimmick alone is awesome enough. You may not have heard of Wang Shun Xun, but he is the president of Suzhou and Hanghouse Drama Academy. And he is also a big shot. Fuck, this troll army wrote so many articles and boasted so much. Why didn't they even have some explosive photos? That's right. What about the paparazzi? Whenever a celebrity shoots a new drama, don't the paparazzi break the news faster than the other? Where is big paparazzi, Zuzu? Do you have any revelations? Once netizens were attracted, they started looking for explosive news online to satisfy their curiosity. But I found that I couldn't find it no matter how hard I looked. The more I couldn't find it, the more curious I became. One by one, they began to tag those big paparazzi who used to post explosive news frequently, waiting for their news. After being tagged, other Zhu just responded with a slow Weibo post. Big paparazzi Zhu, don't tag me, I dare not expose it. Netizens don't know what happened. They all expressed that they thought Brother Zhu was getting scared. Brother Zhu replied to a Weibo post leisurely. Big paparazzi Zhu, you haven't experienced that kind of torture, so you won't understand me. This sentence made netizens think a lot. But it be that Brother Zhu was caught by Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan while taking secret photos? What did Feng Zi and Wan Ji do to Zhu Ji? Why does he have such a psychological trauma? Fuck, Feng Zi and Wan Ji tortured Zhu Ji. What? Feng Zi and Wan Ji abused Zhu Ji? Feng Zi and Wan Ji are torturing Zhu Ji. Breaking news, the couple in the circle is suspected of having SM with a big paparazzi. This is how things are on the internet as the story spreads. The style becomes a little weird. However, these have little impact on Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan and the crew. Now the entire crew is in very good shooting condition. Perhaps because of the influence of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan, two acting masters, and Sun Xiaoya, a novice actor, the actors in the entire crew found it very easy to get into the role. Normally one scene would require at least 10 takes, but now it may only take 2 or 3 takes to pass. The efficiency was much faster than Shangyan and Xiaomu expected. The last time I saw such an efficient group was 30 years ago. Shangyan watched the performances being performed again and again, and couldn't help but sigh. 30 years ago, he was just a young man. He was fortunate enough to follow the crew and see veteran actor Xu Yilin filming with that group of veteran actors. At that time, filming conditions were limited and funding was tight. Every reshooting squeezing a huge amount of funding from the crew. So actors of that generation held themselves to very high standards. When they are not filming, they will try their best to memorize their lines and rehearse their scenes. Sometimes I even got injured during the filming process, or even broke my arm, but I would force myself to finish a single take before going for treatment. Unlike today's actors, reshoots do not pose any psychological burden for them, and they rarely spend time practicing, directly treating the shooting scene as a practice scene. Sometimes, even if there was a thorn in the hand, the patient had to be sent to the hospital, making the entire crew wait for a long time in vain and wasting resources. Shangyan looked at Shen Feng, who had just finished filming a shot of falling into the water and was climbing ashore, and a relieved smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. With such good actors, the domestic film and television industry will surely become better and better and better in the future. And at this time, Shen Feng, who was surrounded by staff and wiping his wet body with a towel, suddenly rubbed his nose. Then he sneezed loudly and went out. Seeing this, Zhang Wanwan hurried over with a cup of hot water and asked, "Feng Zi, are you cold? Drink some water or you'll catch a cold." "It's okay. I don't catch colds that easily." Shen Feng smiled, took the cup of water handed to him by Zhang Wanwan and took a sip. Then, another sneeze came out. Chapter 340, The Invincible Shen Feng Falls Part 1. Looking at Shen Feng who was sneezing continuously, Zhang Wanwan's expression became very worried. She rarely saw Shen Feng sneeze like this. Feng Zi, could she really be sick? Zhang Wanwan quickly raised her hand towards Shangyan and said, "Director Zhang, why don't you take a break this afternoon? I think Feng Zi is not quite right." However, Shen Feng held down Zhang Wanwan's raised hand. Then he smiled and said, "I'm fine, you can continue filming." As he spoke, Shen Feng sniffed his nose again. Shen Feng doesn't want to delay the filming now. Half a month has passed since he and Zhang Wanwan joined the group. If Zhang Wanwan doesn't hurry up to finish the filming, her body will become less and less adapted to the high-intensity filming. Especially after you become pregnant, many shots become impossible to take. And Shen Feng didn't think he would catch a cold. To be honest, he hasn't experienced the feeling of a cold for more than 800 years. Every day was the same as the last, even if he froze to death in cold water the night before. He would wake up full of energy at 6 o'clock in the morning on July 31. If he could even recover from being chopped into pieces, it was impossible for a mere cold to remain in Shen Feng's body. Under Shen Feng's repeated insistence, Zhang Wanwan had no choice but to follow Shen Feng's wishes. At noon, Zhang Wanwan said that she would just eat the boxed lunch provided by the crew. But Shen Feng still went to make lunch for Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan took just one bite and noticed something was wrong. Zhang Wanwan was very familiar with Shen Feng's craftsmanship. Under normal circumstances, there would be no way that Shen Feng's seasoning would go wrong. But now, the dishes cooked by Shen Feng were obviously too salty. This made Zhang Wanwan even more worried. She put down her chopsticks, looked at Shen Feng seriously and said, "Fengzi, you may have caught a cold. Be obedient and take a rest on T-shoot for the next few days." Shen Feng waved his hand. Smiling, he said, "Wan Ji, don't forget, I'm a doctor. I know my situation very well. In a few days, 2 actors who have overlapping roles will come over. Director Shang will have to arrange their scenes first, so we won't be able to shoot for several days." Shen Cheng squeezed Zhang Wanwan's hand and said, "I'll go take a rest then. Now hurry up and shoot as much as possible before the actors who have overlapping roles come." "Be obedient, brother." Shen Cheng held Zhang Wanwan's hand and said softly, "Don't you trust me?" Zhang Wanwan frowned. She knew that Shen Feng was right. After a few days, when Shang Yan and several other actors who are busy with other scenes arrive, they will be given priority in filming their scenes. By then, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan won't know how many days they will have free time. If we don't take more shots in the next few days, if there is any delay, who knows what will happen to Zhang Wanwan's health. But Shen Feng now doesn't look like he's okay at all. To be honest, she now wanted to hit Shen Feng on the head with a stick, knock him unconscious for 3 days or 2, and let him have a good rest. Zhang Wanwan pursed her lips. After a moment, she took out a thermometer and said to Shen Feng, "Try the temperature first. If you don't have a fever, I'll consider it. But if you have a fever, you definitely can't shoot in the afternoon." Shen Feng nodded, took the thermometer and put it in his clothes. Zhang Wanwan suddenly signaled Shen Feng to take out the thermometer. Then he reached out and clipped the thermometer under Shen Feng's armpit. "I'm afraid you're not honest," Zhang Wanwan said. Shen Feng didn't say anything either. Zhang Wanwan waited for Shen Feng to take her temperature while eating her lunch, which didn't taste right. Shen Feng looked very natural, and even played with his phone while eating. Just when Zhang Wanwan felt that it was about time to check Shen Feng's temperature, the cell phone she placed on the sofa next to her suddenly rang. Zhang Wanwan stood up and picked up her phone, and found that it was a call from Jiat Nan. "Hello, Xiao Jia, what's wrong?" Zhang Wanwan asked. When Jiat Nan has something to do, he usually calls Shen Feng. "Why did you call me here today?" Sister Wan, do you know what Ting Ting likes?" Jiat Nan suddenly said this. "Why are you asking me what she likes? Isn't it better for her to ask herself? Or do you want to give her a surprise?" Yes, I wanted to give her a surprise," Jiat Nan said hesitant. Zhang Wanwan sneered again. "You don't even know what your girlfriend likes. And you expect me to tell you? Dream on." After saying that, Zhang Wanwan hung up the phone. In fact, it's not that she doesn't want to go back to Jiat Nan. Mainly she didn't know what Li Ting Ting particularly liked. After hanging up the phone, Zhang Wanwan returned to the dining table. I found Shen Feng still playing with his phone. Zhang Wanwan checked the time and said to Shen Feng, "Take out the thermometer." Shen Feng took out the thermometer honestly. Zhang Wanwan took a look and saw that it was only 36.5 degrees. But when he reached out and touched Shen Feng's forehead, it was clearly a little hot. "Their hands are too cold." Shen Feng held Zhang Wanwan's hand, as if he knew what Zhang Wanwan was thinking, and said softly, "Compared to your own hand, a thermometer is more reliable, right? Now that I don't have a fever, I can go to film in the afternoon, right? You promised me, you can't go back on your word, right?" Things had come to this point, and Zhang Wanwan could only nod reluctantly. She had also thought it through. If nothing worked out in the afternoon, she would secretly collude with Shang Yan and ask Shang Yan to quickly give Shen Feng a scene to get rid of him. And he made up a reason, such as there was a problem with the equipment, and asked Shen Feng to come back and rest. She knew Shen Feng. Given Feng Zui's personality, if she didn't give him a heads up first and just directly told him that the equipment was broken, Shen Cheng would definitely not believe it. But what Zhang Wanwan didn't expect was, it was the only scene we shot in the afternoon, but something went wrong. This scene is a clip of Lin Sheng, played by Shen Feng, performing at the Red Butterfly Theater. There was only one audience member in the audience, and that was Liu Mengting. Before this scene, someone leaked the secrets that Liu Mengting knew, causing heavy losses to the warlords. The only person Liu Mengting could think of who could have access to this secret was Lin Sheng. So Liu Mengting directly booked the theater, drove away all the people in the audience, sat down in the audience herself, looking at Lin Sheng, waiting for Lin Sheng to give her an explanation. In fact, the disappearance of confidential information had nothing to do with Lin Sheng. It was because Sister Hong, a subordinate of Liu Mengting, was bribed. At this time, Shen Feng was wearing a theatrical costume and performing on the stage. Liu Mengting, played by Zhang Wanwan, was sitting right in the middle of the front row. She was the only one in the audience in the huge theater, making it seem so empty. I have to say that Shen Feng's acting is really good. Especially now, he is dressed up and with the musicians playing music in the background. He looks even more perfect. It was so much that Zhang Wanwan, who was sitting in the audience, was a little dazed for a moment. She seldom goes to the theater normally, but today she watched it with great enthusiasm. She couldn't tell whether she was watching the play or the people performing the play. After Shen Cheng finished singing a song, Zhang Wanwan even subconsciously wanted to applaud. But before she could make any move, Shen Feng, who should have been standing firmly and restrained himself on the stage, suddenly stumbled. Then, the whole person fell down. At that moment, Zhang Wanwan's face was as pale as a piece of paper. She didn't even care that she was pregnant. He rushed onto the stage desperately and hugged Shen Feng. Seeing that Shen Feng was still looking at her with his eyes open, Zhang Wanwan forced herself not to cry. When Shen Feng fell down, Zhang Wanwan was really scared. She thought of Feng Zi who left her in her previous life. That was the pain that tormented her for 10 whole years. Chapter 341, The Invincible Shen Feng Falls Part 2. In Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's room, the doctor invited by the crew helped Shen Feng with the IV, and then said with a headache, "I saw you take good care of Zhang Wanwan in the variety show before. Why can't you take good care of yourself? Looking at your condition, you must have been sick for several days. You didn't even take a rest. You even went to shoot a falling into water scene this morning. Do you really think you are Superman?" Sigh. Listening to the doctor mumbling to Shen Feng, Zhang Wanwan's eyes were red. She knew very well why Shen Feng was so busy filming. It's all for her. After sending the doctor away, Zhang Wanwan sat beside the bed. Shen Feng raised the hand that was not receiving the IV and gently stroked the side of Wanwan's face. "Wanji, don't look like that, I'm fine." Shen Feng smiled and said, "It's just a minor cold, everyone gets a cold. It's a pity that I've wasted time again. I don't know if I'll have time to perform 2 more scenes with you later." As soon as Shen Feng finished speaking, Zhang Wanwan frowned and interrupted him. "No more, don't even think about it. Until you are fully recovered. Don't even think about filming again even if you want to. I will never accompany you." Zhang Wanwan said this and rubbed her eyes with her hand. Then his tone softened again. She grabbed the hand that Shen Feng extended, placed it to her lips, and kissed it gently. She whispered, "Feng Zi, we still have a lot of time. Even if I get really pregnant and can't take photos for the time being, it can still wait on T-joke with your own body, okay?" Shen Feng said helplessly, "Wanji, I just have a minor cold. It's really not a big deal. You don't need to be so nervous. Every time I caught a cold, you never told me it was just a minor cold and you always took good care of me. I'll come with you. A fever of 39 degrees is not a big deal." Zhang Wanwan pursed her lips and said, "Really, Feng Zi? Can you give half of the kindness you show me to yourself in the future? Take care of yourself. I really don't want to see you fall in front of me again. You will never experience that feeling even if you live for 800 years. Just think of me as being selfish, just think of it as being for me. And don't joke about your body anymore, I beg you, okay?" Shen Feng originally wanted to make some excuses. But at this time, Zhang Wanwan had tears in her eyes and began to sob softly. Shen Feng's words of defense were stuck in his throat. After a moment, he reached out to wipe away Zhang Wanwan's tears. Then he said slowly, "I remember, I will never do it again." Zhang Wanwan sniffed. "It's a deal, it's a promise. You can't go back on your word. We all have to be fine. And stay together forever, okay?" Shen Feng smiled and nodded. "Okay, it's a deal. We'll be fine from now on, and we'll be together forever." As he said that, he reached out and pinched Zhang Wanwan's little face. "Little crybaby." Zhang Wanwan finally burst into laughter. She knocked Shen Shen's hand away, and scolded with a choked smile. "I'm crying because of you, Ray over 800 years old, and you're not a worry at all. Shen Sheng wanted to say something else, but he suddenly started coughing again. This made Zhang Wanwan, who was smiling a second ago, feel nervous again. Then he hurriedly poured a glass of water for Shen Feng. Shen Sheng took it and was about to drink the water, but Zhang Wanwan took the cup back. He took a sip himself. After drinking it, Zhang Wanwan ran to pour some cold water and took another sip. Only when the temperature was right did he hand it to Shen Feng. Seeing Zhang Wanwan busy and flustered, Shen Feng lowered his eyes slightly and sighed. He remembered that Wanwan had told him a few days ago that she wanted to learn how to take care of others. Although Wanwan wanted to learn how to take care of people at that time because she was worried that Shen Feng would get pregnant, the reason was rather strange. Shen Feng was thinking at that time that his older brother had never taken care of anyone. I was also thinking that I must never let my elder brother take care of me in the future. Otherwise my elder brother, who is unfamiliar with me, would definitely be flustered and anxious. At that time, Shen Feng himself did not expect that this would actually be a flag he set. What I didn't expect was that just a few days later, this flag came true. Besides, thinking that he shouldn't have insisted on it before. If I had rested for 2 days earlier and wasn't as sick as I am now, I wouldn't need Wanwan to take care of me like this. Seeing Shen Feng sigh, Zhang Wanwan hurriedly asked, "What's wrong? Are you feeling uncomfortable somewhere? Or is the water temperature not suitable?" "It's quite appropriate." Shen Sheng took another sip of water and then put the cup on the bedside table next to him. He reached out and pulled Zhang Wanwan to sit down next to him, and said softly, "I feel much better after drinking some water. Don't run around anymore, just sit here and keep me company." "But, good." Shen Feng often likes to say good boy to Zhang Wanwan. Maybe it was because of the time pressure from 800 years ago. At every time Zhang Wanwan heard Shen Feng say this word, she felt like she was comforted by her grandfather. Zhang Wanwan looked at Shen Feng and said with a flat mouth, "Every time you say be good, I am very obedient, so next time when I say be good, can you listen to me? If you agree, I will sit here with you now. If you don't agree, I will continue to be busy." With Zhang Wanwan threatening him like this, Shen Sheng had no choice but to give in. "Okay, I'll listen to you if you say I'm good from now on. Can you sit here with me now?" Zhang Wanwan smiled and lowered her head to kiss Shen Feng on the face. After the infusion was completed, Shen Feng's fever seemed to subside a little. After the doctor pulled out the infusion needle, he left Shen Feng some antipyretic medicine and told him to take one pill if he had a fever again at night. It was already afternoon when Shen Feng fell off the stage. Now after seeing the doctor and getting the infusion, it's already dark outside. Although Zhang Wanwan really wanted to cook some nutritious meals for Shen Feng herself, she gave up the idea considering that Shen Feng might die from food poisoning. She ordered a bowl of porridge and some vegetables for Shen Feng. When the meal arrived, she brought it to the bedside, holding the porridge in one hand and the spoon in the other. After scooping a spoonful of porridge, Zhang Wanwan blew it carefully. Then he handed the porridge to Shen Feng's mouth. "Open your mouth." "Wanji, I'm fine after the infusion, I can eat by myself. You should go eat first." Shen Sheng heard Zhang Wanwan's stomach growling. His brother Wanwan is not someone who can stand hunger. Every time he is hungry, Zhang Wanwan will clamor for food. "I'm not hungry." But today Zhang Wanwan was particularly stubborn. She forcefully held the spoon forward again. "You eat first. And I'll eat after you finish." Shen Sheng wanted to persuade him again. But Zhang Wanwan said again, "Be good." Looking at Zhang Wanwan's stubborn little eyes, Shen Feng had no choice but to open his mouth and drink the spoonful of porridge. Zhang Wanwan finally had a smile on her face. She scooped another spoonful for Shen Feng and blew it carefully for a long time. After the temperature was right, he handed it to Shen Feng's mouth. Then he said with a smile, "Little Feng Zi, be good and open your mouth. Be obedient." Shen Feng never expected that there would be a day when Wanwan would treat him like a child. His expression was a little helpless, but seeing the smile on Zhang Wanwan's face, Shen Feng finally laughed too. He opened his mouth and drank another spoonful of porridge. To be honest, Shen Feng has no appetite at all now. But inexplicably, in the end, he forced himself to drink half a bowl of porridge. It's obvious that the porridge isn't very tasty either. And my cooking skills aren't even 1/10 as good as his. But with Zhang Wanwan's repeated, and, "Good boy," this unpalatable porridge seemed to become sweeter. Chapter 342, The Invincible Shen Feng Falls Part 2. Not long after finishing his meal, Shen Sheng fell asleep unconsciously. People with fever tend to be drowsy. And the antipyretic medicine also has the side effect of making people drowsy. So Shen Feng went to bed particularly early today. After Zhang Wanwan threw away the takeaway box, she came back and saw Shen Feng lying on the bed with his eyes closed and asleep. She walked forward, first covered Shen Feng with the quilt, then turned off the light, thinking of lying down next to Shen Feng to rest. But she remembered that the doctor had said before that the fever-reducing effect of the infusion could only last about 11 or 12 hours. Shen Feng finished the infusion at 4 in the afternoon. And there was a possibility that he would have a fever again at 2 or 3 in the morning. Jiang Wanwan still has a strong self-awareness ability. She felt that if she went to bed now, she might have to sleep until tomorrow morning. She is quite confident about her sleeping ability. But if she sets an alarm now, she will wake up in the middle of the night. But Shen Sheng will also be woken up. Jiang Wanwan thought about it and finally decided not to sleep yet. It's not like she hasn't stayed up all night before. She just went to bed at 2 or 3 o'clock. It's no big deal. Jiang Wanwan lay down next to Shen Feng and started watching on her cell phone. However, the short videos, novels, and Weibo posts that seemed so interesting before now seem annoying to Jiang Wanwan. She turned off her cell phone, lay on her side again, and looked at Shen Feng who was sleeping beside her. Listening to Shen Feng's moderate breathing, Jiang Wanwan's annoyed heart gradually calmed down. After 12 o'clock in the evening, Jiang Wanwan would basically check Shen Feng's body temperature every once in a while. For fear of waking Shen Feng up, Jiang Wanwan didn't dare to use too much force. Sometimes, when she was not sure whether Shen Feng had a fever, she would bend down and put her forehead against Shen Feng's to test it carefully. By 3 o'clock, Shen Feng still didn't have a fever, but Jiang Wanwan still couldn't feel at ease. She was always afraid that Shen Feng would start to have a fever as soon as she fell asleep. In the end, Jiang Wanwan stayed up until about 4 o'clock. When she touched Shen Feng's forehead again, she found that Shen Feng's body temperature seemed to have risen again. Jiang Wanwan hurriedly took out the thermometer, then gently woke up Shen Feng and asked Shen Feng to test the temperature. Shen Sheng might be a little confused after waking up. He didn't open his eyes and just let Jiang Wanwan do whatever she wanted. 38 degrees and 5 degrees. Shen Sheng has a fever again. Jiang Wanwan quickly found the antipyretic medicine the doctor had given her, poured some water and fed it to Shen Feng. She remembered that the doctor said that after taking this medicine, Shen Feng would sweat, so she should cover him with a blanket to keep the sweat out. Otherwise, if Shen Feng catches a cold after sweating, it will be even worse for his health. Jiang Wanwan took the quilt again and covered Shen Feng with it. Not long after, Shen Feng was visibly sweating. Shen Feng might also be feeling hot. He didn't know whether he was awake and confused or struggling in a dream. He kept trying to lift the quilt. Jiang Wanwan rarely saw Shen Feng like this. He was like a child now, no longer smiling the way that made her feel at ease. He is a little willful and disobedient now. Feng Zi, please be patient for a while. Looking at Shen Feng like this, Jiang Wanwan also felt distressed. But there was no way. The drug was just taking effect and Shen Feng was sweating all over. If he lifted the quilt, he would definitely catch a cold. Jiang Wanwan finally leaned over and hugged Shen Feng, preventing him from struggling too much. And he kissed Shen Feng on the forehead and said softly, "Be good, Feng Zi, be good. Be good, stop making trouble. Hold on a little longer." I don't know if Shen Feng really heard it. His struggling movements were indeed much smaller. Slowly Shen Sheng probably fell asleep again, and his breathing became steady again. Jiang Wanwan breathed a sigh of relief. She tested Shen Feng's temperature again. It has indeed gone down. After a while, Jiang Wanwan searched on the internet to find out whether it is possible to wipe the sweat after having a fever. After all, Shen Feng was covered in sweat, and it would definitely be uncomfortable to sleep like this. After seeing on the internet that one can use a dry towel or a warm towel to wipe off sweat, Jiang Wanwan immediately poured some warm water and soaked the towel. After soaking the towel and wringing it out as much as possible to stop it from dripping, Jiang Wanwan carefully took the towel and put her hand into the quilt. She didn't dare lift the quilt to wipe the sweat off her face. She didn't know as much as Shen Feng and didn't know how to take care of people best. She could only try her best to do what she thought was safe. Even if it was a little troublesome or stupid, as long as it was good for Shen Feng. It is very troublesome to wipe sweat through the quilt. Jiang Wanwan is pregnant now, and her physical condition is not as good as before. Shen Cheng was a big guy lying there, and it was really not easy for Jiang Wanwan to manipulate him. And I don't know if it's because of staying up late, but Jiang Wanwan always feels that morning sickness is particularly obvious now. She ran to the toilet several times, but because she didn't eat much that night, she didn't vomit much. After vomiting, she came back to wipe Shen Feng's body. After tossing and turning several times, Shen Feng may have heard the sound. After his fever subsided, he opened his eyes and looked much more normal. When he saw Jiang Wanwan wiping the sweat off his body in the middle of the night, with her forehead covered with sweat, Shen Feng's heart felt like it was hit hard. Shen Sheng is a person who seldom cries. Even if there were tears, they would have been shed almost completely in 800 years. But now, he couldn't help wanting to cry. "Late brother," Shen Feng spoke softly. Jiang Wanwan, who had been busy before, Only realized at this moment that Shen Feng had woken up. She raised her head, looked at Shen Feng and said, "Are you awake? How do you feel now? Are you still feeling uncomfortable?" Zhang Wanwan hadn't finished her question. Shen Feng stretched out his hand and pulled her onto the bed. He hugged her tightly, as if he was hugging the most precious treasure in the world. "I'm sorry, I clearly promised to take good care of you. And I clearly thought about not letting you suffer anymore. But now, Shen Sheng really regrets it now. Wanwan is pregnant now. And this should be the time when she is treated as the most pampered. Now I have to stay up all night to take care of him." Shen Feng only felt that when he had a high fever before. He didn't feel as uncomfortable as he did now. Listening to Shen Feng's whisper in her ear, Zhang Wanwan rubbed Shen Feng gently with her head. He said slowly and gently, "You should say sorry, let us see if you dare to be so careless about yourself next time. Remember, your little sister is a very lazy person. Don't let her worry about you so much in the future. Okay? Don't take it too seriously, we are husband and wife. You love me more than I do, and I love you more than you do. Okay, you're still calling me a little crybaby. But you, an 800-year-old crybaby, are no less. Good." Chapter 343 It's good to have money. Chen Cheng was sick for nearly 5 days before he was almost recovered. However, because he was worried that Zhang Wanwan was too tired, Shen Feng called her the next day after he fell ill. "Hey, brother-in-law, what's going on?" Zhang Qianming asked on the phone. "I have a fever, can you come and take care of me?" Shen Feng said. "Yu and I are playing outside now." Listening to Zhang Qianming's reluctant tone, Shen Sheng hung up the phone directly. Then he called Li Yuya. His voice suddenly became very weak and he said, "Yuya, your brother is sick, your sister Wanwan is pregnant and has to take care of me. She can't hold on any longer. You're in Suzhou Hang House, right? I'll be there soon," Li Yuya said immediately. Zhang Qianming, who was sitting next to Li Yuya, as expected, his Yuya still sided with Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. But actually Zhang Qianming didn't have anything to do right now. He just drove Li Yuya around for fun. Fortunately, Suzhou Hang House were not far away, so I drove for half a day and arrived there. With Li Yuya and Zhang Qianming taking care of Shen Feng, Zhang Wanwan felt much more relaxed. In fact, Shen Feng originally wanted to ask Sun Xiaoya, Zhang Wanwan's cheap apprentice, to help. But Sun Xiaoya is still a child and is quite spoiled. It is difficult for her to take care of herself, let alone take care of others. Moreover, Shen Feng also knew that Zhang Qianming and Li Yuya had nothing important to do at the moment. So they called them over. After Shen Feng had almost recovered, Zhang Qianming took Li Yuya to visit the attractions in the Suzhou Hang House film and television base. So that the trip was not in vain. But by the time Shen Feng recovered, the actors who had agreed to come to film had already arrived. Shangyan and Xiaomo had to arrange scenes for the actors who were filming overlapping scenes. Even if Shen Sheng recovered, he would not be able to accompany Zhang Wanwan to finish filming the rest of the scenes. These actors who are working on multiple shows don't have the speed of shooting in one take like Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. It would probably take at least half a month for them to finish all the shows. In another half a month, Zhang Wanwan's pregnancy will become apparent, and it will probably be inconvenient for her to continue filming. For a moment, Shen Feng felt quite melancholy. "What's wrong? Brother-in-law, are you still feeling uncomfortable?" Zhang Qianming saw that Shen Feng's face looked a little strange. So he asked in confusion. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan briefly explained the matter to Zhang Qianming. Zhang Qianming pondered over it. Finally he looked at Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan and said, "Brother-in-law, sister, I have a technical question and I need to consult you to professionals." Shen Feng nodded. "You go ahead. I mean, can the crew only shoot one set of scenes at a time? In other words, can two sets shoot at the same time?" "It's okay," Zhang Wanwan said, "but it's difficult. First of all, we need another set of professional equipment. Secondly, we need to recruit another batch of staff such as lighting, costumes, props, and even directors." Principal Wang's crew was a bit rushed in preparing for this film, and they didn't have enough manpower and equipment. It was difficult to shoot two groups at once. Zhang Qianming clapped his hands when he heard it. "I thought it was impossible to shoot two groups at the same time. If it were possible, it wouldn't be a problem at all. It's just that there's no equipment and manpower. I can take care of it." After saying that, Zhang Qianming made a phone call. Zhang Wanwan thought he would have to pay out of his own pocket to solve these problems. She was just about to say that Wang Shun Xuan had spent nearly tens of millions on all this, a sum that Zhang Qianming might not be able to afford on his own. Zhang Qianming said to the phone, "Dad, my sister is filming a movie and has run into some problems. She may need to spend more money, can you sponsor her a little more?" Yes, it's the one with Song Jian, how much does it cost?" Zhang Qianming looked at Zhang Wanwan. "And I saw Zhang Wanwan making a 3 sign. She meant the starting amount was 30 million. Jiang Qianming nodded and said into the phone. 300 million, please, Zhang Wanwan. By the way, don't you know the CEO of Mingle Eye Entertainment? Can you ask him for some help? How many people? Just hire a crew from them. Jiang Qianming hung up the phone, then laughed and said, sister, it's solved. Zhang Wanwan glanced at Shen Feng. Shen Cheng looked at Zhang Wanwan again. Be reasonable. He and Zhang Wanwan really didn't expect that this problem could be solved this way. Damn capitalism. Zhang Wanwan muttered softly. To be honest, even though she and Shen Feng have been quite popular recently, they don't receive many notices, so their income is not that much in the entertainment industry. Compared with those big businessmen, it is far worse. A few days later, a bus carrying a lot of equipment and crew members arrived at the set. When Wang Shenshen Xun saw this group of people, he almost fought with them. This is the set we booked, we paid for it, you can't come. It was Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng who pulled Wang Shen Xun back and explained things to him. Because we were worried that Wanwan's pregnancy would affect the filming, we found someone to sponsor us, bought a set of equipment, hired a professional crew to help, and opened another group to shoot simultaneously, and strive to finish the rest of our scenes within half a month. Shen Feng said. Wan Shenshen Xun looked at Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan as if he were looking at a ghost. When did you start looking for someone? A few days ago. Zhang Wanwan said. So many people were brought here just a few days ago? Yes. Do you know that it took me several months to put together this crew? Yes. Ben, do you know what this means? Wang Shenshen looked at Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan raised an eyebrow. Does it mean you are stupid? Wang Shenshen. Wang Shenshen, if this happened in school, I would have thrown you out to the playground to make you stand there as punishment. Zhang Wanwan really wanted to say, if this happened in school, your car would be covered with circle locks when I was punished to stand. But in the end, out of respect for teachers, the kind-hearted Zhang Wanwan didn't say it out loud. In fact, Zhang Wanwan knew what Wang Shenshen meant. Although Wang Shenshen received sponsorship from Jiang Qianming's father, he still wanted to spend the money wisely, such as on venue, post-production, special effects, etc. So when he was recruiting crew members, he either looked for people he knew or people who were good value for money. It would certainly be more troublesome to get together a group of people, but the price would definitely be much cheaper. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan said that they found such a professional crew within a few days. In Wang Shenshen's opinion, the cost must be a huge sum of money. So Wang Shenshen was shocked by Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's extravagance. In fact, we need a little more sponsorship. The remaining money can be given to you first. When the movie makes a profit, don't forget to share the profits. Zhang Wanwan said again. You have bought a set of professional equipment and hired such a professional crew. How much money can you save? Wang Shenshen disagreed and picked up the teacup and took a sip of water. About 200 million. Wang Shenshen sprayed a mouthful of water directly at Director Chen opposite him. Director Chen wiped his face. I don't like Long Jing. Can I try to Hong Pao next time? Chapter 344, Beating 12 at a time. The crew and equipment arrived, and Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan started filming again. In fact, what needs to be filmed is not just the rivalry between the two of them, but also many rivalry scenes between Zhang Wanwan and others. So if you want to finish shooting all of them, it will still take some time. In order to ensure the quality of the filming, Shang Yan handed over the original filming tasks of the crew to Xiao Mu. He personally came to the new group and took charge of the overall situation. I have to say that the saying an old person in the family is like a treasure is really true. Although the crew didn't know much about the script or the filming process of the play, under the leadership of the experienced director Shang Yan, they were able to easily get the filming on track. On the first day of filming, Wang Shenshen also strolled around the new crew. Then he saw two young people, a man and a woman, chatting next to the crew, chatting and flirting at the same time. They also feed each other. Wang Shenshen felt very displeased by this. As the principal, he is a rather rigorous old scholar. I usually can't stand students slacking off during their studies, or people being distracted at work, not to mention the two of them were dating on the set. The other people in the crew seemed to be very serious. How come the people sneaked in to bring bad atmosphere? He frowned. He straightened his back and walked towards Liu Ya and Jiang Qianming who were playing around the set with a serious face. He righteously scolded the two people. You two, can you please work properly? We spent money to invite your crew to come here, not to have sex here. Can you be serious? Liu Ya and Jiang Qianming blinked at the same time. At this moment, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan just finished filming a scene and walked over. You guys have met each other. I was thinking of introducing you to each other sometime. Principal Wang, this is Jiang Qianming, my cousin. His father is the one who sponsored you before this time. Our equipment and crew were also paid for by his father. Zhang Wanwan introduced to Wang Shun Xun. Wang Shun Xun. The corners of Wang Shun Xun's mouth were twitching. How he wished he was sending messages on WeChat right now. At least you can withdraw it. After twitching his lips for a long time, Wang Shun Xun said to Liu Yaz and Zhang Qianming, "Can you guys be more serious, talk about love properly? There are so many attractions in this film and television base. And there are so many places to see, why should we stay in such a boring place? How can we have a romantic relationship here? Come, I'll take you around and recommend you some places with nice scenery. I guarantee you'll be satisfied." Having said that, Wang Shun Xun took Zhang Qianming and Liu Yu away. In a blink of an eye, more than 10 days passed. Thanks to Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's superb acting skills, both the two people's rival scenes and the rival scenes with other people were finally completed. In fact, if Zhang Wanwan were to judge for herself, she feels that many of her shots still have room for improvement and polishing. But if we want to strive for excellence and perfection, it may take another 2 or 3 months to complete the filming. Zhang Wanwan really couldn't wait until that time. After finishing filming what needed to be filmed and making sure there was nothing else to do on the crew side, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan returned to Zhonghe City. As for Liu Ya and Zhang Qianming, the two of them had left long ago and continued to drive around the world. On the day I returned to Zhonghe City, it's snowed for the first time in a long time. It is almost the end of the year, and this moderate snowfall has added a lot of New Year atmosphere to Zhonghe City, especially on the streets and in some busy commercial areas. Lanterns and other things with a festive atmosphere are hung up. Covered with white snow, the New Year atmosphere is even more festive. After returning to Zhonghe City, Shen Feng first took Zhang Wanwan to the private hospital they had visited before and examined Zhang Wanwan's body. After confirming that Zhang Wanwan was in good health and the baby in her belly was fine, Shen Sheng breathed a sigh of relief. Ever since he had a fever, he has been worried that his elder brother might have health problems due to being busy during that time. Fortunately, his younger brother is still quite strong. The doctor may have seen that Shen Feng was worried about Zhang Wanwan, so he specifically told Shen Feng something. Given your wife's current physical condition, less than 3 people with weaker physical conditions may not be able to get close to her, and less than 5 people may not be her match. Zhang Wanwan sighed when she heard it. Time makes people grow old. I used to fight 10 people. The doctor comforted him. Don't be too sad when your child is born. We can add your child and give you 12 at once. You give us 10. And each of your 2 children will give us 1. Zhang Wanwan nodded in agreement. Then, more than 10 seconds passed. She stared at the doctor and said, two children? Yes. The doctor looked at Zhang Wanwan in confusion. No one has ever told you before that you are pregnant with twins? Zhang Wanwan? She looked at Shen Feng. Shen Feng was also looking at her. The two of them were stunned for a while. Suddenly they all hugged each other and laughed. She was laughing so happily. The doctor looked at the two men. After hesitating for a while, I finally decided not to call the psychiatric department. On the way home, this time Zhang Wanwan did not hide the news and directly told the news of the twins to Su Yan, Zhang Ziqi, Tang Ping, Shen Xiaoji Yuo, Sister Lin, and the WeChat groups of several groups where she had recorded the show before. People in the group sent their congratulations one after another, and Zhang Wanwan had a happy expression on her face the whole time. After arriving at the villa, Shen Feng parked the car, and the two went home hand in hand. Zhang Wanwan waved her hands high in the air, smiling happily as she waved. Fengzi, they're twins. We'll have 2 babies in the future. If there are 2 boys, we will call them Da Hu and Er Hu. 2 girls will be called Dao and Iu and Ren Iu. And a boy and a girl will be called Hu Zi and Iu and Iu. What do you think? Asked based on Zhang Wanwan's naming skills of naming dogs Mimi, Niubi, and Wotu. Shen Feng was very satisfied that she did not name the child Go Was Hang. Zhang Wanwan also smiled and said, in fact, I didn't think having a child was a big deal before. But since my belly has been getting heavier, I've been feeling more and more that it would be nice to have a child of our own. What about you, Feng Zi? What do you think about becoming a father of 2 children? Shen Feng smiled and hugged the very happy Zhang Wanwan. In fact, I didn't think it was a big deal to have children. But because this is with your child, I also feel very happy and joyful. Zhang Wanwan chuckled. Suddenly his eyes rolled again. They say that children are the fruit of love, so why don't we name our child Shen Jingjing? Wan Ji, you are pregnant with 2, Shen Feng reminded. Zhang Wanwan nodded. I thought deeply and repeatedly pondered the words children are the fruit of love. Finally, he clapped his hands decisively. It's decided. The second child will be called Shen Jingjing. What about the boss? It's called Shen. Shen Feng. Shen Feng. He glanced at Zhang Wanwan's belly. I sincerely hope that these 2 children can inherit Zhang Wanwan's beauty and physique. But don't inherit her IQ. Chapter 345 Victims. There are only a few days left until the Chinese New Year. Ang Ping and Shen Xiaojiuo have been taken to Su Yan and Zhang Ziyiqi's home. During the day, the four of them came to Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan's villa. He said he was here to take care of Zhang Wanwan, but in fact he was just here to eat for free. Zhang Wanwan is now living the life of a true princess. Every day he has everything he needs, and he lives a more comfortable life than a pig. Of course, my weight is also increasing. Sister Lin, who had just returned from vacation with Qin King, sighed when she saw Zhang Wanwan, who had gained a little weight. Zhang Wanwan looked at Sister Lin's unfriendly eyes and pointed at her belly pitifully. Sister Lin, for the sake of the baby in your belly, I'll let you go first. Zhang Wanwan smiled. Sister Lin, after you give birth and finish your confinement, I will personally urge you to lose weight if you don't get back to your original weight in a month. You can expect my devilish training. Zhang Wanwan cried again. After lying at home for a few days, and seeing that the Chinese New Year was just a few days away, Zhang Wanwan started to feel like playing again. Fengzi, how about we go back to Qingliu County? Shen Feng raised his eyebrows. Is there anything you want to see when you go back? Go back to school, okay? Shen Feng also knew that Zhang Wanwan was bored at home and wanted to go out and find a place to relax. Shen Feng agreed. They drove and took Zhang Wanwan back to Qingliu County and found the elementary school they had attended together. The original primary school has now been renovated and looks much better. The original red brick playground has been replaced with a rubber track, and the dilapidated building has also been renovated and looks brand new. There are two big photos hanging at the school gate, which are quite new. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan looked over and discovered that the two photos were actually of them. There is also a line of big words on it. Outstanding graduates of Qingliu Experimental Primary School. Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. It seems that there are really no famous students in our elementary school, so they put us two on the list. Zhang Wanwan said with a smile. Shen Feng reached out and scratched Zhang Wanwan's nose. Speaking of famous, how many people can be as famous as my brother? Of course, for example. Zhang Wanwan pretended to be in deep thought for a long time. Finally, he shook his head and said, well, maybe not. Seeing her deliberately showing off face, Shen Feng pinched her face again. Zhang Wanwan glared at Shen Feng. Okathis lie. And he looked at the school and said with some regret. What a pity, it's winter vacation now, and we can't go in and take a look. I was just wondering if I could find the desk where we used to sit together in class. There's a picture you drew for me on it. Hearing Zhang Wanwan's somewhat regretful tone, Shen Feng hugged her and walked to the school gate, then patted the door. Even during holidays, there should be someone guarding the gate of this school. As expected. After Shen Qing knocked on the door a few times, an old man who looked to be in his 50s or 60s came out from the gatehouse. The old man was holding a book and wearing reading glasses, walking and reading at the same time. When he reached the door, he asked without even looking up, what are you doing? Is the school closed for the holidays now? See this old man. Zhang Wanwan's expression was stunned. Mr. Liu, Mr. Liu? The old man heard Zhang Wanwan's voice. The book in his hand suddenly fell to the ground. He raised his head trembling lie. He took off his reading glasses and looked at Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan outside the door. Why are you here? The old man's voice began to tremble. When she saw that it was really Teacher Liu, Zhang Wanwan's expression became even happier. Teacher Liu, you still remember me? Hey, teacher, where are you going? Please open the door for us. Zhang Wanwan hasn't finished speaking yet. Then I saw the old man, Teacher Liu, suddenly run away. He picked up a bicycle that was placed next to the gatehouse and hurriedly carried it into the gatehouse. And he closed the door of the gatehouse and locked it with several locks. Only after making sure that the concierge's door was closed did Teacher Liu seem to breathe a sigh of relief. He returned to the school gate trembling lie and opened the door for Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan. Zhang Wanwan looked at Teacher Liu and couldn't help asking, Teacher Liu, what were you doing just now? What do you think I'm doing? I'm not hiding my car, waiting for you to put a ring lock on it. Teacher Liu glared at Zhang Wanwan and said, Zhang Wanwan, Teacher Liu, I'm already such a grown-up, but I still do something so childish? Meeting. Teacher Liu was particularly affirmative. I watched your variety show, you little girl are even worse than before. Zhang Wanwan. In fact, Zhang Wanwan didn't expect that the old man guarding the school would be Teacher Liu. He was the victim of the circle lock case, that year. The legendary unlucky guy whose bicycle was locked with 9 circles by Zhang Wanwan. Teacher Liu told Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan that he had retired a few years ago. After retirement, I had nothing to do, so I stayed at the school to guard the gate to pass the time. Ever since Shen Sheng and Zhang Wanwan became popular on the internet this year, their elementary school has also become a tourist attraction for many star chasers. There are even many people who are trying to find out which teacher is the protagonist of the circle locking incident and want to get an autograph. I have always kept my identity and fame hidden and I don't bother to deal with them. Teacher Liu narrowed his eyes and said slowly, to me, it was just an ordinary prank by an ordinary student. I didn't take it seriously at all. Zhang Wanwan glanced at the gatehouse door, which was locked like a bank vault. Seeing Zhang Wanwan's unbelieving look, Teacher Liu cleared his throat awkwardly and changed the subject. Well, you celebrities must be very busy, right? How come you still have time to come back to the elementary school to visit? It was quite busy, but I got pregnant recently, so I didn't take on much work, Zhang Wanwan said. When Teacher Liu heard this, he looked down at Zhang Wanwan's belly again. Then he said nothing, turned around and strolled back to the concierge. After unlocking all the doors, he went into the concierge's office and searched around. Finally he brought out a hot water bottle for Zhang Wanwan. Holding my belly to warm it up, you don't even know to wear thicker clothes even though you're pregnant. The weather is so cold these days. Zhang Wanwan didn't say that the clothes she was wearing were thick and she didn't feel cold at all. I just took the hot water bottle handed to me by Teacher Liu, held it in my arms, smiled and said thank you. Teacher Liu waved his hand and said, all right, stop being so polite to me. I know what kind of person you are. Let's go take a look around the school. I'll give you the keys. You can go wherever you want. I'm too old to accompany you. As he spoke, Teacher Liu gave Shenfeng another bunch of keys. Shenfeng took it with a smile and said thank you. Ah, you kid, you look as honest as before, but you've changed a lot. Teacher Liu looked at Shenfeng deeply and said, you have great potential. Not bad. Teacher, I'm more famous than him. Why don't you praise me for my potential? Zhang Wanwan suddenly felt a little imbalanced. Teacher Liu rolled his eyes at Zhang Wanwan. Do you think I praised him for his promising future because he is famous? I praised him because I know he knows a lot and is very capable now. He can solve advanced mathematics in a few minutes, knows so many foreign languages, and can play chess with the old chess king Li Ziyu. Can you do it? Why not? I can still play chess. Zhang Wanwan snorted. And then her voice became quieter. It's just that we may not win. Teacher Liu ignored her and turned back to the concierge. Shenfeng also pulled Zhang Wanwan and said with a smile, okay, let's go too. Let's go and see our childhood together. Chapter 346 I wish you peace and happiness for the rest of your life. Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan were walking on the campus. Walking on the refurbished rubber track, Zhang Wanwan's face was full of emotion. I remember that the ground here was paved with red bricks, and the track was also arbitrarily drawn by the teacher with white lines, which were crooked. There was a brick sticking out, and I almost fell several times when I ran from there. Shensheng smiled and pulled Zhang Wanwan to a corner. Probably this place, right? Yes, it's right here. You fell here 3 or 4 times one day, and you got so angry that you insisted on asking me to grind the brick flat. Shensheng said slowly. It was physical education class at the time. Other children were doing free activities, and we were squatting in this corner, each holding a stone and grinding bricks. The teacher asked us what we were doing, and you said you wanted to grind the bricks flat. The teacher laughed at you and said that if you kept grinding like that, you wouldn't be able to grind them flat by the time you graduate. Zhang Wanwan smiled proudly. I was quite ambitious at that time. I said that after I graduated, there would be younger brothers and sisters, and after the younger brothers and sisters graduated, there would be new younger brothers and sisters. There are endless younger brothers and sisters, and sooner or later, the bricks will be smoothed. At that time, the teacher praised me as the modern-day Yu Gong. Speaking of this, Zhang Wanwan seemed to remember something. Suddenly, he touched his chin and muttered, did the teacher mean to call me stupid at that time? Shensheng looked at Zhang Wanwan helplessly. 2 lifetimes. You finally figured it out. Forget it, it has been so many years. I'm a magnanimous person and I won't make a fuss about it. Zhang Wanwan waved her hand, but the physical education teacher is a good person. It seems that he helped me to level the bricks after a few days. He is really a good teacher. Actually, it was because the principal also fell when he passed by here. So the physical education teacher shoveled away the brick. Shenfeng said. Zhang Wanwan. She looked at Shenfeng. Feng Zi, it's been 800 years, how come you still remember it so clearly, and even know some inside information that I don't know? Shenfeng smiled and hugged Zhang Wanwan. In fact, the more you can rush into the future, the easier it is to miss the past. During the recurring days, when I get bored, I will go back to the place where we lived together before, and sometimes I will bring you with me. I remember there was a time when I really liked going back to school, and then I would stop every teacher and ask about the things we had experienced together. There are some things I have actually forgotten, but the teachers still remember them. There are also some things the teachers have forgotten, but they only remember them when I mention them. Shenfeng said slowly. If I listen to them more, I won't forget the past. After listening to Shen Feng's words, Zhang Wanwan felt a little sad. In fact, if you think about it carefully, Feng Zi's 800 years were really hard to endure. Repeating the same day every day is very boring and can easily make people collapse. But Feng Zi still managed to survive. Then, he was with her in the most perfect manner. Shen Feng guessed what Zhang Wanwan was thinking, and whispered in Zhang Wanwan's ear. Brother Wan, I actually feel very happy to have experienced those 800 years. If it weren't for those 800 years, I definitely wouldn't be able to take such good care of you like I do now. If a little suffering on my part can make you happier, then I won't mind locking you up for a few hundred years. Shut up. Zhang Wanwan reached out and covered Shen Feng's mouth, and glared at him again. Can you please stop talking nonsense on New Year's Day? Also, have you forgotten what I told you when you had a cold? We all have to be fine, understand? Chen Cheng nodded with a smile. Zhang Wanwan then let go of Shen Feng, and the two continued to walk into the school. Walking on the rubber track, I walked to the vicinity of the teaching building. Since childhood, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan have been in the same class. Class 1, Grade 1, Class 1, Grade 2, Class 1, Grade 3 all the way to Grade 6, Junior High School, and High School. In fact, they didn't ask the teacher for anything specifically when the classes were divided. This is probably just a coincidence of fate. It was such a coincidence that the two of them were tied together for many years, making her his childhood sweetheart and him her childhood sweetheart. Taking the key, he opened the door of a classroom. Zhang Wanwan took a quick look and saw that the desks, chairs and benches in the classroom had already been replaced with new ones. Yes, it was 10 years ago that they went to primary school. Zhang Wanwan felt a little lost when she couldn't see the familiar desk. She still remembers that there were fewer desks and more students when she was in elementary school. So they used the wooden tables where the people could squeeze together during class. Boys should sit with boys, and girls should sit with girls. But because of Zhang Wanwan's personality, it seemed that few girls dared to sit at the same table with Zhang Wanwan at that time. Of course, few boys dare to do that. So most of the time, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan sat at the same table. At that time, Zhang Wan liked to daydream during class. He often uses keys or empty pen refills to scratch on the fragile wooden table. One day, Zhang Wanwan discovered that Shen Feng, who usually listened attentively in class, also started to draw on the table like her. Zhang Wanwan wanted to see what Shen Feng was drawing, but Shen Feng was not happy. Zhang Wanwan was kept on high alert for the entire day. It was not until the evening after school all the students had left that Shen Feng blushed and let Zhang Wanwan see the carving on the table. On the wooden table, there is a carving of a little girl. Shen Feng's painting skills at that time were only passable among elementary school students. But the level was not very high. I was using a key to carve something on the wooden table, and it was even more difficult to draw. So to be honest, the girl's carving was more or less abstract. Zhang Wanwan could see it at a glance. Shen Feng carved her. At that time, Shen Feng looked at her with a red face, and seemed a little embarrassed as he said, I didn't do it well. The painting is ugly. But I still wish you a happy birthday. Zhang Wanwan was really happy that day. She still remembered that Zhang Ziyi was busy starting his own business at that time and had little time to take care of her and Su Yan. That night Zhang Ziyi only bought her a small cake and went out for a social event without having dinner with her. Before leaving, Zhang Ziyi apologized for not preparing a gift for her and he would make it up to her later. But Zhang Wanwan was very happy at that time and said that she had received the best gift that day. Zhang Ziyi and Su Yan thought that Zhang Wanwan liked to eat that kind of small cake. So I often bought it for Zhang Wanwan after that. But they don't know. The gift Zhang Wanwan mentioned was actually given by Shen Feng. After that, whenever the class changed seats, Zhang Wanwan would move the desk with them. When it was time to change classes, she would pull Shen Feng and secretly move the desk to the new class. The more Zhang Wanwan thought about it, the more she felt nostalgic and regretful. Seeing Zhang Wanwan's expression, Shen Feng suddenly held Zhang Wanwan's hand again. Brother Wan, come with me. He pulled Zhang Wanwan all the way to the warehouse behind the teaching building. After opening the door of the warehouse with the key given by Teacher Liu, Zhang Wanwan saw a lot of old tables, chairs and benches piled there. Shen Cheng walked around the warehouse very familiarly, and finally found a wooden table from the pile of tables and chairs. He shook off the loose dirt on the wooden table and moved it in front of Zhang Wanwan. Shen Cheng turned on the flashlight on his mobile phone and shone it on the table. Zhang Wanwan moved closer and saw a somewhat abstract little girl carved on the wooden table. The years have left too much dust on it, blurring the traces of the lines. It also somewhat blurred Zhang Wanwan's vision. But just as Zhang Wanwan recognized at a glance that the desk Shen Feng art was hers, Zhang Wanwan now also recognized at a glance that this was the desk she had carved back then. In the past 800 years, I have brought you to school several times. Every time you came, You said you wanted to see this desk. Shen Feng said. I asked the school workers at the time. And they said the old desks were all piled up in the warehouse and hadn't been thrown away yet. So that's when I found it. He looked at Zhang Wanwan, saw her slightly red eyes, and gently reached out to wipe away the tears that seeped from the corners of her eyes. It's a pity that now is not the right day, so I can't say happy birthday to you. But I wish you peace and happiness for the rest of your life. My late brother. Chapter 347, Naughty Kids and Naughty Parents. After walking around the school, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan returned to the school gate. Just seeing that desk, Zhang Wanwan felt that the trip was worthwhile. Before leaving, Zhang Wanwan returned the hot water bottle to Teacher Liu and said goodbye to him kindly, looking at the backs of Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan as they left. Teacher Liu took off his glasses again and rubbed his eyes with emotion. The older a person gets, the more he tends to miss the past. When Teacher Liu saw Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan coming today, he felt very touched. Oh, childhood sweethearts, how wonderful it is. Teacher Liu muttered to himself and turned back to his own lobby. Less than 10 seconds passed. Teacher Liu rushed out again. He yelled at the car that had already driven a long way away. Keys, give me back the keys. Fortunately, Zhang Wanwan also realized that she seemed to have forgotten to return the bunch of school keys to Teacher Liu. He hurriedly asked Shen Sheng to drive the car back. Otherwise, Zhang Wanwan estimated that Teacher Liu would have a heart attack because of her. After going back and returning the key to Teacher Liu and apologizing, Zhang Wanwan and Shen Feng left the elementary school again. Afterwards, they drove to the junior high school and finally parked the car next to a small restaurant near the junior high school. Good Taste Restaurant is the name of this restaurant. When they were in junior high school, Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan usually brought their own lunch to school. Sometimes when she didn't want to eat the food she brought from home, Zhang Wanwan would take Shen Feng over the wall to eat at this delicious restaurant. At that time, the owner of the restaurant was an elderly man who said he could cook all kinds of dishes, but the taste is quite ordinary. But at that time, Zhang Wanwan particularly enjoyed the feeling of eating here. The people wrapped tightly walked into the restaurant. It was lunchtime and there were still several tables of people eating in the small restaurant. Seeing Shen Feng and Zhang Wanwan come in, the shop owner came over and asked, "What would you like to eat?" Zhang Wanwan took a look and found that the shop owner was no longer the old man he used to be. She randomly ordered two dishes that she used to love eating here. While waiting for the dishes to be served, Zhang Wanwan whispered to Shen Feng, "Fengzi, do you think that old man has already?" "No." Shen Feng smiled and said, "The old man just transferred the store and went to the city with his son to enjoy a peaceful life." Zhang Wanwan breathed a sigh of relief. "It seems you have been here before during your cycle." "Yeah," Shen Feng nodded, "but after the store was transferred. The food here tastes better at least when I came here before. I thought it was delicious." As the two chatted and laughed, the shop owner quickly brought the food they ordered. Zhang Wanwan took 2 bites. "How about it?" Shen Feng asked. Zhang Wanwan savored it carefully. Finally, he pouted in grievance. "I have forgotten what the dishes the old man cooked tasted like. And I don't know whether they are better now or before. But it's not as delicious as yours anyway. It's all Feng Zi's fault. She has spoiled her appetite." "Mom, I want to eat that." Just as Zhang Wanwan picked up a piece of sweet and sour pork and was about to eat it, a child's sharp voice suddenly came from the table next to her. Zhang Wanwan and Shen Sheng turned their heads and saw a little boy of about 4 or 5 years old pointing at the sweet and sour pork on their table. Sitting at the same table with the little boy was a couple. A man and a woman. The man heard the little boy shouting, but pretended not to hear it and continued to eat. The woman frowned and patted the little boy, saying, "When I was ordering just now, you asked if you wanted to eat sweet and sour pork tenderloin. And you said no. Why are you shouting now?" "I want to eat. I want to eat." As a result, the little boy's voice became louder and louder, and he waved his hands and feet and shouted like a spoiled child. Sitting at another table next to us was a quiet girl wearing glasses. The little boy hit the little sister on the back with a big move. The little sister turned her head and glanced at the little boy, then said to the boy's parents, "Hello, can you take care of your children? Besides, this is a public place. It's very rude of him to yell like that. You guys don't mind the noise, but we who are eating here do." At this moment, the boy's father, who had been silent before, suddenly raised his head. He glared at the quiet little sister and said in a very unfriendly tone, "Why do you have so much trouble? You haven't even grown all your hair yet. And you're still taking care of other people's children. Who didn't have a childhood? Who didn't make a fuss when they were a child? Aren't you ashamed to be fussing so much with a child? If you don't like the noise, just plug your ears." The boy's father's words made the quiet little sister grit her teeth. The other diners in the restaurant also looked at the boy's father with strange eyes. But few people are willing to meddle in other people's business. The little boy didn't care at all whether anyone was talking about him or not. He was still banging on the table and shouting that he wanted sweet and sour pork. Naughty kid. Zhang Wanwan couldn't help but roll her eyes. But when she thought of her childhood, Zhang Wanwan rolled her eyes again. It seems like she has no right to criticize others. By this time, the little boy had jumped out of his seat. And he ran to the table of Shenfeng and Zhang Wanwan and reached out to grab the sweet and sour pork on the table. Zhang Wanwan glared. Although the quality of this dish is not as good as the one made by Feng Zi and his family. But this is what she wants to eat. How can we allow others to interfere? Zhang Wanwan directly brought the plate to the innermost part of the table. When the little boy saw that he couldn't reach it, he burst into tears. He shouted even louder, "I want to eat! I want to eat!" As he spoke, he tried to climb onto the table. The little boy's father drank a sip of wine unhappily, then stood up and walked to the table, where Shenfeng and Zhang